In the year 2039, Gotham City has no heroes. Its people, no hope. Its youth, no future.
Evening, boys and girls. Who's up for some laughs?
Terry McGinnis was part of the problem.
Right there.
You can't control your temper, and you'd better if you expect to get anywhere in life.
Yeah, I'll be a big success, just like you.
Until a moment of violence brought him to the door of a man named Bruce Wayne.
Let's put a smile on his face.
Leave him alone. Once known as the Batman.
Man, you're something. Are you okay?
Now, the Dark Knight will rise again to drive the shadow of evil from the streets of Gotham. Let's go! Supervillains, beware! There's a new Batman in town. Batman Beyond. Weeknights at 6:30.
You're pretty strong for some clown who thinks he's Batman.
I am Batman. Justice returns to Gotham.
Welcome to my world.
Only Toonami. The land of Eternia is a paradise with a problem. An act of betrayal has created the ultimate evil.
My face!
And his name is Skeletor.
Eternia will be mine! Battle position!
The only thing that can stop his evil horde is a legend no one believes in.
A hero shall emerge.
And a prince with an attitude.
All this battle training is just fun and games.
Now, a sword will choose its master. A boy will become a man. And a hero will be born. Toonami is proud to present He-Man like you've never seen him before in an all-new original movie. Masters of the Universe. Next Friday at 4. Only Toonami.
4 turtles, mutated beyond recognition. For 15 years, the brothers hid in the sewers, training in the ancient ways of the ninja.
You cannot simply walk amongst the humans.
But we can certainly fly. Woohoo!
Now the teenagers finally surface, but the welcoming committee isn't quite what they expected.
Prepare to battle, costume fools.
We're not wearing costumes.
Don't miss the world premiere of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Saturday, February 8th, 10:30 a.m., only in the Fox Box.
The original Justice League has become a memory.
I am resigning from the Justice League.
What's gonna happen to the League now?
We rebuild. From the ashes of that great conflict, a new team has arisen. A much, much bigger team.
Each of you brings something different to the table.
Old friends, new heroes. And as usual, plenty of bad guys jumping up to get beat down.
Calm down, and I'll let you go. How about you kiss my ass?
Watch out, evildoers. There's nowhere to run, because this year they're all around you. The League is unlimited. Toonami presents an all-new original series, starring every superhero worth cheering for, and then some. Justice League Unlimited, premiering July 31st at 8:30 p.m.
Now, where am I exactly?
Among friends.
There's strength in numbers. Only Toonami.
In a future where anyone could be a cyborg, cops are a little different. The legendary cyberpunk classic finally comes to television in an all-new original series, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. New episodes every Saturday night at 12:30. The future is now.
Every night around the world, the children sleep, unaware of danger lurking in the shadows. But this night, a strange tune floats on the wind, and the children, one by one, begin to disappear.
I wonder where she could be going.
They are taken to a land of sweet memories and used to power an evil that feeds on their dreams.
My wonderful black dream hole is consuming dream energy from children.
Now, it's up to Sailor Moon and the Sailor Soldiers to put an end to this nightmare. This time, they're gonna need
Sailor Uranus!
a little help.
Oh! Sailor Neptune!
Sailor Moon Super S, next Friday at 5:30. Dream on.
The children!
Only Toonami.
This place is a town of forgetfulness.
40 years ago, everything we knew was destroyed. The face of the planet changed forever.
There isn't anyone who really knows exactly what did happen.
The survivors left without memories. In the aftermath, a new society is formed.
I perform a much-needed job here in the city of amnesia.
In Paradigm City, the rich close themselves into giant domes, while the poor must live without protection. But one man stands for something more, and he does it in serious style.
As a professional, I just try to do my best.
His name is Roger Smith, the Negotiator.
Try this.
Goes against my principles, but I don't have a choice.
His allies, an android, a butler,
Leave this up to me.
and Big O.
It's showtime.
When they start a job, they always see it through.
Rest in peace. Bye-bye.
Enemies of Paradigm City, beware. There's a new robot on the block.
You're not going anywhere. You crazy little fool. You're gonna get yourself killed. Time to finish this. It ends it once and for all.
Big O, weekdays at 5:30. Good guys still wear black. Only Toonami.
The destruction of Unicron has created a black hole, which threatens to swallow the planet.
Let's go!
Now, the Autobots' only hope is to find the ancient planet keys.
Prepare for battle!
But as usual, the Decepticons aren't playing along.
Beat it, Megatron! Oh, really?
Transformers Cybertron. New episodes, Saturdays at 7. Unlock the power.
Gotcha!
Only Toonami.
From beyond any known galaxy, bringing with them the laws and ideals of their doomed planet Thundera, come the Thundercats. Jaga, the wise. Tigra, the invisible. Chitara, the quick. Wily Cat and Wily Kit, a cunning junior duo. Patrol, the deadly. And the Snarf. The Thundercats, all sworn to serve their young lord, Lion-O, and to instruct him in the secrets of the Eye of Thundera. the eye embedded in the hilt of the mystic Sword of Omens, and the source of the Thundercats' power.
Thunder, 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 Thundercats, ho!
Pursuing the Thundercats to Third Earth, and determined to possess the Eye of Thundera for their own evil purposes, are the hideous mutants of the planet Plundar, led by the reptilian Sly. They form an unholy alliance with the ageless devil priest of First Earth, Mumra.
Reactor engaged. Traction locked. All go.
Hello everyone. I hope you're all doing well today. Let's see here. Let's see. No, Zach, I'm not going to put anybody else through this. Although I'm sure you would love to get more attention from me or on here just in general because you are you. So, what is it we always do here, chat? What do we always do? How do we always start these streams? Can you tell me? Do you remember? Let's wait for them to talk. Housekeeping, that's right. So, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping. Not too much. We don't need to do too much. So, as you guys remember, the last stream we did was, well, the one you guys just saw the other day. And, has anything happened after that? Well, not so much. Although they were told. They were passed a message. A very delicate message. That once we are done talking through all these streams, getting through every single one of them, that we are going to want to have a conversation. Right? A conversation with Deed and Silver here. Now, there is something that has happened, you see. And I think it's going to be very, very interesting to go over here. So, I told you guys, just like I told them the other day, you will have a problem here if all this nonsense breaches containment. And breach containment, it did. Like it always does. Their response to it breaching containment, hello my Gidgey, I know mamas. I do love the Gidgey. Everybody here loves the Gidgeys. One in chat for Gidgey. Instead of maybe putting out a proper correction, a proper retraction, a proper apology, what do you guys think they did? In fact, I'm going to put up a poll. Uno momento. Por favor. That is not what I asked you for. That's not what I asked you for. Man, chat is behind. When I say start a poll, let me start a poll, not Q&A, not Q&A. So, here's the poll. What do you guys think they did amongst these two specific things? I'm very curious indeed what you think. So, let me know what you think there. Sorry, there's something I forgot to do, so now I have to do it before we get into things, because I am a boomer. Not that any of you did not expect such things. Also, I really hate how bad the weather is right now. And you're probably saying, well, what do you mean by how bad the weather is? Like, it's 80 freaking degrees here. In the beginning of god dang January. I will be very happy when we finally move out of this state. Now, is it because I hate Texas because it's Texas? Well, I mean, I do have problems with it. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But at the same time, I really hate the weather. I hate the weather here. I want winter to actually be winter. And in this awful state, it never is actually winter. It's always some variation therein. So, well, 92% of people say make a half-hearted apology. And oh, brother, are you right on that. Right on the money. Right where it belongs. So I'm going to find and read you their beautiful apology. It is glorious. It is the best YouTuber apology of all time. Put away that ukulele. Put away the Donkey Kong country music. Why did I do that? And prepare yourselves. Prepare yourselves. Strap in, right? You got to strap yourselves in. Find it, click it. All right? You got to do that. While I desperately try to figure out where it is amongst this unholy mess of threads in my server, because it does not organize them via the last time they were interacted with. Instead, it just throws it together however it feels like. Why is it like this? Oh, let me try this. Well, it says that recently active. Oh, I just missed it by accident because I am dumb. Here it is. Here it is. Let's go find it. Let's find it. Let us find it, chat. We must. What do you mean they didn't put it in this thread? You have failed me for the last time. Let's try the SCC courthouse. I'm sure they've got a copy of it. Actually, no. What am I doing? What am I doing? I know exactly where I need to go. I need to go to a server where they always at everyone at every tiniest little bit of quote-unquote news in these spaces. All right? So, this is from Silver, the husband. Real quick here. Who is better, Brave X Kaiser or Gao Gaigar? Both are good. I like Gao Gaigar more. And Hidden, you can come on and read your own, okay? So, give me a minute and I'll bring you on. Practically Silver. I've heard complaints about our video, and if we have upset any victims affected by the SCC, I deeply apologize. Our intent was to get our voices heard and move on from this. We will unlist the videos and make any apologies if need be. I'm sorry if our videos have personally affected you. The intent was always to show how badly the SCC effed up. The intent was to never cause harm. Deed and I will 100% take accountability for blowing things out of proportion, saying things we shouldn't have, and ultimately hurting people we never intended to hurt. We could attempt to explain ourselves, but all that may cause is more harm, so regardless of context, regardless of intent, we effed up, and we own up on that. Regarding the skits, however, especially the Perfect Victim one, we realize now the tonal whiplash and it may have caused to many. I apologize. We didn't give a warning. And to clarify as well, the scene was consensual. It was not depicting SA. Brother, I didn't need to see it regardless. The intent of the skits come from a place of vent art, but I understand why some may take issue with it. Regarding the skits hold on. We have no interest in continuing anything to this scope of a level again. We do not wish to involve ourselves in anything SCC related again, for the sake of the victims. For the sake of the victims, guys. We will take time to ourselves as a means to reflect, work on ourselves, and then ultimately leave this behind. We cannot change the damage we have caused, but we don't wish to continue talking, mentioning, or even referencing this if all it'll do is hurt others, regardless of intent. We hurt people and have done wrong. This will not happen again. We do not wish to hurt anyone any further. Small clap. No. This is such garbage. And the reason why it is such garbage is it doesn't even tell you what he's apologizing for. What did you blow out of proportion? What did you get wrong? Who did you hurt? Well, it's nothing. It's all vagary because he doesn't actually want to own up to what's been done here. At least that's what I believe. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hop into my little room here, my little office, all right? My little office in Cat Slayer, a server you should all join. Links in the description. And Hidden can come on, all right? And read her glorious comments if she wants the attention. Because she's a woman and she always likes attention. Come on, Hidden. Come on. The dorkery. The dorkery from this individual is unmatched. So we might have some dead air while we wait on Hidden. That or she'll start fussing, saying, I wasn't prepared, why'd you call me in on this, yada yada. It all depends. It all depends on her mood at any given time. That is how the Hidden be. There she is.
Listen, I love attention. Attention is my favorite.
We know you do, especially the attention you gave that light pole.
This is a sick Exactly. Thank you, Weebus. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I was joining because I also left a comment, and I figured I would read it out for the stream if you would allow me. It's short.
I don't see why not.
I think Weebus should go first.
Yeah, so it was pretty short. All I wrote was commentary backshots were not on my 2026 bingo card.
Thank you, Weebus.
Why? Why are you like this?
I didn't put them in the video. Don't blame me.
I'm gonna blame you, because that's all I can do. Anyways, go ahead, Hidden. You can read your comment now. Yes, it's because you're black. It's not at all because why. It's absolutely because you're black.
We just hate life on stream as God intended. Alright, so I'm just gonna give you my long-winded yap session. So I said, so real accountability would actually be acknowledging exactly what you did. What you two did is try to attempt to mirror Chuli's victimhood with Avi by making claims of sexual harassment that are plainly untrue. And I hate that I have to defend Avi here, along with inserting little theater kid self-inserts with shitty fake blood, uncensored self-harm, and a sex scene frankly nobody wanted to see. I don't know why this didn't occur to y'all, but this isn't your 10th grade theater class project. This isn't some emo music video for your garage band. Y'all made a 14-hour video about shit that frankly boiled down to I couldn't say no to adult conversations about kinks because trauma, I guess, and people were mean to me and talked shit behind my back. Your entire video could have easily been boiled down to an hour, maybe two at most, and you refused to do that in favor of generating attention over a victimhood that isn't even there. The fact that you can't even transparently acknowledge your false claims nor name the victims you heard makes this sound like PR more than anything. You indeed are running because people stopped falling for the emotional manipulation that you presented as your story. Stop being a coward and actually acknowledge what happened. The fact that it's you apologizing and not Deed is insane. The fact there's no mention of your willingness to slander an innocent person under the guise of venting is insane. Even now, you refuse to actually speak of the shit you fucked up. Go on. 1. See if your PR carries you far enough. This statement and your apology are nothing, Burger, and I hope you know that. I'm so nice.
Yeah, unfortunately, the chat didn't hear half of that because apparently the audio is too low. Because of course it is, but
no!
It's okay. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. I promise. I promise.
My
You'll just have to go back and re-listen, I suppose.
My attention. How could you?
It's all right. You're getting plenty of it still, regardless. Trust me.
Thank God, because I can't look at the stream chat right now because I'm on my phone. Chat, I love you.
Well, while we're waiting, why don't you go ahead and tell them what you did to that traffic light?
Oh no, don't make me talk about the rental.
I am. I'm going to make you talk about it.
Okay. So, I hit a traffic light because conditions were icy. Whoops.
No, don't you do that. Don't you TLDR that sucker. And then, no, you tell them what happened before we get into the pain.
Fine, okay, so I was vibing, right, in my car, and it was really icy out there, and so we were approaching a traffic light. The traffic light was green, so I slowed down, right, and I figured, okay, the person in front of me is gonna start their car and start moving, so I don't need to brake properly. So I slowed down. The guy in front of me did not drive. I tried to brake. The black ice under me said, nuh-uh. And so I had two choices, hitting the person in front of me or hitting a traffic light. I chose the traffic light. And now the rental is a little bit busted. We're waiting on damage assessment. I have a Kofi. Please help. No, I'm joking, done. But Yeah, I hit a traffic light. I now own a Wisconsin traffic light. It's mine now.
Tell them about the insurance.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
So I don't have much insurance on that thing.
Much?
How?
Much?
You hate me, Leo.
I do not, but you shall not play the shenanigans with me, madam.
Listen, it's fine. We're figuring it out. It's okay. Nobody needs to know. Send help and rescue.
Saying you didn't have much insurance is like saying that Deed and Silver don't have much brains.
Yeah, it's somewhat correct.
I think the response isn't not much. I think it's just none. You have none. You had no insurance. Hidden just did Eto Blair. I didn't know I needed insurance in American roads.
Whoopsie accident.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Phineas.
Phineas, we're streaming. What's up?
I saw the word streaming. I just want to send Hidden best wishes.
Send the traffic light best wishes. That's who she murdered.
No, I'm saying Hidden's in the Midwest now. It's okay.
It's not okay. That traffic light had a family. Right, Beaver May?
Well, not anymore.
Show me it, huh?
Well, I mean, it's the other two lights.
No, that would have been a triple homicide if it's all three of the lights. Explain to me who this traffic light's family is.
All the other traffic lights. Don't you see the family resemblance?
No, oh, dude, that's racist against traffic lights. Gosh.
And? What are you, a clanker
what
lover?
About and?
Are you a clanker lover? Huh?
Are you?
I'm literally being racist to the clankers, and you're asking if I'm a clanker lover? Who do I look like, Nick Fuentes?
No, you don't look like Nick Fuentes. So at least I think I don't really know who he is too much.
Good.
Probably for the good, yeah.
Now, more importantly, Phineas, do you know who the sponsor for the stream is?
Hidden?
I wish I was the sponsor.
If Hidden was the sponsor for this stream, I'd be very, very worried, considering the sponsor for the stream is, in fact, bathinmymilk.com for all of your milk bathing needs.
Whoa,
go to bathinmymilk.com for everything you need.
How is your milk fly? That's my question.
Help?
That is my response, help. I'm a man, I don't have milk.
Right.
Why would I have milk?
Yes, bathed in my...
Yes, the website! I am not the website!
Okay. So explain to me why you're letting Milk Lovers sponsor you.
Because they keep leaving dead animals at my door.
Okay, so this is blackmail sponsorship.
Well, I mean, I don't know what his ethnicity is, but I'd imagine it's a dude.
I mean, hey, fair enough. You're
all
doing
right,
great.
so,
that's what matters.
All right, you two go ahead and skedaddle. I'm going to go ahead and actually start the stream now.
Fine. Bye.
Bye. And before somebody unironically thinks I'm an actual racist. All right, so we're going to try to get through this video. We're 2 hours in. All right, now here's what we're going to do. I am, in fact, going to hit it at 3 times speed. If that bothers you, I will try to slow it down. But, brother, this is rough. This is rough. Anyways, continuing.
That's hard for me to help. I've always been open to her and literally everyone I have autism. Sorry that I'm being autistic.
Okay, so this is just straight up lie. No, Donnie, I never told you that you were talking about things too much, and I never told you to go outside. I never used any of that borderline ableist phrasing towards you. First of all, both me and my partner are neurodivergent.
Wait. Hold on. Back up. Ableist language by telling someone to go outside? Touching grass is able. I've only unironically heard that from one person in my entire life, and that was Mystic Mongrel. And the fact that anybody is running with the same nonsense that freak, that kid-touching weirdo is, whoa boy, what the heck is wrong with these people now, Chief? What's wrong with these people? Y'all crazy.
But I'm aware internalized ableism is a thing, so I'll be going over our DMs. The only time we ever talk about autism is when I brought up once that there may be a possibility that I too am autistic. I am neurodivergent, but that is due to my complex PTSD. I wasn't ableist about it at all. I just noticed how I had symptoms/traits relating to autism.
Wait, hold on. You're neurodivergent because of PTSD? I don't think that's how that works, but I could be wrong. I'm like, fine, we will slow it down just for the chat. You need to get on my level. Just 2 times speed then.
That's all. But I want to focus on the touch grass accusation that Donnie made, because you want to know what happened when I searched up the term outside? The only times I ever bring that up is when I was venting about the fact that I was trapped in my apartment like a hermit crab, because I was afraid to go outside, not only due to my symptoms of PTSD, but also because I lived in an area that was dangerous due to me still living in proximity of my abusers and my rapist. That is why you see many things have been censored and screenshot. So thanks, Donnie. Thanks for making my trauma about you when it had absolutely fuck all to do with you and your autism. Just so you can label me ableist.
Oh yeah, she also made racially insensitive statements about anime, saying that anime supports pedophilia.
She said this to me in call too, and yet she still added me to her Discord server.
Okay, so Scarlet corroborates the claim despite this not being true. Despite what Donnie likes to think, this is not a real thing I told people. Let's get something out of the way real quick. Scarlet, I still added you to my private Discord server because I considered you a pal. Despite your hobbies, if I really hated anime that much, why would I ever want to talk to you? It's almost like, unlike you guys, I don't make assumptions about people. And Chippy, I'm gonna need you to shut the fuck up. But you know what? Let's play your guys' game. Let's actually believe the delusional take that I think everyone who likes anime is a pedophile. And since Chippy here is the embodiment of anime, they too are a pedophile.
Also, doing that Vlad strat, huh?
And they are. But not because of that. It's because I groomed a minor by desensitizing them to not safe for work content and also protected people who hunt around groomers and pedophiles.
You mean like you did? When you admitted last time we looked at this that you kept quiet about George because you didn't want to be, and I quote, dog-piled?
Even in these people's delusional take of me, I'm still right somehow. God, how do I do it? Honestly, Donnie making this claim makes them look worse compared to me. You wanna know why? Lolicon and Shotacon. So does Donnie, Scarlet, and everyone else in the server support Lolicon? Because now that's the thing that I have to wonder. Because the only time I would ever say this piece of media supports pedophilia is Lolicon and Shotacon. Because it is. So which is it? Are you implying that you support Lolicon and Shotacon, or did you purposefully exaggerate and make up this claim as a means to paint me as racially insensitive? I want to state this now. I do not think all anime is pedophilia, and I do not hate anime. Rather, I am very heavily critical of anime. There are some anime and even manga that I've read that I do enjoy. My partner sat me down to watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I enjoyed it. I didn't hate it. The reason why I am very critical of anime is due to the normalization of a lot of fucked up shit, and that includes pedophilia. There's a lot of tropes that are very harmful to anime that is normalized and even romanticized or treated as a mere joke, and that is why, unlike these fuckers, I don't excuse things like Lolicon and Shotacon, sexual assault, or misogyny. Very common things that are in anime. Japan has an issue with not taking sexual assault seriously. Japan has an issue of misogyny being ingrained in their society and even culture. That is not me purposefully painting Japan in a negative light or mocking their culture. That is a fact. Japan has had an issue with this stuff for quite a while. Me stating that fact does not make me racially insensitive. And it's really fucking weird that these guys think that. It is on the same level of weeaboo behavior. Basically people who glamorize and treat Japan less so like a country and more so like heaven and excuse anything problematic as a means of that's just their culture, which is really creepy. How do I know this? Because I dealt with these type of people in my childhood who ended up doing really fucked up shit to me. That traumatic experience led me to think more critically towards anime. So no, I am not racially insensitive due to my opinions on anime. You just wanted to paint me as fucking racist, Donnie, so thanks for that. And fuck you, Scarlet, for corroborating Donnie.
Why do you need to go into detail about this when you could just call them cringe and gay and tell them to shut up and to kill themselves?
She snapped at me for liking Giga Desatsu Weed.
Why?
Because it's an anime.
Well, what's wrong with the funny dog show? What?
She has a hatred for anime because she thinks that anyone who likes it supports pedophilia.
Dot.
Man, she will fucking hate me on those premises alone.
I beg my pardon?
Dippy, I hate you for a plethora of reasons, not because you're a degenerate weeb. Shut the fuck up. But did you notice Donnie changed the claim on the spot? Let me explain. The original claim was that I didn't like anime because anime itself supports pedophilia, which, in a way, it does. Not all of it, but some do. Again, Lolicon and Shotacon exist. However, Donnie changed his phrasing here. Donnie is now claiming that I have a hatred for anime because anyone who likes it, anyone who enjoys watching anime...
You know, it wouldn't surprise me, though, if you found out that Donnie does like the dogs from that show, because that's about that dog guy. Not the other one. Not the inward one. The new one. Not that one, but like an old one about a dog out in the wild. Maybe he does like the dogs. Maybe he justifies it by saying, I'm kinning. I kin this dog.
He's a pedophile, and with Donnie, bringing up that he likes a certain anime, and I apparently snapped at him over it, Donnie is now insinuating that I think he's a pedophile. Fucking great. And that's my whole issue here with this claim. This claim doesn't even make sense. You wanna know why? Because Michael watches anime.
Well, based on the call we had last week, if they did wind up being a pedophile and you knew about it, don't worry, they'd make it somehow a footnote in the main video structure instead of the main point. Probably talking more about whether or not their favorite band is emo, because that's what matters here, right? That's what matters. And I want to be very clear, I tried. Alright, it didn't last long, but I tried as much as I could to be good faith to these people in the stream, you know, the other day, and just no. I can't. These people are malicious.
Well, guess I'm dating a man who I think is a pedophile, as if that makes fucking sense.
You're so lucky that Fish hasn't clipped that.
Yeah, to be completely honest here, I'm tired of watching people forget that I exist, which is ironic given that this thread is nearly halfway about me. I feel like Deed wouldn't be dating someone she saw as a pedophile. To
Oh, don't worry, big boy. I haven't forgotten you exist. We'll talk later.
clarify, again, no. Dee does not hate anime. She's just noticed that a disproportionate amount, especially ones popularized here in the West, tend to feature sexual harassment or pedophilic behavior either as a means of sexualizing characters or for comedic effect. Sometimes both. But Dee has seen a decent number of anime that she's enjoyed. Both of us have watched and liked stuff such as Full Metal Alchemist, Spy X Family, Dead Leaves, to name a few. Something I feel like literally any of you would know if anyone had come up to either her or me and just spoke to us. But no, let's, ironically enough, generalize and boil down my partner's criticisms against anime to something batshit insane to paint her in a negative light.
with that being said, let's actually talk about the funny dog show that was mentioned, because Donnie mentioning this literally gives me a defense towards one of his earlier claims. So Donnie made the claim earlier that I forced him to enjoy horror, that I pressured him to like horror, when no, that was not the case. He likes horror on his own accord, and I simply wanted to help him find recommendations. Now, I, honest to God, do not even recall Donnie talking about this anime, but what probably happened, if it even did happen, which I don't believe it did, but in this case, let's pretend it did, when me and Donnie were talking and he said he didn't like horror, I probably brought up this anime. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, what does an anime with dogs have to do with, yeah, Livy just called an anime where a bunch of dogs and humans get brutally mauled to death funny.
I don't think these people would survive Watership Down.
Let that be known. And this right here proves that I had every right to be upset. Again, if this conversation did occur. I didn't snap at Donnie for liking the anime. What probably happened is that I questioned Donnie, because if Donnie is saying he hates horror so much, why would he be willing to watch...
You'll get something Ninja Turtle related later. You'll be okay, Ember. Even though you're never around here anymore. Probably because of your degenerate views on My Little Pony.
An anime where dogs and humans get mauled to death and features a shit ton of blood and murder. It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense, Donnie. And for the record, no, I don't care that you like this anime, Donnie. If anything, I'm only bringing this up to bring up the hypocrisy and the fact that nobody did the simplest Google search of this anime and would have realized how this anime has elements of horror. Or rather, it has elements of horror that Donnie claims triggers him. So why is he perfectly fine with watching this anime, but when I talk about horror, I'm a piece of shit? The fact even Livy seemed to have known what Donnie was talking about, why didn't she call him out? It's almost like it's confirmation bias. And knowing what I have known for years, they have to baby Donnie. Because Donnie would never lie. He always tells the truth. After all, he's the nicest person in the community. Right?
Let's take a moment to segue into a duo spawn.
Nuh-uh. I am.
From the pits of hell. One being prominent within this thread, the other simply a lurker, yet his name is mentioned quite a lot from a certain individual. Let's have a chat about Keyblade Master and Tippy.
Why?
I want to take a moment to clarify, we're not talking about Keyblade Master and Tippy at the same time because of the Cloak and Dagger situation. In fact, neither of us were there for it, so don't expect an explanation or breakdown on it. This is not the place.
It will, however, be referenced because I have my own issues with it. No, the actual reason we're talking about this simultaneously is because they kind of intertwine in terms of their actions within the thread itself. So let's talk about it. Let's start with Tippy, because Tippy is weird. The reason I say this is because Tippy almost comes off as being our defense team. The reason why I say almost is because Tippy is still going out of their way to agree with everyone that I am a terrible person and Michael is being abused by me. However, there were quite a few times where Tippy was not only semi-understanding of where I was coming from with, granted, exaggerated and straight up lies of what happened, but not only that, there were multiple times where Tippy would go on and literally give me free counterpoints. I'm not kidding. It's not to say they didn't spew bullshit, however, which we will cover. But for now, let's talk about the defenses they give. For example, with the Kinning claim, Tippy goes on to say this.
If it's to an obsessive level, for that to even be the case, it has to go further than just appreciating a character, expressing yourself via relating to a character, and using scenes or moments to convey how you feel. Like, I don't get it. Then maybe you should shut the fuck up, Tippy.
Glad to see we're on the same page, Tippy, because you are right. Relating to a character isn't wrong, but reaching to an obsessive level for relating to one is. It's why I spoke to Donnie in the first place. But of course, that's not how Donnie portrayed the conversation as. Not only that, but Tippy is the only one to ask for actual proof of me telling Michael not to associate with people anymore. Finally, someone asking for evidence. Let's see what proof Donnie gives Tippy that they and everyone else immediately believes in afterwards.
Wait, I have a question, but she's literally telling Silver not to be friends with any of you guys.
Yes, I know this because she blocked me out of the blue, and also controlled my friendships.
As far as I'm concerned with Silver, by the way, he doesn't seem to fully agree with her. But on the other hand, it is concerning.
Don't mind me. I'm just losing my fucking mind right now. It's fine. It's perfectly peachy keen over here.
So beyond the fact, Tippy, that I just grew up and understood the terrible things that Avi had done to her and the horrible things that had happened to her, you guys understand I can not agree with Deed on things, right? Like, that's not even a statement on her as a person, and it's not grounds that she's abusive or even a shitty partner. It's just a relationship. But, hey, I don't know, maybe you and Key are just happily mind-hived like that.
There's also a point in time where Tippy theorizes this idea that the reason I find Hollywood Undead being labeled emo as an insult is because emo does have a lot of negative connotations, but apparently it is plausible to describe something without inherently being negative in this context. Okay, I'm just gonna stop you there. First off, I don't find it insulting because emo is a negative connotation. No, it's because Hollywood Undead isn't emo. It's like if I labeled a country band hip-hop. It doesn't make sense. Unfortunately, there have been many bands that have been wrongfully labeled as emo, such as My Chemical Romance and Panic at the Disco. Despite these bands refusing that label, they are, to this day, labeled as emo. However, there is more argument for these bands being closer to emo than Hollywood Undead ever could be. Yes, there is a negative stigma towards the word emo, but it isn't inherently a bad thing. See, Tippy kinda gets my perspective, but also doesn't, because Tippy then goes on into a conversation that, for the sake of their privacy, I am censoring, because it turns personal, and they even interject my trauma into this, which, fuck you, Tippy, for that, but, no, Tippy. Whatever the fuck you said here is way off and completely wrong. I do not see Hollywood Undead as emo, because it isn't emo. Enough said. There's also a claim that we haven't gotten to yet that infuriates me, because Tippy is on my side, but because of how this claim is presented, Tippy doesn't realize they are not only on my side, but share a similar mindset as me. So, let's go over the best friend claim.
There was also a time where I was being devastated over losing AdSense since my absolute best friend for 4 years, and I said, I don't know if I can have a best friend again. Obviously, I don't stand by this anymore considering Key, and Silver's girlfriend just tells me, calling someone your best friend just leads to manipulation and abuse anyway. Not gonna lie, I was in tears when I said that, so that response just stings.
Not be rude, but what the fuck kind of logic is that? Why would calling someone your best friend lead to that kind of stuff? I don't get it.
She said that calling someone your best friend is wrong because it leads to bias.
That really depends on the person.
Okay, I sorta get, but I also don't.
Personally, me and my used to be IRL best friend. It's fine, we are online friends now. Have plenty of things we disagree on about things we like. Still like the dude, but I won't assume he is always 100% correct all the time. And I wouldn't expect the opposite extreme.
Like, yeah, considering someone a best friend can be tricky in places, especially if the claim can indicate a bit of favoritism. With that said, not every case of people being best friends with someone will lead to bias. It's stupid to think that all the cases of someone being a best friend to someone else is considered to be bias, or will lead to manipulation and abuse anyways. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, actually, even if these are claims that Deed has said to your face, or you're responding to things that Donnie has said to you, which you probably shouldn't be listening to, honestly, the fuck is your issue? This isn't your problem. You don't talk to Deed. What the...
Hey, thanks, Tippy, for giving me a free counterpoint because you are correct. Not every case of people being best friends will lead to bias or abuse. However, in my case, it certainly does. And this is why Donnie purposefully left out the context and is using my trauma and weaponizing it to paint me as crazy. So let me show you how the conversation actually went down.
I also realized one particular friendship I had was extremely toxic. It's not her. It's someone you don't know. But like, she was so aggressive and made a joke saying I'm an easy target due to my height. And she treated me like I'm stupid and was very violent.
Oh god, yeah, that's awful. What the fuck? I'd never do shit like that. You know, my ex-best friend did stuff like that too. Telling me heinous things that I do not wish to disclose. It's awful. I'm sorry, Donnie, you didn't deserve that at all.
There was one really bad thing she did that I don't know why I forgave her for.
Well, for me, I defended them because I labeled them as my best friend. I told myself, my best friend could never hurt me. We tried defending those we care and love, you know?
Yeah, she expected me to support her violence when I have nearly been murdered.
God, so awful.
I hit the wrong button. Doggone it. Oh, thank you, buddy. She's very kind to you. What I was saying when I was muted, because again, you cannot have a stream of me without me being scuffed. Ever. Until the end of time. But thank you, Baji. Very kind. What I was saying was, you want to know what I wish was emo? What I truly wish was emo? I wish my yard was emo. I wish my entire lawn was. That way it would cut itself.
I'm sorry, man. Just to get further context, I vented multiple times to Donnie about my childhood best friend. See, the person that I'm talking about is someone that I was close with for about 8 to 9 years of my life. They were the first person I ever befriended in elementary school, and unfortunately the relationship ended on a very sour note. Because over the years, they found a different social circle, and they went on to say and do some very harmful things to me. Many of which were downright abusive, and I downplayed it, because they're my best friend. They wouldn't intentionally hurt me. They're my best friend. They care about me, right? I pretty much excused their behavior and the hurt they caused simply due to the best friend label we had for each other. It also doesn't help how our friendship started in the first place. The day we met was the day I planned on committing suicide, and I didn't tell them this detail until years later. After I did, however, they bring it up continuously, almost like a badge of honor telling me I'm the reason you're alive, and if it wasn't for me, our friendship, you wouldn't be here. I don't want to go into the details of what this person did to me, but they were verbally and emotionally abusive, is what I will say.
Well, I mean, why not? You go into detail about everything else. Also, type 1 in the chat if you guys now know what the fetish they mentioned was, alright? Because, well, I wish I was right, and then it was clowns. It wasn't clowns, it was something else. So tell me what you guys think the fetish was, alright? And no cheating. If you've already heard it, you don't get to cheat. You don't get to vote, alright? You don't get to cheat, you don't get to vote, alright? Sorry, I got something in the mail and I just have to open it because it's cool. Timber package. There you go. Okay, so, thank you. It is thankfully not scat. This isn't Bean Sky's White Knight friend, who we'll talk about, by the way, at a later date. It's self-harm and blood. So, you guys remember how they were saying how Avi sent them a picture and it was sexual harassment because they didn't ask for it, and how in a chat room where they were talking trash about their sexuality and their genitals, that was sexual harassment. So, by Deed's own standards, Deed's and Silver, I hold you both responsible for that, frankly. You guys have subjected us all to Deed's fetish, because there's no shortage of times where Deed pulls out, like, the fake blood and does, like, the emo crap during all this, and some ridiculous lack of understanding that there are times you should not, in fact, be the, theater kid as an adult. Also, the feces, don't worry, Baiji. We will eventually get to that. That's in part 2. We're still in part 1. So, yes, that is what their fetish was. And the entire reason we know is because Rin, bless their heart, panicked, thinking people would assume it was something like Lolicon or Shotokan, so told people what it was in order to assuage any concerns about that, And now they're just getting bullied over the fact that, well, you just subjected us all to your fetish. What is wrong with you? It's amazing. It's amazing.
But yeah, in my personal opinion, I don't like the term best friend because I don't like treating my pals in this hierarchy system. I treat them all equally. Like, am I closer to some more than others? Sure, but I don't.
Heresy! Your cats and pets should always be your best friends.
Like putting this label on someone because the last time I did that, I excused the outright abusive behavior they had. So that is why I shared
You know what? I'll go ahead and do that, Baiji, but that's not even into part 2. We got to get through this one first.
my opinion on that with Donnie. I simply told him my personal opinion and belief on the term best friend. What Donnie should actually be saying is, she said that calling someone your best friend doesn't feel right and even wrong because it leads to bias. It led to her getting abused. That's why.
And I'll make this clear, it doesn't mean that Deed's into, like, Guro hentai or anything like that. They're just into blood and self-harm as a fetish, which, dude, you're weird. Get help.
But no, Donnie wants to paint me as crazy and nonsensical, hence why the context is completely redacted from the retelling of this. I never told Donnie to stop using.
Like, why can't people just have normal fetishes? Like, again, goth girls or thick women or older women. Like, I'll be subjected to that. That's fine. But blood, no thank you.
That word. I never told Donnie, you're not allowed to call someone your best friend. Rather, I was just sharing my own personal experience. That's it. So thanks, Donnie. Thanks for taking a traumatic moment in my life and painting it as if I am crazy. As if my best friend didn't already try doing that. So thanks.
You know, somebody called this out in my spaces the other day. They have almost the exact same line delivery, tone inflection, and everything as Patchwork Heart, and doggone it, they're right. So thank you, Donnie. For XYZ thing, I need to emphasize how hurt I am. Oh my God, get a life.
Thanks for that, and fuck you. You know what is crazy though? You agree with me, Tippy. Yeah, you go on to explain why you had a hard time calling someone your best friend. It's crazy that you shared this deep personal thing, but never once thought that maybe it's the same for me. But no, that doesn't matter. Because the narrative has already been painted that I'm this psychotic abusive bitch that deserves to have my shins kicked in. But aside from that, Tippy goes on to say that I'm extremely unhinged and fucking stupid in regards to the anime claim.
Well, I mean, you are, just not inherently about anime.
I don't want her near me, especially since I'm an anime fan. And she went on the record about how she feels about anime, so I don't want her near me for that reason. I had a terrible experience with people like her.
Good, because I don't want to be anywhere near you either, Tippy. Because I too have had terrible experiences with people who justify sending borderline porn for nothing more than a fucking meme. Oh, I should probably explain that now, huh? So, Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger was a shit show, but it is the reason why Tippy and Keyblade are no longer on the internet. As far as we know, at least. The only thing that I took from Cloak and Dagger was 3 things.
Oh no, they're still around. People like that never leave.
1. Keyblade is an asshole and a literal simp for someone he wasn't even in a relationship with. Despite being in a relationship himself. If anyone is actually deserving of the label simp, it is Keyblade for sure. 2. Tippy is perfectly fine with protecting people who associate with literal groomers, though that's not surprising with what I'm about to say. And 3. Cloak and Dagger is so on the fucking nose with its name, it's like you are wearing a literal red honking clown nose. Right, Susie? Because holy shit was this entire situation used to cover up grooming allegations. No, I'm not fucking kidding, but you wanna know what's crazy about the whole Cloak and...
I mean, you covered them up too. So here's the thing. These people sat back and they watched that happen, right? They saw all the talk about that. And instead of saying, you know, maybe I should get a hold of this Lio guy and tell him what's going on, since he's apparently filled with enough rage to drag people into calls and tear them to pieces for this, maybe I should tell him about George the raccoon. But nope. Instead it was, we're just gonna sit and wait. We don't want to get dogpiled.
In Dagger fiasco, other grooming allegations were completely fucking ignored. Although this is public information, for the sake of the victim, I will not name them. But Michael and I found a Google document of someone outing Tippy, Keyblade, and many other individuals for doing creepy-ass behavior. Keyblade more than Tippy. From screenshots that I've seen, Tippy was basically complicit and was perfectly fine with people being inappropriate around minors, which, to me, makes Tippy predatory and a groomer themselves, because they did not care to share lewd imagery with a minor. They basically desensitized minors to adult material. And nobody, I mean nobody, talked about this for quite a while. The only time...
Again, this person doesn't understand what merge means. To groom someone, you have to have intent. Like, not minding your P's and Q's and sending kids things you shouldn't isn't the same as grooming them. You're an idiot.
I saw this being talked about was in terms of Keyblade and the shit he said in the Rachel document, because yes, even Rachel saw Keyblade for who he was, a groomer. It pisses me off that no one talked about the actual issue with Keyblade and Tippy. No, instead it was a fucking Discord call, bitching, whining, yelling, and having hero-esque monologues just for Tippy and Keyblade to fuck off.
Kill yourself. No, actually kill yourself, because the entire reason we tore into them was because they hid an actual groomer, an actual predator. So, of course, Deed doesn't know what she's talking about. Of course, Deed doesn't know a single iota of information. She's just trying to throw crap at a wall, repeating what other people have said, because she thinks it makes her smart. Deed, when we do finally have that call, I'm going to tear your throat out. I want to be very clear. I'm not going to be having an accountability call with you, all right? The calmness you heard me in the other call, where I made sure you were all right, and I made sure to lower my tone, you're not getting that this time. So, put on your big girl pants, because I'm going to smack you.
Surprising that worked, honestly. Now, I do want to state that in terms of the timeline, these allegations regarding Tippy and Keyblade were made after the Cloak and Dagger call was made. However, knowing the shit that we know about the SCC, they know things about their members and will brush it under the rug.
Wait. So, it's our fault that the call didn't bring that stuff up, even though we found out about it afterwards. That's still our fault. Kill yourself.
I personally believe Susie and others knew about the shit Keyblade and Tippy did and just never brought it up nor questioned it, even though it would have fucking benefited them to call Tippy and Keyblade out for who they are. Fucking creeps. But no, and quite frankly, to this day, I only ever hear about Cloak and Dagger. I don't hear about these serious allegations. In fact, the serious allegations that were made aren't even brought up on their wiki pages. So yeah, I feel like these grooming allegations have been undermined, and that needs to fucking stop. That's why I'm talking about that.
You mean like you guys undermine things? Like you make it a footnote and everything you talk about, you worthless, gutless weasel?
Because I don't fucking care for these two individuals. They deserve to be known for what they are, in my opinion.
Also, real quick, I'm not going to read all the super chats till the end, but you'll notice the background noise in this is different. Well, why is that? Why is that? Well, I figured since everyone in the SCC, especially these idiots, love their anime monologues, because they're the main character, they're gaining new power levels, I put a whole bunch of anime OST covers in the background. Enjoy that. See if you can pick out which one's which.
Opinion. Degenerate weeaboo-ass child groomers. Well, I've already said his name a plethora of times, so let's talk about how Keyblade fits into all this. Key is pretty non-existent in this thread. His only contribution was calling someone named Ash a cunt, comforting Donnie, and corroborates for Donnie on one of the claims that we'll get into shortly. However, there was something that Tippy brings up that I'm going to talk about because this actually does relate to the creepy shit Key did. Publicly, mind you. So take it away, Tippy.
Well, I recall Key mentioning this to me, that she just blocked him, like out of the blue. Maybe I'm getting this wrong, but he was clueless when she blocked him.
Oh boy, do I sure love when people feign ignorance even though they know exactly what the fuck they did. Alright, time to talk about my history with Key. Key and I were pals for quite a while, and can you guess what happened that caused me to block his ass and to stop talking to him? Say it with me now. Avi. Yeah, Key was still following and associating with Avi despite me sharing the sexual harassment I'd gone through, and so I made the choice of blocking.
Again, wasn't sexual harassment. Womp womp.
His ass, and you want to know something? Key had a conversation with someone about this, so he knows exactly what it was about, despite claiming ignorance in this conversation as well. I was given permission by this individual to share the screenshot, however, their name will be redacted. Here's how the conversation went.
Hey, Keyblade, you there? Huh, redacted. It's been a long time since we last talked. What's going on? Redacted, are you there?
Sorry, I went to bed. I was just wondering if you knew anything about what happened to Deed since I got booted off of her server. Silver just told me.
I have about as much knowledge as you since I also got booted off her server, removed from a friend list, and blocked on Twitter. In fact, minus Silver and Redacted, nearly everyone that server has been removed and unfriended by Deed. So I'm baffled as to what the hell happened.
From what I was told, Redacted blocked Deed, and Deed felt as though everyone was being dishonest to her after that. Basically what happened with Doodle back in 2017.
I see. Well, this is not good since she basically threw away a bunch of people who genuinely considered her a friend.
Yeah, man. I totally threw away a bunch of people who genuinely considered me a friend, didn't I? That's why you guys chose to dismiss my trauma over the years I knew you for, disregarded what Avi did to me, and engage in a thread that's accusing me of being an abuser. You guys totally cared about me. Hey, at least Redacted called your ass out, Key, and you know what? Outside of Michael, they were the only person who cared about me. Which is why we're still talking to this day, and why I want fuck all to do with anyone who was involved with the Avi ordeal, so shove it. There is, however, something I do regret, actually. And what I regret is that I didn't block Keyblade's ass sooner. So, as a reminder, Rachel called Key a groomer, and he freaked out about this, but everyone was on his side, including me, unfortunately. Had I have known the actual context of what the fuck he did, I would have tore him a new one, came up with 15 new nicknames towards him, and 7 new slurs just to use against him, and then never speak to his ass again. So let's talk about my semi-involvement in all this. To get it out of the way, Rachel called Key out for being a potential groomer. Why did she call him a groomer? Because publicly, on Twitter, he tagged a 17-year-old to a lewd image for the purpose of the joke being, haha, I gave a minor a boner. I found out about this and I quickly messaged Key and I essentially told him what the fuck happened, and he spiraled. He was sort of giving me context, but also not, because some of the shit he said did not matter to me. The way he described it to me was that he made a bad joke. He did something stupid, it wasn't malice, it was just a mistake, but people were twisting it to be something worse than it actually was.
To those of you asking me to rephrase myself, because I said you're gonna get whooped, I think you guys need to understand. When I say whooped, I do not mean like I threatened Monstrous was a whooping. I mean, we're meeting out by the flagpole, and you're getting a beating. It will not be fetishistic. It will not be kinky. The only kinks may be if I tie your bones in knots.
So I told him again, what the fuck happened? I basically told him to show me what the fuck he sent. I will let the conversation explain the rest. What was the photo? Show me the photo. Key, please.
I will show you the photo. I just need to find it. I found it. But heads up, this picture is related to one of your triggers, so are you sure you want to see it?
Show it to Silver first then. I'm gonna call with him right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna be real. Depending what was on the photo, I was about to throw hands. You really shouldn't post shit like that without permission. Just, for me, learn from this lesson. I don't think you're a creep, but just keep your anime shit to yourself.
Honestly, I think it might be for the best considering the mess it somehow got me into. But yeah, I'll do that in the future.
Hi, hello. I'm stepping in to give further context on what happened that night because I was actually there for it as well. See, Dee was at work when all of this was happening, and on her breaks, her and I would tend to spend time together via a Discord call. So we were in a Discord call.
You can break bones without breaking skin.
When her and Key were having this conversation, which is why when Key said he couldn't show Dee the photo due to it possibly triggering her, Dee told him to send it to me. Here's the problem with that. He didn't. He sent me an entirely different photo that had nothing to do with why he was being called out by Rachel. This infuriates me because the photo he sent me was of a grown woman in a lewd position, so I told Dee that the image wasn't that bad, which is why she relayed to Key, don't ever do this shit fucking again. We thought it was a genuine, stupid joke, an overall mistake that Key made, but this was under false pretenses, as when we had gone through the victim's testimony, we found out what the actual image was, and it pisses me off because had I have known what the actual image was, I would have torn a fucking new one. The image was a group of anime characters in very scantily clad clothing, 2 of which are underage, making the image a lolicon, which is why we are refraining from showing it to you, even if it's censored. It infuriates me that Dee and I trusted Key. We didn't think he would lie to us. We didn't think he would even be that fucking stupid. But given the fact that he lied in the Rachel doc, which led to the eventual retraction of his testimony within the Rachel document, I think it says a lot about Keyblade's character. He knew what he was doing, he fucked up, and the fact that Rachel knew just goes to show. Groomer Game really do recognize Groomer Game.
I also want...
Can you please just kill yourself? Because you guys spend an inordinate amount of time screeching about the Rachel doc, but you did nothing to fix it or do your own. Also, thank you, Raccoon Fangirl, for joining the members.
To point out that despite Key not wanting to trigger my PTSD, this incident still caused a very intense PTSD episode for me. Reminder, I was at work when this happened, and Michael, over Discord, had to help calm me down. I don't want to go into the details of it, but it was bad. It was very, very bad. So fuck you, Keyblade. If it wasn't for Michael being there, I don't know what would have happened that night, but it was fucking intense and hella scary to go through severe flashbacks and dissociating in an empty office space 11 PM at night. I hope to never see your face on the internet ever again. Ever. And you're probably thinking to yourself, is that it? No, because in comes Donnie with quite a few claims made towards me that have to do with Key. So let's just get this done and over with. We're gonna start with the best friend claim. Yes, there was more to that claim that I haven't shared yet because we needed to talk about Keyblade first. Here it is.
She has judged my friendship with Key before as well, and it's giving me flashbacks to when my ex-friends tried to force me to stop being friends with them.
No, I didn't even know how close Key and Donnie were until now, actually. Just to prove it, here is proof I never once spoke to Donnie about Key and
Oh my god, who cares? Like, most of this video seems to be, we have to disprove every single stupid claim ever made. Like, oh my god, grow up! Oh my god, grow up! Grow up, grow up, grow up. Oh my god, this is dumb. This is so unspeakably gay. This is so unspeakably homosexual. Homosexual slash negative. Homosexual slash derogatory. This is worthless stupidity. What? Are they going to say you're left-handed when you're right-handed? You're going to go on a tirade proving how right-handed you are? Also, I'm crashing out too, Chuli. Thank you.
DMs with him. Hell, I even checked DMs with Key, and not once did I mention Donnie. So no, I did not do this.
I wasn't allowed to call him my best friend as well, because she said that if we were best friends, it would just lead to abuse.
Oh, so you do know why I don't like the term best friend. It doesn't stop there, however, because there is a claim that, similar to the anime claim, it keeps on changing.
She judged me for having feelings for Key too.
Question mark. What?
When I said, I'm pretty sure he's straight, she said, you can't force him to be gay.
Ellipses, question mark. How in the fuck? Like, no fucking shit, you can't force anyone to be gay.
I never want to force that.
Then it's clearly an assumption on her end for presuming that intent. I'm sorry, Donnie was making it abundantly clear he wanted to date Key. I think that's not ill intent at that point.
Every single one of you who dated Donnie, get therapy and reevaluate your lives.
But okay, whatever.
I did not presume intent. I said, a statement. Is it a weird thing to say? Sure. I will admit, I vaguely remember we had a discussion about Donnie's crush on Keyblade, and me, knowing Donnie is male and Key is straight, it doesn't make sense for Donnie to lean into those feelings, because those feelings would not be reciprocated. That is a fact. You want to know who agrees with me? Tippy, because Tippy themselves stated that Key is straight.
I wasn't allowed to express simply having feelings for Key, because that means I'll do something pressuring to him.
That's not how it works. Apparently, expressing one's feelings for another person equals pressuring. Also, Key went on the record to say that he is straight.
Wait, no? Now you're changing the claim. I never said Donnie wasn't allowed to tell Key his feelings. I was just being honest and telling him his feelings would be reciprocated. And sometimes having a crush on someone, the relationship can then turn awkward. That's all I was saying.
She accused me of pressuring Key to be not straight. I'm sorry, fuck. Jesus. Anyway.
Which is a lie since you never...
You know what I accuse you of, Donnie? Living too long.
Did that.
No? Why are we changing it to something worse and worse? It's like we are intentionally lying to make it seem like I'm terrible. Oh, right. Family brain cells, I was losing there. I forgot who...
Yeah, I don't think they needed to lie to prove you terrible. I think that's pretty well proven without having to lie.
...was making these claims. Look, the closest to the actual story was the first time this was brought up, but Donnie had to make it sound bad because he's a victim. I have to be this terrible abusive person, and...
At this point, I'm a victim for listening to this trash.
Does this count as Donnie implying I'm homophobic or transphobic given he's a trans man? Look, I didn't do any of this. The most...
To answer your question, Esme, be a consistent horrific abuser, a liar, ooh, I'm so soft, I have triggers and PTSD, while saying horrendously vile things about people behind the scenes. Including, talking about how Ephraim would, and I quote, want to be raped. So yes, Donnie should kill themselves. Immediately. Expeditiously.
What I did was just make a statement. He is straight, Donnie. He's not gay. But there was something else that I believe led me to telling Donnie he shouldn't pursue those feelings. So right before Key left from the Cloak and Dagger fiasco, he was in a relationship with someone. I can't recall their name, and truthfully, I don't want to drag them into this. They've been through enough with Key saying he cares more about Tippy than his own girlfriend. Yes, that was a real thing that happened. Anyways, Donnie had confessed something to me, and it was this. What do you mean you helped someone cheat? I'm sorry if I'm asking too much, but I just want to know the context.
In 2017, Redacted was dating someone and was in love with me. Or they thought they were in love with me, I guess. And Redacted pressured me to flirt.
Oh my fucking god. Donnie, I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve to be put in a situation like that. Oh my god. I want to make clear that while Donnie claims to have been pressured, he made a choice. He knew this individual was in a relationship. Instead of telling them to end their current relationship if they genuinely had feelings for him, he reciprocated by flirting with them.
You mean like how you made a choice to reciprocate and flirt with Avi?
He made the choice to cheat. As much as I comforted him during this conversation, I don't stand by it anymore, and I firmly believe, given that I've been a victim of cheating, Donnie is trying to pass accountability by saying he was pressured to do it. I didn't want to have to bring this up, but given that Donnie is accusing me of doing things, I gotta play whatever is in my hand. I could also explain how I may have responded the way I did due to it being a trauma response, but I'm gonna refrain from...
Oh, it's actually worse than that, Weebus, because Donnie's a rape victim himself. One would think a rape victim wouldn't say something like that, but here we are.
Talking about that any further. I'm just glad this is done and out of the way now, because there's no way Donnie can go and...
She probably has leaked my vent regarding my crush on Key as well.
No? Oh my god, you never spoke or vented to me about Key, also why would I tell people about your crush? Who the fuck would actually care, though?
Oh god, what if she's saying I'm abusing Key?
Huh?
She's always told me he'd tell me if I went too far.
That tells me you have gone too far, Donnie.
I really should have been in these spaces earlier. That way I could have killed all these people early.
Also, we can't just brush past what you just said.
Every single time I described my friendship with Key to another friend, they told me it was healthy.
I mean, given the tirades you went on and what you had just previously said, I'm not so sure about that.
Key and I have been through hell and back, and he's seen me in my lowest state. We never did.
We get it, Donnie. You really like Key.
That could apply to this entire video, you morons.
Keyblade to an unsettling degree, but I'm here to chime in saying Donnie worsens these claims by bringing up an alleged mental health condition he has, to which he's implying that Deed is being disrespectful to this disorder he has.
Why have so many people try to separate me from Key? She wonders why I have separation anxiety.
No, Donnie, I wasn't wondering that at all. Throughout the years of us knowing each other, you only ever brought it up once. And it wasn't even related to Key. So...
I mostly just hate that so many people have made my separation anxiety worse. The separation anxiety hasn't strained my friendship with Key by itself, since he hasn't had a problem with it, but it did make my mental state worse because...
You know, I'm just going to say this, alright? I see Tooth Hilly saying he also tried to tell others I manipulated him into faking disorders while implying I fake disorders. Well, I'm just going to be that guy, alright? I want everybody to pay very close attention. Unless it is something you have that's going to cause other people major issues or explain some severely strange behavior on your end that can cause some problems, no one, pay attention, no one needs to know about your disorders, your illnesses, your traumas, your mental health issues. None. Part of the problem with places like Cloud Palace, the SCC et al., is that everybody and their mom turns what they've gone through or what they have into the victim of Olympics, right? They turn it into the unwell marathon. Who has the most trauma? Who has the most PTSD? Who has the most mental illnesses? Well, that person's the top of the pile. No. Stop it. Stop it before I just start inserting people who are going to bully you over it until you finally be quiet about it. You want to talk about that stuff? That is fine. You can. You have diary entry possibility and you have actual medical professionals you can consult. Stop putting that crap on the internet where people are going to look at it just because you want attention. And I hate that I have to say it like this. I really do. I tend to be a lot kinder and a lot more understanding. But in these spaces, in these scenarios specifically, that is what people are here doing. They're not doing it because there's an actual problem. They're doing it so they can power scale each other, which is sick and deranged.
Because of the nightmares I've had of losing him, not to mention the extreme panic attacks. I hate having adult separation anxiety. I've had nightmares of losing him because of my ex-friends trying really hard to force me away from him.
Before anything, I want to clarify that questioning someone's mental disorders is a very questionable action. It's certainly not something you should necessarily go out of your way doing, however. If Donnie is going to accuse my partner of being dismissive and outright disrespectful towards his supposed mental disorder, I'm going to call it into question. So let's talk about adult separation anxiety. Separation anxiety disorder is an anxiety disorder in which an individual experiences excessive anxiety regarding separation from home and or from people to whom the individual has a strong emotional attachment. Separation anxiety is a natural part of the developmental process. It is most common in infants and little children, typically between the ages of 6 months to 3 years, although it may pathologically manifest itself in older children, adolescents, and adults. Now, for a diagnosis of
and dogs.
Separation anxiety, a person must exhibit 3 or more symptoms that significantly impair day-to-day life for at least 4 weeks. Those symptoms being excessive distress before and during separation, excessive
I do not need this crap.
worry about losing the attachment figure, excessive worry about events that may cause separation from the attachment figure, reluctance to leave the separation figure, persistent and excessive fear of being alone, reluctance to sleep away from the attachment figure, repeating nightmares about separation, and recurring physical symptoms during real or anticipated separation. Donnie stated 2 of the 8 symptoms I just listed, and remember, these symptoms must significantly impair day-to-day life for...
I get separation anxiety when my wife's out of town because she's thick and she's pretty and I like her.
At least 4 weeks. But there's another thing I haven't mentioned, and that separation anxiety in adults usually surrounds separation from a spouse, romantic partner, or children, to which Key is none of these things for Donnie. In fact, they don't even live in the same state. Keyblade resides in California. Meanwhile, Donnie, for the sake of his privacy, lives in a state that starts with the letter M. If you pull up the US map, you will notice that California is quite a ways away from any state that starts with the letter M. So how is it possible for someone to have separation anxiety with someone who lives hundreds to thousands of miles away from you?
Because you morons allow self-diagnosis and you treat it like it's the same as a legit thing. All of you do. Knock it off.
The answer is, it's impossible. It's fairly impossible, because Donnie would have to be online talking to Keyblade 24/7. There is reason to believe Donnie does not have this condition. Now,
in fact, you know, I'm gonna walk you guys through something. One of the things that pisses me off the most. So we're gonna go to the Cloud Palace. Now I'm not gonna pull up on stream. I don't really need to. So they have, you know, we have of course all the stuff for the server itself, like, you know, browse channels, members, server boosts. Then there's new rules, bulletin board, resources, and the 4th thing, triggers list, where people list all of their freaking triggers so people could avoid them. And of course, half of them are censored because God forbid. We have somebody here named Loki. Who are you? I don't know you. Probably a loser. Their trigger is infamous drama YouTubers and drama YouTube in general. Cope. Donnie's. Because Donnie has one of the biggest lists. Not the biggest. That one goes to somebody named Campbell. I'm not going to read off their stuff. But, Donnie's live-action neck injuries, animated is fine, especially around paired. Incest infest is a trigger. Keyblade Master, a person's name, is a trigger. Kill yourself, both in joking manner and serious. Kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself. Oh my God, kill yourself. Attempts at justifying spanking children. You weren't beaten enough is one. Audio of realistic baby crying. You will never be a parent. Anti-SCC statements. The SCC should have burned earlier. I should have killed it myself years ago. Now, I said this in the last stream, I believe, and I'll say it again, it's caused some problems. It's caused some problems. If a name, just the name, is so bad, you have to censor entire blocks of text, log off. Ah, we have been raided by the Chuli Nation. The Chuli Nation. A much appreciated ally in the fight.
Now, I do want to state that it's 100% possible that Donnie just doesn't know what separation anxiety is. I'm not going to assume that he's outright lying. Perhaps it's the mystical therapist that recommends bad coping mechanisms, or maybe it's Donnie twisting the term to fit his own feelings, intentional or otherwise. Point being, it's possible he's not
You mean like your wife does, the term sexual harassment?
lying about it, but there's most certainly a higher chance that he is still likely lying about it. But one thing in particular, you'll notice he is just fucking gone!
You wanna know what my trigger is? Not seeing my wife enough. That's my trigger.
Discord is still up, but I have not been able to find him on Blue Sky, and both his Twitter and YouTube channel have been abandoned thanks to the Cloak and Dagger situation, an event I'm thankful to have not played a part in. And you'll also notice that Donnie appears completely fine. In fact, in the many posts he's made on Blue Sky, he hasn't brought up Key once. Now, I understand time has passed since Cloak and Dagger. Donnie could have found some coping mechanism that isn't fucking kidding to help him combat his separation anxiety, and just because he hasn't publicly brought Key up doesn't mean that he's not still privately an issue. But given he's been willing to publicly talk about things like being put in a ward, it gives me pause. There is no known preventative measure for separation anxiety, only things that your healthcare provider can prescribe and advise you to do. So if he has separation anxiety,
grow up, go to the gym, learn how to punch things, eat some gravel and harden up, all these things might help.
this has to still be an issue. I refuse to believe Donnie could just be fine after only roughly a year of Key being completely gone. The only two things I've noticed from this is such. Either Donnie misunderstood, or just lied to the term separation anxiety, and simply just doesn't like cutting people off, or Donnie is still in contact with Key. Or third option, I guess, but imagining yourself to be Ginga Denset's Weed Man is actually the secret technique that several children need in order to completely cure themselves of separation anxiety.
The best technique is Kagebushin no kill yourself.
Something tells me that might not be medically sound.
The fact that there's a possibility that Donnie is secretly in talks with Key is very telling of not only Donnie as a person, but also Donnie's moral stance on grooming. I mentioned earlier how Key got away with predatory behavior, and I'm sure the consensus you've had is Donnie wasn't aware, or Donnie didn't know about it. But no, that is not the case. You see, Donnie kept talking about how there were other individuals who were forcing him to not speak to Key anymore, how there were individuals that were trying to separate Donnie from Key. This individual is a person by the name Ash and She-Devil, aka Rachel. I have already explained Rachel's involvement with the grooming accusations. She's the one to publicly call Key out for his behavior. However, Ash is the individual who Key had mentioned between our conversation in DMs. But Ash had also gone on to make a Google Doc retelling their relationship with Key, and this involved the infamous Claire Lolicon image. Unlike Michael and I, Ash had already seen the image and knew that Key had tagged a 17-year-old to Lolicon imagery as a means to turn them on, and Ash went into DMs to call Key out for it. Ash stopped talking to Keyblade for a reason, and so when Ash went to Donnie, Donnie chose to stay with Key. Donnie chose to stay by Key's side, evidently defending him. There was absolutely no way in hell Ash did not tell Donnie what Keyblade was doing, either privately or publicly, because, just as a reminder, the Lolicon image happened publicly on Twitter. There is no way Donnie was not aware. It's no wonder Keyblade called Ash a cunt, because Ash saw Key for who he was, a groomer. But Donnie didn't care. In fact, from what I was told during the Cloak and Dagger fiasco, the only thing Donnie could say was that he felt bad for cutting off Key. I guess adult separation anxiety be damned, huh? The only reason Donnie stopped talking to Keyblade was because of the Cloak and Dagger situation, not because he groomed minors. Let that be known, because just as a refresher, this is the same person who implied that I am racially insensitive due to my opinion on anime being pedophilia, which if you don't know, Lolicon is pedophilia. And Key sent Lolicon to a minor, and Donnie was okay with that. Donnie does not care about anyone else's trauma. The only thing Donnie cares about is himself.
No.
Let that be known.
Is my friendship
You're not
with you
any
okay?
different.
Yes, I don't see why it wouldn't be.
If you consider being pals with someone you actively knew was inappropriate towards minors, then sure, I guess it's deemed okay in the eyes of people who don't have a set of good morals in their head. Also, I find this really telling, that deep down, you knew, Donnie. You knew it was wrong, but you just couldn't give a shit about anyone but yourself.
You mean like you guys did when it came to George the Raccoon, and the entire reason you didn't speak up is because you were scared of getting dogpiled? Look, here's the thing. If I was there, in the sense of knowing all this and whatnot, brother, I'll put it this way. You can go back, and you can go look at the stream I did about Brian Flynn and Super 7 about a month or so ago, maybe a little longer, maybe 2 months ago. When I called somebody a shill, right? When I called them a shill, and people started losing their mind in the chat, and they're like, oh no, don't dogpile them. No, I told them, yeah, try and dogpile me. See what happens. Dude, you have to have the mentality of, I'm not locked in here. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. If you get dogpiled because you're talking about somebody being a predator, brother, talk more. Cause more problems on purpose. Annihilate as much as possible. Be an absolute terror to them. That's what you should do. Not this pussy nonsense of all these weak losers who have to censor entire paragraphs of text so they don't have a manic breakdown. They're gonna dogpile me. Find out what their triggers are, mention it, watch them freak out, and then stomp on their necks as you charge by. That's what you do. This is stupid and weak, and you're dumb and weak. Good God.
I don't have many final words for Key, or the fucking nicknames. Kenny. His name is Kenny. Kenny, the only thing I have to say is, I fucking hate you, dude. I hate that you were doing this shit behind my back openly. No, that's the thing that pisses me off. You were doing this shit openly, and I had no idea. And I hate that, because I opened up to you about my trauma and how I felt about weebs, and yet, here you were, openly being a disgusting, degenerate-ass weeb. Get bent. I hate that you got away with this shit for so long, and it was you telling someone they should kill themselves that got you ran off the internet. It was you being a simp for Tippy that got you ran off the internet, not for being a creep. But you know what? Stay the fuck on, you fucking pervert. I'm glad I cut you off. I'm glad I stopped talking to you. You're a fucking weirdo. You know what I realize now? I realize that at some point in time, I would have called your ass out. It was only a matter of time. I figured out your whole horny on main bullshit. But I'm just glad you're gone, and you better stay gone. This is the part where I have final thoughts for Tippy.
Speaking of Deed, I have seen her respond to a comment of mine, and nothing bad was said there.
Then shut up. Yeah, my relationship with Tippy is non-existent. I knew who they were, I may have responded to a tweet of theirs, but that's it. Tippy, you're an idiot, but also thanks for the 3 counterpoints. But you're still an idiot given that you let confirmation bias still win.
Huh? Oh, I have Jack and shit to say. My friendship with Tippy and Key was so minuscule, I'm not gonna bother insulting them.
Look, I don't care if he was in contact with Key or not. I don't. Because I think Donnie should kill himself. So all this is just essentially nothing to me.
Just stay on nerds. Oh, and Kenny, I have repossessed any and all of your Kingdom Hearts memorabilia that has been forfeited, given you need to stay at least 600 feet away from a child.
She accused me of pressuring Key
I bet he felt real tough saying that.
to be not straight. I extremely disagree that you actually did that to him.
Oh, you should have kept your mouth shut, Horace. Or sorry, George. Because now that we've killed 2 degenerate birds with one stone, I'm gonna spend my last chamber on your ass. Well, time to put down the rabbit raccoon. Let's talk about George! No introduction this time. Absolutely every single individual I can think of has covered this fucker. We're just gonna get straight into it.
It did feel like at a certain point, Silver was interacting with me less and less, which is baffling to me since when I was hiding, Silver contacted Susie to reach out to me so that we could rekindle our friendship. He himself wanted to reconnect with me. However, it feels possible that Deed blocking me could have resulted in Silver associating with me less. I only followed her back then because Silver recommended it. But like I said before, you can imagine how I felt seeing her like Key Devil's tweets from 2019, where she called me whack and played a part in calling me a pedophile/creep.
George, I started talking to you less and less because I realized my initial thoughts about you not being a pedophile were wrong, which they were. I know you're not even going to have the gall to watch this video or answer for any of the shit you pulled with people I'm extremely lucky to still call friends, but I want you to know that any support I've ever had for you as a result of Susie's comically ridiculous video on grooming is, and for a long time now, has been null and void. Stay the fuck out of my life, and stay the fuck away from the people I care about.
Wait, I have a question, but she is literally telling Silver not to be friends with any of you guys.
I definitely noticed when he started interacting with less and less after I came forward with my document and came back to commentaries.
Gee, wonder why I did, George. Can't think of a single clue as to why I would stop interacting with you.
I'll be unable to get through to him, given how Deed hates my guts.
Wow, George, you're the only correct person in this thread, and it doesn't even benefit you. Now I get to explain why George being here doesn't benefit anyone who attempted to defame me. Then again, you've probably figured it out by now, but let me give you the rundown on the George Raccoon allegations. In 2019, Leo came out publicly with a Google document detailing grooming allegations towards George, detailing how he was invited to a semi-not-safe-for-work private Twitter account when he was underage, was pressured to send fetish content, and was sent fetish photos from George himself. Again, all whilst he was underage. Now, this fetish of George was of 2 things: magic tricks and the iconic Snow White dress. However, as the years have gone by, it turns out George had more victims, such as Autumn Kohai and Saf. Saf is a double entendre in this case, as they actually were helping Leo, alongside Vivian, formerly known as Channel Grey, with writing his testimony to which Saf and Vivian's names were smeared, painting them as manipulators, essentially coercing Leo to call himself a victim. It doesn't help that Vivian went on to groom minors themselves with their own fetish, and Rachel Mills Kohai, a known abuser and predator, supported the allegations against George. A broken clock can be right twice a day, but this didn't matter in the eyes of many, unfortunately. Despite all this, George did confess to what he did, and he left the internet. Enter Susie Doodle Tones. When the allegations first came out, Susie, in a livestream, openly—
Fun fact, George was supposed to have a call with Julie and I and ghosted us and ran. Fun stuff.
victim blamed Leo, and despite being told by people to not make a defense video towards George, she did so anyways in 2021, and that changed the narrative and public opinion on the whole case. After this video was released, most, if not everyone in the SCC believed Leo to be a liar, and large creators in the scene, such as Artemi Musha, spread around the idea that George was completely innocent, despite George making a statement on the situation through a Google Doc of his own, and whilst retracting his guilty stance, still said he wasn't completely innocent, as he did still admitted to allowing a minor in an adult space. This completely innocent stance Susie and Musha held got so bad that George was not only welcomed back into the community, a community that was well known to foster minors, mind you, but his victims were also forced to apologize to him. It's not to say everyone was happy with this conclusion, however, anyone who did attempt to debunk Susie's defense or outright support Leo was dogpiled and severely harassed. It wasn't until 2025 when George, once again, left the internet. Why? Because members from the SCC courthouse dug up the George Raccoon allegations and were gobsmacked Susie was able to not only get away with it, but this was an open secret for years. It just goes to show how small the SCC truly is, because had one person said something to outsiders, there would have been major backlash. But instead, the backlash within the community was towards those clearly seeing that George was in the wrong, and by definition, a groomer.
Also, seeing as I was part of the SCC back in the day, to give you an idea of how much of an open secret this was, George was known within the SCC.
I want to be very clear, both of them are. Both of them are part of the former SCC. I don't care what Deed says. I know she has this obsession with trying to correct people who say she was part of it. No, you were there. You made content like it. You were in spaces where community members were in there. You joined them. You talked to them. They were your friends. You were part of that community. And there's no amount of but actually and I'm not part of it that makes that difference. I will tell you to your face multiple times. You were part of it, and I will make you own it.
SCC to go around and ask people to draw their personas in a Snow White dress. He was literally fetish mining within the community. I myself was a witness to this, but I said nothing, as at the time, nobody seemed bothered by this, nor was I aware it was George's fetish. My lack of understanding of fetishes was also poor back then, so I just assumed it was merely an interest of his. To talk about my own involvement in the George situation, I was, before the allegation,
Always an excuse.
To come out friends with George. Not particularly super close, but we had talked multiple times on both Skype and Discord. When they had come out, however, I immediately blocked and ceased communications with George. This was because I was also particularly close with the victim Leo, who was releasing their statements about George. However, when Doodle released her video in which she silenced victims Saf, Autumn, and notably Leo, and welcomed no groomer and pedophile Horace Tomei, formerly George Raccoon, back into the SCC, I had very foolishly and irresponsibly believed and had taken Doodle's side. At the time, I did not fully understand the meaning of the term fetish as well as I should have, believing that it could be used as a non-sexual term, and I also wasn't aware of the full scope of harm that George had done, notably to Saf and Autumn. This was also done partially out of spite, as Leo was manipulated by Ray to cut me off, to which he did so in a pretty nasty manner, and I also wanted to talk to a friend who I now, again, foolishly and irresponsibly believed was innocent. I have since gotten back into contact with Leo.
You people do things for the pettiest and dumbest of reasons. How are you able to breathe without somebody telling you you need to?
And have apologized to all parties for welcoming George back into my life and participating in his return to the SCC. I do not excuse my behavior, and I have since made it a point to not allow myself into spaces with minors. I'm ignoring my 30s anyway, so I already don't need to be doing that, and I've also made it a point to keep a closer eye out for anything that may be considered predatory and to speak out against it. It's my personal opinion that these grooming allegations are not allegations. George groomed minors, plain and simple. This is a fact, as much as it is a fact that Doodle allowed and harbored it, and I'm not going to let people like them play me as a fool by not dealing me the full deck again. The fact that people that I had cared about were harmed by someone who was at best grossly manipulative, and at worst outright pedophilic makes my blood boil faster than a kettle powered by the sun, and I personally hope these individuals find peace in their lives, because if I ever find them, they're resting in pieces. Do not fuck with minors, and do not fuck with my friends. If even
Oh, he's so tough. Guys, he's such a tough guy. He's gonna hurt the pedophiles. He's gonna get into a fist fight with them. Dude, shut up. You sat there like you were in the cuck chair when I was tearing into your wife the other day. Oh my god, shut up.
either of these fuckers return, I promise I'm raising hell till I die or until they're gone, plain and simple.
Unlike Michael's involvement, my involvement is much more vague and almost non-existent. That is because I never interacted with George. Ever. I never shared a single DM with him. Him following me on Twitter was the most interaction we ever had. Truthfully, though, I was aware of who he was because he was a prominent figure within the SCC. But it wasn't until 2019 when I read the allegations Leo had made against George, and I wholeheartedly believed it.
I'm not really sure how old Leo was. Somebody will probably be able to tell me when that was, because if so, yeah, beefing with a literal child is typical SCC.
Partially because it helped me, again, come to terms with what Avi did to me, which was sexual harassment. I want to make something clear that throughout the entirety of the allegations being discussed, that being from 2019 to 2021, to even today in 2025 and so forth, my stance on the matter has never changed. My stance is with the victims. End of. I was always an outsider when it came to discussions regarding the allegations. However, I did do something behind the scenes, and that is in regards to the SCC Wiki. See, on the SCC Wiki, I was informed that George Raccoon's page regarding the grooming allegations was completely edited and scrubbed from the wiki, and I just so happened to know someone within the SCC who was an editor for it, and I confronted them about it. And that person that I confronted was Slayer. I basically had asked why the controversy got removed, and simply put, requested him to place it back on George's page. Truthfully, I should have done a follow-up with him, asking if he went through with my request, but I didn't. Seeing as Slayer was a buddy of mine at the time, I thought that he would be a good Samaritan, do the right thing, and go through with it. And truthfully, I never went to check the SCC Wiki myself, so I don't know if this request ever went through, but knowing what I know, it probably didn't and fell on complete deaf ears. The other thing I did is, again, something George was right about. I am the reason he and Michael stopped talking. See, when I found out that George was following me on Twitter, I got rightfully creeped out and I blocked the fucker. And when I was talking to it with Michael, he actually knew about the allegations and was on his side. And so I had to sit him down, explain to him why he's not in the right, aka innocent, and that's all it took was a conversation. So yes, I am the reason Michael stopped talking to you, George. I don't regret it, and I will not apologize for it. Cope and seethe. Those weren't the only things I did. There was one other thing that I did, and it was technically public, but I did it in a way to not make it obvious on what I was talking about. Let me explain. When I was writing up my notes for my update video, where I basically made my official departure from making slideshow commentaries and was moving on from that endeavor, alongside talking about my personal life and personal experiences with members of the SCC, Susie came out with a video that just straight up defended George. I only watched a quarter of it before I clicked off. I did not watch the entirety of it because Susie's rebuttals were dog shit. However, I looked through the comments and I was bewildered that so many people were on George's side and were just victim blaming Leo. It pissed me off to no end, seeing how people were treating Leo, and I wanted to say something. But I knew if I did say something, I would be dogpiled. But not only that, this was when I was dealing with the aftermath of the Avi stuff, and how everyone I had ever thought were my pals basically defended Avi, so I had already dealt with enough harassment and dogpiling. So what I instead did was, in my update video, I spent a few minutes making a statement telling the public that I am aware that the SCC has members who are defending and literally harboring people who should be in jail, and that they should be ashamed of themselves. And yes, that was alluding to George Raccoon. Keyword members, not the entirety of the SCC.
Now, we saw this the other day. The point is, this pussy behavior, people were mean because they didn't take my claim of sexual harassment. It wasn't sexual harassment at face value and cut somebody off. So I'm going to be petty and I'm not going to fight somebody who's allegedly a pedophile that I believe is a pedophile in this community. I am so righteous and strong.
Here's a clip of that for context. Originally, I had no ill will towards the slideshow commentary community and the anti-slideshow commentary community. However, over the years, I have learned that current and former members have done not only irresponsible actions, but have gone as far as to do actions that are not only morally wrong, but illegal. And the fact that many current and former members are protecting people who have done said actions like that really fucking disgusts me. I really thought better of the community, but learning the things that I have over the years, I am absolutely disgusted. I don't expect you to believe me immediately, as I don't wish to go into the details, as this isn't what this video is for. Not only that, but for the sake of not only myself, but also the victims. However, this is yet another reason as to why I just want absolutely fuck all to do with any member of the SCC and the anti-SCC and just the community overall. I want to say right now, although it's not my place to apologize, I still want to apologize regardless to the victims for the treatment they received for years on end by a community that should have protected you, rather than a rich-ass groomer who would have unfortunately gotten away with it regardless because he has the money for good lawyers. It is beyond
That's not how that works. It's not how that works. You're an idiot.
disgusting watching people not only treat my sexual harasser like he's this good omen, but also a literal fucking groomer. Shocking to say, that applies to both George and Avi. The double standards they had were abysmal, given they had called V Omega out prior, but unlike V, George was somehow beloved by many, literally saying, George didn't groom someone like V did, therefore, he's innocent. Jesus fucking Christ. And so, I wanted to say something, and I did. And I do not regret it at all. People did see that update video, and apparently, behind the scenes, they weren't happy about it. And to that, I have to say, good. If you're mad about it, it's because I was talking about you. You're the problem. Cope and seethe, you self-centered, fake-ass, double-standard, groomer defender piece of garbage.
Are you looking in the mirror when you said that? I'm curious.
Chug on some gasoline, and then light up your last smoke.
She blocked me as well, and it doesn't help my case how she believes all the lies She Devils spewed. She literally liked She Devils' posts where she calls me whack.
Wait, was this recently?
No.
Now hold on a second there, George. Are we really going to call it lies when you straight up confessed and admitted to what you did? Going as far as saying that you are not deserving of any defense. Oh wait, that was before Susie protected your ass. That's right, I forgot. Not only that, when it comes to She Devil here, i.e. Rachel, for as long as I've known the SCC, the narrative is that anything Rachel believes, they believe in the opposite. And I do want to make this clear so people don't get the wrong idea. I'm not on Rachel's side either. Rachel is a predatory person in of herself. The phrase, a broken clock can be right twice a day, exists for a reason. Rachel calling out Kenny and George for what they are only benefits herself. Predatory people can see the behaviors within other predatory people, and call it out as a means of either distracting attention away from themselves, or giving people this false facade that they are a good person. It is, unfortunately, the reality of our world that terrible people tend to want to look like a good person, rather than just being outwardly cruel. Most of the time, at least. The only reason that I am pointing this out is to point out the backwater flip-floppy morals that members of the Cloud Palace had. They were willing to protect predatory people if it merely meant that they were on the opposite stance of Rachel, despite Rachel, in of herself, being a predatory person. And she was once part of the SCC and hung around these people. So it makes you wonder.
So did you.
They protect her too? Just sit on that thought for now, because we'll answer that when it's relevant again. That being said, George is irrelevant for the rest of this discussion, so let's just segue into our final words for him.
George, I'm gonna be upfront. We weren't terribly close. You made some art for me, we were certainly friends, I even met you in San Diego. But I think your reaction towards some of the stuff I was getting into and out of shows how little you actually knew me. I stopped liking my own commentaries because they didn't hold up, either from bad jokes or from the cameos and partners I've worked with turning out to be shit people later down the line that tainted those videos.
God,
and
who
me getting
cares?
shouldn't be that concerning to you. I have no idea why that's a big deal to bring up in your eyes. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to you within this thread, you're a dumbass who went along with everything while not having the forethought to reach out to me to actually check if I'm okay, like the rest of these dumb fucks. But in the real world, you're a pedophile, and one who hurt very dear friends of mine very badly.
Wait, here's the thing. And I've dealt with way too many of these kid-touching freaks. I don't start with like, why did you say something mean about me? Why didn't you check it? It's like, hey, you touched a kid. You're not a person. Here's some directions on how to kill yourself. This is so childish and stupid.
To be frank, I'm glad Deed clocked you as a creep minute 1, despite Doodle and Moosh's abhorrent attempts at making what you...
Yeah, she clocked her as a creep minute 1, which is why she stayed quiet. Because she's just so good.
Did look like nothing, because I can't imagine what fetishist content you would have made of the both of you had you two become friends. I'm lucky that the only thing you drew me was a fucking sentient pair of pants, a pair that I promise I will dedicate my life to forgetting. But I won't forget you, and if I find you in any sort of community, anywhere on the internet, you best believe I'm gonna make the fucking worst cartels look like kindergartners. Stay the fuck away from minors, you garbage-ass freak.
I'm gonna make the worst cartels look like kindergartners. You may need to rewind this eventual video at some point. I'll put a link later up. Go all the way back and take a look at him. This is a man who has not known violence. I'm not saying that to take a shot at his physical looks. He has not seen violence. This man does not understand violence. He has not had it. He has not visited upon anybody. But guys, if he sees this other weak pedophile again, he's gonna make the cartels look like a kindergarten. The guy who probably owns no firearms, has no training, and sits there quiet when I'm talking because he's scared of me. He's gonna be tougher than the cartels. That's why the anime music's playing, because this dude is a LARPer.
Oh, right. Final words. Die. Live leak videos level of death for you, good sir. I disliked you ever since the allegations first came out, and I will continue to dislike you, George. You being in this thread only benefits us. No, wait, hang on a second.
I just realized something. If we actually took this to court, we might actually have something to stand on. I mean, a good chunk of these people did, fucked up shit. We could have, an easy case on our hands. I mean, just...
No, you couldn't. But I'll let you keep talking, dork.
Just imagine it.
Hello?
No. 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 Why did you do this? Why? Do you really think this is smart? Do you really think this makes you look intelligent, or that we should take any of this seriously? They should kill themselves for this. Just for this, if nothing else.
don't know how to tell you this. That's not really how that would work. Libel cases are extremely difficult in court. Just because there are a bunch of groomers doesn't mean we win.
Fuck!
Anyways, hopefully this...
You'd have to also prove that they lost you significant monetary or social standing, and they didn't, because these people are losers and so are you. You lost nothing, because you had nothing to begin with. And no, the court's not going to care. Well, the people who said mean things about me were predators. They're not going to care. This person doesn't know how law works. None of these idiots ever do. That's why she was trying to argue law with me in the call we had, which you guys will listen to in the next couple days or so. Yen's currently editing certain things out of it, because there's a person mentioned there consistently who does not want to be mentioned about any of this. Like, they don't want to be involved in this, and I'm going to respect that.
This is the last time we bring up serious allegations that barely have anything to do with us, but I more than likely just jinxed it. Regardless, we should focus on the allegation that Deed abuses me, and, well, here's the tricky thing about it. Despite it being the biggest concern in this thread, there isn't a whole lot to go off of. But boy, did they sure try. Let's talk about the supposed concerning tweets that I've made, as if they didn't need to make it obvious.
Deed's abused all of us with all these stupid freaking skits and these garbage videos.
Not that they're paranoid stalkers.
I have to ask this because given Silver's tweets earlier, I am concerned. Is he going to be okay? I feel like I can't say anything that could help or support him without his girlfriend looking over his shoulder and diminishing any attempt made to try and, be a friend to him this time of need. I'm asking to see if anyone has spoken to him yet. I know there are a few friends who have gotten into the circle to support him.
So we did some digging. At some point in late March of 2022, I reacted to something that was related to someone reacting to an anime. I deleted that post because I felt I was too angry about it. I wanted to take a break from Twitter because, as admitted by most of you, in the thread, Twitter is a very toxic environment that encourages anger and clickbait rage. Something I've unfortunately noticed and should have predicted Blue Sky is kind of doing right now. I don't want to be an angry person. I don't like being angry. I've ruined a lot of genuinely good things in my life by being way too angry and not thinking things through, which is something that Twitter generally just encourages through its environment. I don't know how you all consider it a cry for help, except yes I do. You're all that angry too, especially when I'm aware that a good chunk of you have wanted people to commit suicide, harass people, and embarrassingly hit your head in order to appease people who wanted accountability from you. Something
I mean, I want you to kill yourself.
Tells me that you weren't worried I wanted to be less angry, you were worried I wanted me to be less like you.
I'm wondering about that too. No one has seemed to have said anything towards this tweet, but I'm hoping anyone has contacted him somewhere.
Probably in private. I just know there are some people in the friend group that are also still in the server that Deed has blacklisted yet.
I have no words. A fucking blacklist. Sure, Scarlet. Hey, you know what else was done privately behind me and Michael's back? People who didn't even engage in this thread spreading around this idea that I abused Michael. So do I get to make a conspiracy theory that they were spies for you guys, or what? Fuck off.
Honestly, the more being said about Deed, the more I'm concerned for Silver, if she's trying to control his life this way.
On what grounds does this tweet have fuck all to do with me, Tippy? Drop the tinfoil hat and fucking think about what has been said about me, for once! Confirmation bias within the SCC is a sickness that needs to be studied.
I want to do something, but I don't know if there's anything I can.
I don't think anyone
Yeah, and unfortunately it's terminal, and you guys caught it too.
can, unfortunately.
Silver is still mutual with me. I saw his tweets earlier, so I might try to check up on him.
Spoiler alert, none of these people reached out to me about my tweet. Not Scarlet, not Tippy, not even Jace, who said he would. You know, for as much as these people are desperately saying that someone needs to talk to me, they sure are fucking cowards. And no, Deed will find out is not a fucking excuse. I don't know how to put this, but if you genuinely believe a friend of yours is in danger or is in an abusive relationship, you don't mope around in a fucking Discord server. You act. You do something that isn't, well, it isn't fucking this.
On the topic, I went to check on Silver's Twitter, and he's been inactive since the end of March. Now, on one hand, I don't blame him for being inactive there since it's a cesspool.
This is where you should have stopped talking, Tippy, but no, drag my partner into this somehow, please.
But on the other hand, there's two things that came to my mind. One, I do miss talking to him whenever I could, since he and I are on good terms as far as I'm concerned.
Given the shit I now know about you, I'm glad I barely spoke to your ass. Stay on me.
Two, I'm worried about him. Now, I do remember he has other friends, so on that front, I get it. I'm just worried about Dee doing anything to him that could be seen as toxic and keeping people away from him, or even hurt him without realizing. At the end of the day, it isn't our call, but it's his. But a part of me just feels very concerned.
So here's a little fun fact. This message from Tippy is actually the very last message that was made within this thread before it died off. And here's what I find interesting about it. To clarify, this is my personal theory. But the fact that Tippy is changing their tune and phrasing here, I'm starting to think that Tippy realized that outright calling me abusive and using very heavy terminology towards me could get them in trouble. Like, oh, I don't know, fucking libel? So the fact that they use the word toxic and how they think maybe I'll do something to Michael, meaning they're not outright accusing me of doing anything awful towards Michael, or, oh, I don't know, making the implication that I abuse him physically, and I'm just completely unaware that I'm hurting him, giving this line right here, I just find this very sinister. Calculated, almost. Because throughout this entire thread, Tippy and everyone else has called me controlling, abusive, aggressive, and all this other shit. But now, all of a sudden, they're changing tune and saying, oh, maybe they're doing this. There's a possibility.
Okay, so I'm going to skip past this stupid crap. Because, oh, they said that I was abusive in this thread. Just call them all gay and cringe and tell them to kill themselves. You don't need to deconstruct everything said here.
Don't apologize, and that's just the way it is. But we can harmonize, even if we sound like shit.
It would not be the SCC if the SCC wasn't bitching and whining about people who have issues with their community. The fact that this is all lumped in with abuse allegations just goes to show how serious they are when they tackle serious subject matter like abuse. Then again, I've seen how they handle shit like grooming or rape accusations.
Same way you do.
Bad. Very badly. Brushed under the rug levels of bad. So as I stated previously, I made an update video announcing the end of my hobby and rebranded my channel to primarily focus on being a second channel. This video is still up and there will be a link to it so you can watch it in full if you wish. But I'm going to break it down via SparkNotes edition, exactly what I said within the video, that way you don't have to go out of your way to watch a 20+ minute video. So here it is. I start by recommending people to watch my update video on my main channel and summarize it. Yes, I made two, I'll mention the other video later. I explain that I've unlisted my slideshow commentaries and that I'm stepping away from them and then asked that they are not to be re-uploaded. I explain that the main reason I left is that slideshow commentaries were no longer fun for me and I wanted to do other content. I explained that I was never a part of the SCC and that I'm not a fan of communities anyways. I explain how others within the SCC attempted to...
You're part of the SCC. You always were, you always will be, because you made SCC content You are. And I'm going to browbeat you into this if we have that call.
Either pressure me into joining the SCC or acted as if I didn't have a say in the matter. I also explained that my name was dragged into things that had nothing to do with me. I explained that current and former members of the SCC have committed illegal acts and that current and former members are protecting these individuals. I then say that I don't expect to be believed.
When you're being vague about it, no one should believe you.
As I'm not going into detail because it's not what the video was about, but also for the sake of the victims. I expressed that I went through things within the SCC.
For the sake of the victims! For the sake of the victims, I sat on my hands like a loser. What a freak. What a dishonest, deranged freak. Hate these people, man.
And I'm not going to name names as this isn't a rant. I bring up that I have no ill will towards the SCC or even the anti-SCC. I bring up a flaw within the SCC, being that they don't allow mistakes. I explain how I was labeled as the Mary Sue girl and that I wasn't referred to by my username, let alone my name. I explain how someone in the SCC aggressively made comments about how they wanted to tear a video of mine a new one. I then explain how some SCC members would turn the commentary off, basically constantly argumentative. I go into detail about an event that happened where I was harassed and called an edgelord. I go into why I had to cut some people off for toxic and manipulative opinions that literally triggered my PTSD. Express how some people were talking about me behind my back and telling others not to watch my content. And finally, I explained that I was hurt by both SCC and anti-SCC members.
And all of this no one should care about. Like, no one should care about this. Boo-hoo, you were in a community where people did things you didn't like. Now, some of this obviously needs to be dealt with, but the majority of this, the SCC doesn't allow mistakes. They labeled me as Mary Sue girl. They said aggressive things about commentary. No. Who cares? Oh my god, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Get a job! Get a job, you loser!
So, what's the issue? Sounds like it was me simply airing my grievances. You're probably wondering to yourself, why does the SCC even give a shit about this? Well, it's because they make multiple claims, some of which don't make sense. Others, I don't know why they care, and as for the rest, well, yes, I did, and that doesn't even benefit them. I'll now be going down a list of everything that was claimed within this thread, and we will be going over them point by point, and then afterwards, I will not be fucking talking about this anymore.
Yeah,
Leave me and my dumb teenage self who had shitty hobbies alone. Here's what was said about me. And yes, the SCC takes this seriously. More seriously than abuse or grooming allegations. In no particular order,
Just
what
like
I
you
made
don't take
was,
them
in fact,
seriously.
a rant video. I made egregious claims about members of the SCC that are untrue. I was part of the SCC and, in fact, contributed to it.
You did.
I forcefully demanded that information be removed about myself, and I threatened people with copyright takedowns, and I apparently don't know how copyright laws work.
You don't.
If I could vomit right now, I would.
Seeing as Deed is feeling sick for having to relive and talk about shit she thought she could put behind her, I'm stepping in to debunk many of these claims as, given I was actually someone within the SCC for a period of time, it's only fitting for me to do so.
Still not over her vaguely mentioning how there are people in this community who are breaking the law and insinuating how we harbor them knowingly, while never once mentioning to whom is breaking those laws.
Says Susie, welcomes George Raccoon, a well-known groomer, back into the community, Doodle Tones. I don't need to say anything further, except you're right, Susie, Deed should have said names, because that's what you wanted. Because if she had done so, you would have linked her video in the Cloud Palace and had everyone fucking dogpile and harass her until she left the internet like everyone else who tried to call your ass out. You can...
Yeah, how'd that work out, by the way? Because Julie and I are still here. So's Chris, Beckett, Vlad. I don't know. Maybe it's just that you're weak. And you like being weak. You like being a victim.
Hate her for being right, but that won't change that she's right. Also, you know what? Do not give my wife shit when you literally were grooming children in the Cloud Palace, Susie. She had every right to say what she said in her video. I don't...
That's not grooming, you gutless weasel.
Don't want to fucking hear otherwise. Jesus fucking Christ, I was in that server and I had no idea this was going on. You make me fucking sick, Susie, or, sorry, Dawn told stories. Yeah, that's right. This sewage piss rat of an individual rebranded and fucked off despite being told numerous times that she needs to get off the internet, so here you go. She is out there still being the parasitic roach that she is.
And you should join her.
Take a sewer slide down to hell, Susie. On God.
Can this bitch just, like, shut up?
This is very old content that I no longer make. I wanted these videos privated and out of the public eye as I don't want to be associated with this content anymore. Unfortunately, the SCC condones re-uploading content that isn't theirs, so to avoid re-uploads, I will be simply leaving this playlist here. I do...
You know what? Somebody give me the videos that she had removed. I'll cover them on stream, just to piss her off.
Not want to deal with copyright takedowns or anything of the sort, despite it being 100% justifiable. Let me also make this clear that due to this content being old, I may not hold the same opinions stated in said videos, and might not even look back at these videos fondly anymore. Despite this, the SCC will quite possibly review this content and commentate on it. So if you came here from anyone who did such a thing, I hope you realize that commentating on old content that people want to forget and move on from, but can't because the community doesn't see that as a possibility, and will instead re-upload the content unedited that isn't even theirs, is a poor and even immoral choice of content to make. The first video available will actually go into depth on why I heavily condemn the SCC. Please, just let this content be dead and forgotten about. I have moved on with my life.
Literally, who has been interested in covering Deed's videos? This just seems like overly...
Hold on, I gotta see if somebody's around. One moment. I need to see if somebody's around. Because if he is, I'm going to bring him on to say a very specific quote that he said years ago that will always be true. I want to see if he's around so I can do that. We'll continue until he responds.
Paranoid nonsense because she saw that commentators could cover old videos from time to time.
Correct. The SCC was known for digging up old content. Better yet, even when someone didn't...
Good point, Mountie. So we're bringing up that he was in Cloud Palace, when it had minors and porn chats, probably isn't the good thing he thinks it is.
Stand by a video anymore, or heaven forbid removed it, people would still cover it and go as far as to re-upload the video without the author's consent. Gee, I wonder why she would be paranoid of that happening.
Also, literally no one has re-uploaded her commentaries. I even checked the SCC archives page and literally...
Look, if it's a video you had, like, unlisted and you didn't want to make public, yeah. But if it's a video you made and you put out there, do you have a legal right to copyright claim that? Yeah. But saying it's illegal for people to have archives is just not true. Like, factually not true. Hold on. Let's go ahead and see if he's able to hop on. We're going to pull an image up to represent him. Yes, Gidgy, I know, mamas, I know. Meow. Meow. I love Gidget. She's such a sweet baby. Isn't that right, Gidget? You're a good baby. Let's make him a little bigger. Hopefully he can hop on. I'm just getting this ready just in case. Where is it? Of course, it's all the way up here for some reason. One day I'll figure out how to properly use OBS. Today is not the day, but I will figure it out. Now let me go ahead and hop in call and double check something. Oh, is he able to hop on? Sorry for the dead air chat. I'm sure you're enjoying the anime music, but let me go ahead and just have Gallagher tell you something. Just waiting for him to pop up. And yes, I am Stickman. A couple days, by the way. Now we wait for him. Watch while we wait.
Really the only thing even slightly relating to her kitty's response to her.
Does Deed know the archive exists? I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I'm just curious.
I did not, but it concerns me just how many children's videos were uploaded on a site with 20-year-olds to fucking knock at. That's fucking weird, especially given...
Hello, Julie. I'm actually here to check in with Gallagher on something real quick. So, Gallagher.
What's up?
There's a very specific thing that you have said many times that I want you to tell my chat. What is the internet rule you constantly preach?
Hold on. I will actually do this for you.
Yay. Whatever it is, we'll wait.
Do 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 do.
Do do.
There you go. You should see a notification in your main chat.
Yes, I would like you to quote it since we're on stream.
Quote it because we're on stream.
Yes.
If you put something online, it should be made fun of.
And if people do make fun of you for it, should you be shocked and surprised?
No, because it's like an obligation. Like everybody online. Okay, look, here's the problem, right? Under most circumstances, like 98% of circumstances, right? The only way people can know something about you that's sensitive and make fun of it is if you tell them about it, right? Like, for example, if I had like something embarrassing happen to me and I didn't want people to make fun of it, I wouldn't put it online because I don't want people making fun of it, right? But if I like didn't really care that people made fun of me for sneezing too hard and crapping my pants, I wouldn't have any qualms about putting it on the internet because I know that people would make fun of it. Like that's just, I don't understand why this is so hard for people to comprehend.
Well, welcome to the SCC. None of them comprehend, but no. I just wanted to give you the moment to tell the chat your wisdom on such things.
Yeah, like, don't sit here and cry that people made fun of your dog dying because they wouldn't know that your dog died unless you told them your dog died. Like, especially if you're a controversial figure, right? Like, you are a controversial figure, like, or contentious figure, I guess is a better, contentious figure, right? People either like you or they hate you.
And there's no in between.
And there's no in between. So you know that if you put something on the internet, your detractors, as DSP would call them, would literally use it to make fun of you. And I wouldn't care because you put it on the internet. Unless someone like doxed you and got like private information, like, look, like I found this medical information that, you know, Lyle has herpes. Let's bully him for it. I'm like, well, you know, that's not cool because the second rule of the internet is keep it on the internet.
Well,
I believe in the segregation of internet crap and real life crap.
Well, thank you for the wisdom, Gallagher. That's all I really needed from you.
All right. Well, sure. Just pull the Gallagher bell next time you need some of my internet wisdom. Until then, I'm going to go back into my grass cave.
Later, dude. Thanks. Hello, Julie.
How far are you? How far are you into this piece of shit?
I'm 3.5 hours into it.
3.5 hours? Dude, I made it 30 minutes.
That's it?
I made it 30 minutes and I couldn't stop screaming.
That's it? You just made it 30 minutes?
I only made it 30 minutes in and it took me 3.5 hours.
Ouch. Don't worry. I'll power through this for all of us. I will be the sacrifice of the stupid.
Thank God I'm not watching these entire things. I'm only watching the parts that have to, you know, tangentially relate to me. But holy shit, how did they ever think these videos were going to be good?
Because they're from the SCC.
Oh my God, these losers. They did not catch the memo that they and all their kind will die.
They will, by our hands.
Yes, okay. I have to go back to entertaining my patrons now. But God,
right.
I had to pop in to tell you that I became homicidal.
It's better than the other thing, so...
The bird!
Yes, the bird! Always the
I
bird.
love the bird.
You take it easy, Julie. I'll catch you later.
Adios.
Bye. So, we are now back to pain! Bringing the pain.
How many predators were in your community?
The SCC condones re-uploading content that isn't theirs. Buddy, I only went after Jack Cook because he was basically stealing my shit, and, like, Jake never asked me or anyone. Like, if, say, Slayer asked to re-upload my old comms for the archive. Well, first, I would remind Slayer that I have my stuff unlisted, so he doesn't need to. But then I would be cool with it since Slayer asked. See, I wouldn't copyright strike if it was a re-upload for archiving. It was putting it into a complication with zero changes and stealing other people's work that made me upset.
Congratulations, Azelf. You literally proved Deed's point. That is the exact reason why she doesn't want people re-uploading her old content. Do I seriously have to school you guys on how copyright laws and fair use works? You upload content onto YouTube. You should know this. It is ingrained into you, but here we are.
You couldn't school anybody. I could find kindergartners that could run circles around you.
This is a YouTube video. You're currently watching a YouTube video. Hi. I'm sure you're aware how copyright laws and fair use works, but just as a too long didn't ask, fair use only applies when you do not upload someone's content with little to no changes, and especially when you monetize off of other people's content with no change in regards to the initial work. When it comes to copyright laws, it applies outside of YouTube as well. However, if you, I don't know, say, take someone's video from YouTube and re-upload it fully with no edits onto an archive site, that goes against copyright law. Yeah, did you know archiving purposes is not an excuse to break copyright law? You wanna know who agrees with me on this? Archive.org. Archive.org has a page on their site dedicated for people who wish to take down content that has been uploaded onto their website without their consent because archive.org has to comply with copyright laws. So if you guys are acting the way you are and thinking that archive purposes...
So what specific statute are you citing? Look, if you want to talk law and you can't even cite a statute and don't know what that is, shut up.
Is enough of an excuse to steal videos, many of these being children's videos, mind you, and re-uploading it onto a website, then get ready for a lawsuit because, oh boy, you are just straight up breaking the law, my compadre.
You're not going to get a lawsuit. In fact, if I was going to be an absolute dick, I could upload literally every single video you and Deed ever made, and you guys would do dick all about it. You would never take me to court. You don't have the money for it.
Okay. Made even worse by the fact that none of her videos, to my knowledge, have been archived by me or anyone else. So essentially, she's just being paranoid that people might cover her at some point. Which, why would they waste their time on someone who's clearly afraid of being criticized to begin with?
Because that's never been a concern for the SCC to begin with. I'm sorry, but in the time that I've been in the SCC, caring about how someone would feel to a commentary was never a conversation that I've heard get brought up.
Why would anyone, at least around this circle, want to bother covering someone who thinks that there's terrible people in this community? Most people, if not, no one likes her. So why would we cover any of her content at this point unless there's something more egregious comes to play with it?
Bandwagon. That's the only word I've got to say. No, you know, fucking, I'm gonna go off the script for a bit. Do you know how many names I could bring up? Like, easily, like fucking Conquer09, Kablam Bandicoot, fucking... So many of you covered people who were constant targets over and over and over and over and over again. I know you know this, Tippy. You are not so disconnected from the SCC from like 2016 onwards that you don't know what a bandwagon is. We were all there. We all fought in the war.
So yeah, she's literally bitching about nothing. Also, the first video available will actually go in depth on why I heavily condemned the SCC. So that whole thing of you saying that it wasn't a rant was nothing but a big fucking lie. Kindly eat a dick, bitch.
The level of dismiss.
Fun fact, before I got deeply involved with the SCC, I, murked several of their ops. Just tangentially, including one of their biggest bandwagons, who hasn't been online since.
She has towards people associated with the community is damning. Holy crap.
Tippy, you were complicit to grooming a child. I'm dismissing you. I don't care.
Twitter post aside, which, yeah, Slayer, just admit you support stealing people's content, GG. Now, onto the whole Deed's video is a rant ordeal. To clarify, while I can partially understand why this would be seen as a rant video against the SCC, it's not. Rant videos against the SCC involve targeting the community or higher members within it, such as Doodle Tones, and accusing them or negatively spreading allegations about them in order to paint them in a worse light, factual or otherwise. If anything, Rin's videos are closer to rant videos than Deed's update video was. Deed's update video was explaining why she wasn't doing slideshow commentaries anymore, and was uploaded on her side channel because that's where she was doing that kind of content to begin with. She was explaining her own personal experiences, but didn't label the SCC as bad for it, and more explaining that some particular bad eggs had made the hobby not fun for her anymore. The only one time she made an accusation towards the SCC was when she stated that it harbored criminals, which it did. George, Susie, and given that that's only a small portion of the video, I personally have a hard time calling it a rant video just for that. I suppose it's really up in the air though, depending on what your definition of a rant video is. Personally, I think it's just a bad label that's made to ignore a video you don't like and anything that might be in it. Should I consider any commentary a rant video? I could easily argue that a commentary is ranting about the video they're covering. Walk with me here, an SCC theory, if you will. Many members of the community...
Okay, so since somebody said what war, I've got to pull something up. Hold on. See if I can find it. Of course it's Thundercats, you know this. You know how we do here. Let's see if I can find the right section here. Because I know copyright's gonna murder me.
Yes, oh wonderful one. I will do it right now. Immediately. This instant. Do what?
Sweep out my sarcophagus!
Yes, sir, Mumra, sir.
What in the name of...
Forgive me, exalted one. My old war wound is acting up.
War wound? What war?
What's war?
The Great Snarf Rebellion, 42 to 47. I was a commando, you know. My hands are lethal weapons.
Oh, quiet!
What war?
Were around during the early days of YouTube, and back in the day, rant videos were nothing more than grown-ass people flipping on a webcam, bitching and whining about first world problems, essentially. So truthfully, I'm right. It is nothing more than a label, and as a means to discredit, well, any amount of criticism given towards the SCC. And even then, what Deed shared was personal experiences. How the hell can you discredit what someone personally went through? Oh, wait, I forgot.
Cloudy!
I did also do some soul searching. I think I've come to a more satisfactory reason why. Despite having less of a knock-on effect and offended me much less, the Gwis video is still a worse SCC rant to me than Deed's side channel update video, and the simple reason points down to people actually liked Gwis. Like with someone like Gwis, everyone immediately recognized him as the smart, articulate, observant individual that he was before he went all conspiracy monger during the Fran situation, and that caused his attempted rebrand to be much more of a fall from grace. Whereas outside of Twitter and the doc, the only place I have any memory of Deed's common username for all this shit went down was a brief one-time name drop during a Mr. A co-op. She was mostly entirely nobody as far as I could tell.
Oh, great, call my partner a fucking nobody, why don't you? I'll have you know, I love the Heartless in Kingdom Hearts just as much as I love my wife, thank you. Hyperfixation aside, is she really a nobody to you, Musha? Because not only did the Cloud Palace make...
What? You love a fictional thing as much as you love your wife. Okay, look, I love Thundercats. I definitely love Catwoman. Love Transformers. They all rank, lower than the wife. You guys literally saw the hot or not scale where the wife was above Catwoman. That's just unhinged.
Make an entire thread about my partner, but out of everyone, you had quite a lot to say about my partner both in private and publicly.
I still love how apparently she sent Silver to Doodle to complain and yell and whine and bitch until Deed's section of the CC wikis were taken out.
I remember that. She said she was never in the CC to begin with, if I recall correctly.
I find it strange Susie isn't the one making this claim, obvious, so I guess no conversation is sacred when it comes to anyone in the SCC. Though I already knew that when these fuckers talked about my girlfriend's trauma behind her back. Anyways, there was no complaining or yelling or whining or bitching. You wanna know what there was? A single conversation with Susie with little to no arguments. Here it is for yourself. Hey Doodle, do you know who moderates the SCC wiki?
Yeah, why?
Deed really doesn't want to have a page on there. She never really considered herself part of the SCC. She already spoke to someone about not being on there.
Cope.
And they kind of just put her on there anyways.
Did she not?
A wiki page about you does not require your consent.
What?
No, I don't think Deed would know how to make her own page anyhow.
No. I mean, did she really never consider herself a part of the community? Because I was pretty sure she did, if albeit briefly. But if I'm misremembering, oh well.
She's telling me that she never really did. She did make such a commentaries, and I know someone tried to pressure her to be part of the community just because of that, but outside of that, nah.
If she made commentary, she was around these spaces, she was in these servers, she was friends with these people, she is slideshow commentary community people. She is.
Alright then.
Many thanks, friendo. She also says thanks, and she appreciates it a lot.
Erasing history is bad, guys. Unless my deranged-ass girlfriend needs me to change history, then it's 1984 up in here, am I right?
Guys, it is fucking Commentaries. We're not exactly recreating the Civil War here. This isn't being
Well, I mean, you said you were in the war.
written by Orson Welles.
I remember that. She said she was never in the CC to begin with, if I recall correctly.
Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. What? But she was. Like, at the end of the day, if you don't want to remember your time, then that's one thing. But don't lie about the fact that you were there at all is. Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Your grammar sucks.
Ugh, my mouth tastes more like blood than vomit, but I'll dig it. Anyways, no, Tippy, I wasn't. I don't know why there's this hive mind-like mentality when it comes.
Wait, hold on. My brain just caught up. Did he say that War of the Worlds was written by Orson Welles? No! It was written by H.G. Wells, you degenerate moron!
To the SCC itself, but if people can acknowledge you can be a fan of something and not join or participate in the fandom, then you can certainly be a content creator and not join or participate within a community. It's that fucking simple. But apparently it's not simple for the SCC because they could not comprehend why anyone either didn't want to be part of the community or eventually wanted to leave because some individuals had this mentality of, you're a part of us whether you like it or not. Looking at you, Slayer. I called it a hive mind for a reason. But then again, that assessment isn't even right either, because they did know this. You want to know who never considered themselves part of the SCC? Boonslayer. He said it himself in a video of his.
This is the reason I don't like the concept of the alt-CC, and that's because of what it inevitably led to that leading up to Darkseid's video, I tried to avoid happening altogether. Label politics. You see, it seems like everybody feels a need to identify as something. That's why we have groups. That's why we call both the alt and the neo communities. That's why we socialize in general. Everyone wants to belong to something, and that in turn leads to this rather gross practice of putting labels on people rather than getting to know who they are as people. Yes, I make commentaries, but that doesn't mean I'm doing the same thing as Joshua Colbyhouse, or Carmon at Zero, or even Doodle Tones, Ryan Rhino Mills, or Ponder Sprocket. I find it repulsive, Jar, that you, or anyone else, would look at the good in these videos and say that because other people are bad, we're bad. That is why I would never join the alt. That is why I don't even like using the term neo, or even, I don't even like using the word commentary community anymore. I am not any of these labels that you have placed upon me. I am the motherfucking Boonslayer, and my advice to you, and the rest of the world, is that you better watch your ass.
You want to know someone who completely wanted to separate themselves from the SCC because they were tired of it?
Okay, this argumentum ad populum, that doesn't mean that it's accurate.
Caden Monroe, you said this yourself, Susie, and you were fine with that.
Okay, first off, even taking out the fact Caden doesn't even consider himself a part of the CC anymore.
Why is it that there are certain individuals that can willfully leave the community and separate themselves from it, or, better yet, there are individuals who can openly—
You're acting like they touched you. All we saw was Susie said, oh, I thought she did. Yeah. Not, no. She must stay here and remain with us. She is imprisoned in our community forever. Forevermore. No! She's like, oh, I didn't know that. You know what? I think somebody needs to lock you in a dungeon with, like, SCC written on your shirt.
State they're not a part of the SCC, and they don't get shit for it. Oh wait, I know why. Because these were prominent figures that you guys liked. Favoritism. And seeing that you did not favor me, no, you people loathed me. And because of that, you're throwing a hissy fit. You know, if you don't like me so much, why would you even want me to be part of your community? That's the part I don't get. But you know what? I don't care. Because I am not a part of your fucking community. I never was, and I never will be. I did not consider myself part of the SCC. I never did a co-op with anyone. No prominent figure made a video on me even. The most I ever had people do—
Cloudy, are you able to hop in call? Are you able to hop in call, Cloudy? Because you're asking a very, very interesting question, and I'd love to give you the answer directly, along with a little bit of information about why that answer and question is so funny. So, let me know if you can hop in call, and I'll tell you. You'll love it. You'll love it so much.
Was make short cameos for me. In fact, Livy was one of those people. Granted, I didn't know she was underage. Wouldn't have asked her if I knew that. But yeah, that was my one and only interaction with her. I'm dead ass. Me interacting with other content creators does not mean I'm part of your fucking community. That just means that I just saw you as content creators to befriend. And that's not—
Yeah, it does. It actually does. It actually does. It does. It absolutely does.
Forget my videos.
If you make the same content they do, in the same sphere they do, around the same people they do, and you're in the same servers they are, and they're friends that you are, you absolutely are. You are SCC.
We're on a second channel. From day one, slideshow commentaries were not my prominent content. It was a side thing, a hobby. I did not contribute anything to the community. And I better not hear anyone fucking say—
Also, she was a part of the chain that got the Cloud Palace into some deep shit some years back. Like, Guis was obviously a more respected member of the community, no doubt, but it's not to say Deed didn't have her hands in this community, regardless of how much Silver wants to fight for her right to disassociate.
Was it a fight, Susie? You really didn't argue against Deed being removed from the SCC wiki, like, at all.
No, you will not put the fucking blame onto me for your easily avoidable blunder, Susie. Okay, so what the fuck is she talking about? Wow, she's talking about the rare occurrence where the Cloud Palace made a commentary and never re-uploaded it. Hell, they didn't bother remaking it. They fucked up so badly, they just wanted to forget it ever happened. But here's the thing. It was a commentary within a commentary on a video of mine. I was not the target of that video. I was not involved in the making of this commentary. I wasn't even a part of—
Based, Cloudy. Based.
The goddamn Cloud Palace. This has fuck all to do with me. But as you might have guessed, that video got taken down. Why? Because the editor put Rule 34 images into the video. Yes, you heard that right. Someone had Rule 34 images in their commentary avatar folder. Either that or the editor was working on the video with just one hand. I just think that's really, really funny. Blame me all you want.
One day y'all gonna be watching a toy review from me and just gonna get flashbanged by, like, Catwoman thighs.
Susie, but I didn't do shit. I wasn't the editor, nor any of the dumbasses who completely overlooked that and hit upload. But you know what? I'm so glad I am pretty much an omen, or essentially a curse to the SCC. I will wear that like a badge of honor, because you fuckers need to leave me alone.
She used to appear on my streams a lot.
By the way, they left her alone for, like, years. Just so everybody's aware.
Susie, I can count on one hand how many streams I was in. Shut up. Your most entertaining stream was me debating with a drunk person over Mountain Dew anyways.
I remember very long ago I had thought covering one of her videos. Yes, I should consider myself lucky that never happened.
Stag, what the fuck are you even doing here? This is literally the only message he posts. And I have to wonder, why did you say this? Why did you say you were lucky? Is it because I'm abusive or because I can't take criticism? Because you do realize this entire thread thus far has been about serious accusations made against me, right? And this is something that concerns me. How many? How many people looked at this thread and actually knew what the fuck was going on? This is more than just commentary discussion. Serious fucking accusations have been made against me. And yet, all Staggy can say is, well, glad I didn't cover her. Yeah, I'm glad too, because Jesus Christ, I can't imagine the sexual harassment, vague threats, or frivolous accusations you would have posted in this thread. You know what? I have to wonder. Stag, are you the person who yelled at me in a Discord call telling me you wanted to tear a video of mine a new one? Because if that was you, go fuck yourself.
I don't need to yell in a Discord call to do it myself. I do it live.
You know, truth be told, I've been considering responding to that diatribe of a playlist description. I probably won't, but it's been crossing my mind.
A fucking playlist description. You people will commentate on a video game manual if it meant making slop content.
Yes.
By the way, people told Slayer on the thread not to do it, and he ended up not going through with it. Good. Because what the fuck would that even look like? Hey guys, today I'm going to be commentating on a playlist description where someone actively tells people not to re-upload their content without their consent. And I think that's bullshit. In fact, you should be allowed to not only re-upload people's videos without their consent, but you should download people's videos for blackmail purposes and host a website full of videos mostly filled with children's voices. Oh yeah, and even though they heavily don't stand by this content anymore and wish for it to remain dead, I'm going to actively dig up their grave of old content, which will naturally cause my audience to send harassment their way. Get fucked! Yeah, you'd look pretty fucking weird, and the only people who would support you—
I don't know, I think that's kind of funny. Just that entire presentation. Like, if they say that, yeah, bully them, but you're acting like this is some major moral thing, like that we must crusade against, which again is something the SCC is constantly getting on to about. It's like constantly crusading and morally grandstanding against the dumbest of things. Congratulations, again, you proved your SCC.
You, Slayer, would be your own fucking community.
Okay, articles are one thing. I saw a few folks commentate on articles. Hell, I commented on one myself, but a fucking playlist description? I have nothing relevant to say on the matter, but I just... Fucking Tibby, man. I need to talk about Tibby's response to this.
Yeah, no, like, don't do it, Slayer. Not because you're wrong or anything. The description of the playlist is garbage, and it reeks of dishonesty. But by doing a video on it, it'll only cause more problems and get her more ammo to call us terrible and awful people. And
also, I'd love to know where the claim of blackmail comes from. I want to see that.
further making it impossible to get in contact with Silver. And, like, I know Silver doesn't hate anyone as far as I'm concerned, but Dita's basically keeping him distant from those who were close to him, and I think everyone just doesn't want to make this worse.
Mind you, this was about a goddamn playlist description. I think I'd call you guys weirdos rather than awful, but like, what was your guys' plan? Was it to just do nothing forever? Don't talk to Silver or Dee or respond to them or anything, just make a single half-baked Twitter thread and then do nothing for 80 million years? On God!
Well, no, hopefully more lighthearted note.
Musha then posted a Twitter post from the Twitter account Commentary Conspiracies, which I would like to point out, not only was it obvious this account was made by Musha, I personally clocked it day one, but it's also entirely pathetic that you do the exact same thing that you're upset at Dee for doing, which is being vague. The difference is that she's not an entire community capable of ostracizing you and harassment. But Jesus fucking Christ, this thread, man, it's a doozy in of itself, so let's go through it.
Just going to update you on what's going on with my life. But first, let me take an aside to say that I hate commentators because they did the bad things. I would say what the bad things are, who did them, but this is a post telling you what's going on with my life.
Dude, what the fuck is so wrong with Dee bringing awareness to sketchy shit literally happening in the open?
Because she didn't do anything about it. She was vague. She was vague, you gutless, mentally stunted half-wit.
With the SCC. Oh, that's right. It's because she's talking about you, Musha.
No, here's what's gonna stick in a craw. Musha was right on this one. You dribbling idiot.
Yeah, you were one of George's top defenders when Susie posted her video. That's right. So all the shit I said about Susie regarding this applies to you. You fucking extension cord.
So, it's so much of a post telling you what's going on with my life, but please also pay attention to my allusion to the bad things. This is not a rant.
Again, not a rant video, and she spent less than 10 minutes going over that. For fuck's sake, you were so hyper-focused on this one thing, all because she was calling you out without even knowing it. On God! So many things on God. It's so heavy for him.
I never considered myself part of this community, but I will still readily admit to contributing to it, because my hang-ups and deep-seated issues totally make that the way it works. Anyone who disagrees with me probably also molested my pet bedbug. Okay, quick sideline. Molestation isn't funny, you fucking cuck. That's not a joke. Actually, fuck you.
I never...
People... Oh my God. It's a joke. It's a joke. He's not threatening anybody. He's not saying your wife is molesting anybody. He made a joke, and molestation was the punchline. It's not funny. You can't make... Dude, I hate to say it, but humor's subjective for a reason. There are jokes I don't say, jokes I don't like. I'm not going to sit there and get on to other people making them in their own spaces. This is asinine. Oh my God. I hope Vlad finds you, people. I hope he finds you. And I hope he says all the most egregious jokes he has in his catalog just to piss you off.
Readily admitted to contributing to the SCC, Musha. You are pulling that out of your ass. And someone can share their hang-ups and deep-seated issues with someone that doesn't involve them. It's called having a fucking opinion. But out of everything...
Yeah, but he can't have one.
That last line is what makes all of this fucking grotesque to read.
Keep in mind, this is 2.5 speed. Imagine how slowly that last line. It's what made all of this so grotesquely. Really? You just gotta put the theater kid in it? Somebody needs to beat you.
If you haven't figured it out by now, Musha is doing an imitation of me. He is pretending to be me writing this. And in the last line, whilst pretending to be me, he mocks molestation. Trauma that I have personally gone through in my life.
Oh my god!
Pretending to be me, mocking my own trauma. And for reasons I'll get into later.
You don't have evidence that he's doing it to mock your trauma. He was being a dick, alright? You sanctimonious idiot.
Yes, Musha was aware that in my past I had a history of sexual abuse done towards me. He knew what he was doing when he wrote this tweet. These people had such deep-seated hatred towards me that they did not care to dehumanize me, and they did not care to mock my trauma.
You mean like you've done to people this entire video? Like when you lied about Avi? Of all people, Avi. Somebody you did not at all need to lie about, but you did it. Remember? And you call other people groomers with no actual evidence of grooming, because you don't know what those words mean. Holy crap, you are just screaming at a mirror.
My only comment on this will be, fuck you, Musha. This account was nothing more than for you to show your true colors of how much of an ego-inflated prick you fucking are, and continue to still be.
It feels like the only way I can get the message out there as explicitly as I can is if I try to make a video responding to Deed's stink piece, and I do have a script for that. A short one, but still.
Musha, you literally admit you didn't finish watching the video, but you know what? I'm just glad you never went through with the video as far as I'm concerned, because you want to know why? It would have been a shit show. Because all it would be is a British pretentious twat mocking someone who's sharing their personal and, quite frankly, traumatic experiences with the SCC.
Traumatic. Look, the SCC's done some screwy things, primarily to children, alright? For them, yes, that's trauma for them. If the SCC being dicks to you, like you described here, is traumatic, oh my god, you have had a soft life. And I don't care what else you've gone through in this sense, if this is traumatic to you, your life has been soft. There are people I know of who are dead because they've gone through worse, and here you are doing 16, 20 hours worth of crying and whining because people were griping out about you in a server and treating it like somebody blew your arm off in the war. Oh my god, you people are weak and pathetic. And you know the thing is, I don't mind inherently when people are weak, because at some point everybody's been weak. At some point everybody has. The problem isn't being weak, the problem is staying weak and demanding that other people capitulate to your weakness. I refuse. I stoutly refuse, and I will get in your face and tell you no. I will tell you can either get up to my level, or the level of other people who are hardened up, or you can just, I don't know, go cry in the corner, like a dumb dog you are.
Yeah, that's what my video was primarily about, was me simply airing my grievances. Not only that, none of these people listened to the first few minutes of the video. See, that other video I implored people to watch, it was a video of me sharing how, due to my upbringing, mental health wasn't taken seriously. It was only until I moved out of my parents' house when I started to experience the physical signs of PTSD, let alone understanding how PTSD works. But then again, this is the same cunt who made an impression of me mocking molestation. I'm sure he would have found some way to justify mocking me sitting in my apartment emotionally.
You know, I keep being told that she was part of a cult. At this point, I'm wondering if it's the freaking cult of Cuckoo Cola. This is all someone serious.
Conveying how shitty my upbringing and overall childhood was. Musha, your morals are as thin as a stream of piss from the wasted bloke down the street. There was actually a lot more, Musha says, in regards to my video, but we are saving it for his segment because it gets much worse. Yes, we've only scratched the surface of this iceberg of a hellscape that is my life for the past fucking 5 years. You know what? Fuck this. If I'm gonna sever my entire connection with the SCC with this video, I might as well go out with a bang. I had every right to condemn the SCC, but I was nice. Too nice in my update video. In fact, I think I'm too nice even in my fucking playlist description. So you know what? Because I have absolutely fuck all to lose, let me tell you exactly how I feel about the SCC. The SCC has such a huge fucking ego that they tend to forget they are minuscule compared to any other community within the YouTube sphere. That is how you fuckers got away with the George Raccoon shit. If a singular outsider stumbled across Susie's video, she would have been done for. So many members in the SCC would have been done for.
You could have told somebody, you gutless, gormless waste of human semen.
It's why you had such a hatred towards a nobody like me, because you all were just a circle jerk of yes men for yourselves.
And you're no different. You are exactly like them, because you sat there knowing George Raccoon was a kid toucher and said, well, I don't want to be traumatized and dogpiled. You stupid cow. You do not get to sit there in a call stuttering and stammering about how scared you are of me because Lyle yells and it upsets my twiggers. You heard Cloak and Dagger. You could have come to me at any time and told me about George Raccoon. And my response then would have been the response I had last year, where I immediately dealt with it. You are a dishonest, deranged, morally repugnant, superior-sounding idiot who doesn't have any clue that they are the poster child for the Dunning-Kruger effect.
You want to know what the SCC is? Because let me tell you what the SCC isn't. The SCC is not about debating. The SCC is not about critiques. The SCC isn't even about fucking commentating. All you people are just a group of nerds who seethe in your basement, bitching and whining about 13-year-olds who have a fucking hobby. All I ever saw you guys bitching on about was video games, Pokemon, and just people's opinion on your own damn community. That is it. As much as I was
And you cry about them saying the words cult and saying molestation jokes. You're not different.
a fan of them back in the day, your guys' content was not good. Your guys' critiques were not fucking good because all you did
Yeah, and yours still isn't. What's your excuse?
was bully, harassed, bitched, and whined about the most nonsensical shit that didn't matter. Don't even get me started on how you talk down to people. Hey, calling someone a dumbass is not critique. And no, being harsh was just your excuse to be an asshole.
Not any of this is any actual critique or criticism. You're just a crying, simpering loser who thought you could put out this dreck and that no one would check you because the people you thought were going to be your enemies are all gone now. Hi, congratulations, you wound up on my radar. And now I'm going to bury you.
Oh, for as much as you like to call your detractors ranters, that is all you guys were. Your community did not care about copyright laws. You would re-upload people's content without their consent. You would keep people's videos as blackmail, essentially. You would download people's videos, wait, and then make a video, which would cause an uproar of harassment. It's why you had the good old saying bandwagon, because all it meant was someone getting dogpiled on because they were easy material. Imagine being dehumanized to
I wonder how she's going to like that this is going to happen to her, except it's going to be with people far more aggressive.
the point people call you easy pickings. Imagine being a 13-year-old, and then when you're 17, all of a sudden an array of people are harassing you because of shit you said years ago that you don't even stand by anymore. Not only that, you
Can you give me an example of when that's actually happened? Because I'd believe it would. But I want actual examples, not you having hypotheticals because you're worried it was going to happen to you because you're a giant pussy.
care about artist fair use. You used people's artwork without their permission. You people did not give a shit for years until artists in your own fucking community finally called you out for that shit, and yet people still did it anyways.
Hey, can I get the citation and the what's the word? The credit for this fire? Because that's art, by the way. Cinematic and filmed fire just sitting there like that on repeat. That's art. So whose art is this, and why haven't you credited it? See how dumb that sounds, you moron.
As much as you like to claim that all you do is critique, you couldn't take a single ounce of criticism if your life depended on it. For as much as you say that you aren't a hive mind, you certainly had a hierarchy system. High school. This is what I would call this. High school mentality.
Yeah, and you're in middle school somehow.
People.
I mean, you are young-minded, remember?
Did not grow up. But then again, many members were literally in high school. The fact that people who were in their 20s and 30s acted the same way as 16-year-olds boggles my fucking mind. No wonder there was so many grooming allegations. No wonder minor safety was not a concern. You people acted as if you were the same age as those teens.
And you're no different or better.
I found it so uncomfortable during my time in Discord servers, because why were there so many porn chat rooms for SCC-related stuff? This is YouTube, people, not the adult hub.
Why was your husband in those chats and saying nothing?
You know the one. I always found it so weird how sexual many of you people were in your videos when some of the avatars you were using were of underage characters. It boggles my mind how I couldn't have a...
Okay, and? Like, does this person, watch a cartoon where there's a character who's underage and she finds out they're voiced by an adult and immediately, assumes they're a kid toucher or something? What type of point do you think that actually is? Oh no, use the avatar of an underage character in your goofy video talking about Pokemon. Oh no, you must be a kid toucher. Oh my god, you're an idiot.
Casual conversation without someone going, actually, that's a straw man fallacy. Actually, you're wrong. My sources tell me, yeah, well, my sources tell me that you're a dickhead and this is why you aren't invited to fucking parties.
And you aren't either, because they're probably worried you're going to cut yourself and bleed all over everybody and start licking it off them.
This community needs to die. It should remain dead.
And you should go with them.
Anyone who tries to revive it should be sent to the court of public opinion on the charges of, buddy, do not fuck with corpses. That's nasty. And I want to make
I don't know, you're the one that likes cutting in blood. Sounds to me like you'd be closer to necrophilia than these people are.
this abundantly clear. If you want to be a commentator, fine. If you want to review video games, fine. If you want minimal editing in your videos to the point it's a slideshow, fine. If you want to use stock images in your videos, fine. If you want to use sprites from a video game, not fan art, just official artwork as a talking sprite, then fine. But nothing. And I mean absolutely fuck all non-existent, don't even try reason for the slideshow commentary community to exist in this day and age. Let it die. Gas cans have...
You know, at this point, I'm tempted to revive it myself just to spite this freaky little weirdo.
Poured out. Gas pops have exploded. Molotov cocktails have been thrown. The roaring blaze mess that is the SCC is finally settling. And once it becomes ash, let it stay like the charred corpse that it is. For the sake of me and all the other people that have been deeply affected by this community.
I'm not doing anything for your sake. No one should take anything you say into advisement because you have proven yourself to be malicious and dishonest this whole time.
Please. Thank you. I'm gonna go crack open another can of Monster, so I have the pessimistic energy to continue on with this video. I'm done.
Why don't you crack open your own
Michael,
skull?
go off, Gabe.
Maybe your fetish will kill
For as
you.
much anger as I feel towards the community I have joined in good faith, I also feel sadness. My first commentary was lambasted for how much I personally attacked my target at the time for the ad hominems and the disagreements on opinions without respecting theirs, and it was rightfully And when I learned what it really meant to be insightful, I made an effort to better myself, join a community I was really looking up to at the time, and became what I felt was a strong figure in the community. So I would like to unthank the people like Ray, George, Susie, and Musha for taking my pride and violently shaping it into disgust. I genuinely wanted to
Oh, pobrecito lindo.
Be someone who could help others make their videos stand out more by showing them what they could do better. An Undertaker. But you all have made it impossible for anyone in this community to look like anyone other than Hulk fucking Hogan. I'm gonna forget everything that's happened towards my partner.
What does that even mean? Can we stop making stupid comments that not everybody's gonna follow?
for just a second, we already spent what could be an entire video talking about it, but knowing that pretty much every major figure in the SCC has been problematic and almost all of them groomers or child predators is disgusting.
You're problematic as well. So is your wife.
To think that I associated with you all, participated in your humor and content, told you all very personal details about me because I thought I could trust you, only to learn I couldn't, only to learn that was very stupid of me, and that I very likely caused harm in this community myself, fills me with a level of dread that has been unmatched. So many—
Oh no, you definitely caused harm because you sat there in Cloud Palace, saw porn chats and said, oh, this is fine. This is fine. Idiot.
Many of you marched on believing that if you were better than Rachel, that you were doing fine, as if Ray was the standard and not far, far beneath it. And the minute that you all—
You guys follow that standard. You did too, Silver.
All began to have your noses pointed upwards, thinking you were somehow deserving of heaven, you plummeted right down there with her. This community cannot come back. There will be no more slideshow commentary community in my eyes, because its name has been so thoroughly destroyed that it'd be impossible to take seriously again, and hardly worth trying to restore, especially when as a form of content, I feel it had truly reached its peak production-wise before it fell through. There are other ways to do commentary.
Which is why this Gunzel, this cowardly little freak, got so butthurt about Ephraim wanting to continue to make content and calling it that, to where he tried to make a shot at Ephraim in the call we had, and I shut him down immediately. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to be that guy for just a moment, because I don't think it mentions the person that doesn't want to be mentioned at all. So let me go find it. Let me go find the thing. That thing? The thing I sent you? You find the thing I sent you? If you have to get that reference, you are goated. Thou art goated, if thou gets the reference. Man, it is just loading itself. That is weird. It doesn't usually take this long to load something on my own doggone channel. Well, come on. Play. Sorry, this is really weird. Like, this has been on my channel for like 3 days. And it's still like taking forever to load. We're gonna wait. We're gonna let that do what it needs to do while I play.
Surely better and more visually appealing. Not to mention the amount of time small-time channels or children were covered, which is a fantastic way to ensure someone never makes a video again, and I would hope the SCC didn't have a goal of making YouTube even harder for people. Because if that's the case, the algorithm replaced your job long ago. If I spend the rest of my life boosting the voices of those negatively affected by the people in the SCC who were abandoned by the SCC, it will never be enough. I am ashamed I was ever a part of this group, and that's a stigma that will stick with me for God knows how long. I'm ashamed I was friends with most of you degenerate fucks who don't have the common sense of treating children correctly, or in Susie's case, caring about a single goddamn thing. The seconds I—
Neither do you. Neither do you.
Wasted on you all will never, ever be paid back. And I'll be damned if I ever make the foolish decision of accepting an apology from any of you. You all who lack any empathy, any care, any common decency, or even the common sense to calm your asses down before you respond to a child calling them a dong slopper. You best goddamn pray God kills me soon, because I'm gonna work to make the SCC so goddamn famous and in all the ways none of you have ever wanted it to be.
God doesn't need to kill you directly. He can just send me. And you'll sit there and say nothing. This is ridiculous. You're not a hero, dude. You're just a dork. Alright, so it looks like it's finally stopping the nonsense. So let's get to where I need to go, and hopefully it's actually going to work.
And I will be satisfied.
Okay.
But since I have been here, this community has died. So don't go with it. Be better.
Can you tell Ephraim that?
You're going to back off of Ephraim. You didn't do anything wrong here.
No, I know. Just
what?
He's been talking about like reviving the SCC. It's
because this is Ephraim's autistic hyper obsession, and he likes making content in this.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm sorry.
I also want to make something else clear. I'm not in here for jokes. We're not friends.
No, that's fair. I'm sorry.
Ephraim
Ephraim
is my friend, though. I don't care if he makes his goofy little commentary videos. Frankly, if more of you guys just did that, instead of having Mean Girl sessions and pretending like you guys know anything about reality, we probably wouldn't be where we are right now, would we? So enjoy that little preview of the call that's going to be released here pretty soon. So, yeah. What a strong man!
With our final grievances out of the way, let's segue back into the allegations. After all, there's no way anyone can pivot this and use it to make me come off as an abuser, and don't lie. We both know this was going to happen one way or another.
Dean also wanted me to watch a video despite my trigger with anti-CC stuff.
So it took me quite a while to figure out what the fuck Donnie was even talking about, because I went through our DMs. I never sent Donnie a video featuring anti-SCC stuff.
Who cares? Oh my god, who cares? If somebody sent me like an anti-toy collector video, I'd probably watch it and have a good laugh.
And then it hit me. He's talking about my update video. For fuck's sakes. Okay, for one, me sharing my own video in my own server is not forcing you, Donnie. And second, you guys, me having issues or critiques regarding the SCC does not make it anti-SCC. I am so tired of you guys labeling anyone who criticizes you anti-SCC. I'm not going to go into whether this trigger is even valid or not, because that's not my place to say. But my update video is not an anti-SCC video. But you know what? I don't care. If Donnie doesn't want to watch a video where I share my personal experiences of how I got severely uncomfortable with the way I was treated, yet he gets to bitch and whine to everyone who has ever existed about his issues with certain anti-SCC people, making it, say it with me now, a double standard, fine. Whatever. If anything, that just proves Donnie does not give a shit what victims of the SCC have gone through. He does not care about your trauma. He only cares about his own. You want to know how I know this? Because I literally vented to Donnie how I was treated amongst SCC and anti-SCC folks. Starting to see why your name hardly came up in this conversation now, Donnie.
No one cares.
Because that would have made you look really bad. But hey, I'm gonna explain how this makes you look bad anyways later on, because you're complicit in regards to the shit the SCC has done. After all, this thread took place in Cloud Palace. Okay. Ridiculous and outright false accusations done and over with. Insane that it was evidence towards me being abusive somehow, but whatever. I want to now talk about someone who was quite the talker in the ordeal that was the discussion of my update video. Hey Slayer, it's been a while. Let's have a little chat. Sad to say, I was once pals with Slayer back in the day. But that friendship fizzled out because, truthfully, I couldn't tolerate his bullshit anymore. And I pretty much said everything I needed to in regards to Slayer's contribution to this thread. Well.
Real quick for any of you who are in this, is this Slayer Raven? Not Slayer Raven. Destroyer Shy they're talking about? Because I think they went by the name Slayer too. I don't know.
Except for the first message he started with.
You know, I do want to bring up something in here just to get it off my chest, and it does have to do with Deed. Back in the day, we used to be pretty close friends, and I was even her server for a good bit. However, things started to separate us. Now, I won't lie, sometimes I was in the wrong for some of the things I did, such as the whole CC disassociation agenda that I like to push all the time. However, there's something I wanted to bring up considering, well, it was referenced in her update video.
I'm so glad you acknowledge your wrongdoing, Slayer. Too bad you reverse that immediately after this sentence. Also, your whole ideology on folks being within the SCC, that was talked about in my video too, and you wonder why I stopped talking to you.
Context. The whole pro-Jared thing was going on at the time where everyone pretty much blindly believed that Jared did a bunch of shit, and there was also a video that discussed it that Deed was going to do a commentary on. However, during the comp's production, it was revealed that pro-Jared's accusations were flimsy. So I went to inform her about the update and information, and I don't remember what I said exactly, but I said something along the lines of, I don't want you to make a mistake. Now, apparently the way I worded it made her really fucking pissed at me. Like, the literal intention of me giving her the info was to make sure she knows to use the updated shit. Apparently my comment had a threatening aura to it, despite me and Deed being friends at the time, so I would have no fucking reason to threaten her, and yeah, like I said before, this was referenced in her update video.
Yeah, right, because we've never seen anyone in the SCC harass, bully, threaten, or backstab anyone they were fairly close with and considered a pal. Never.
Like, way to make me look like such a horrible person for something that I not only never intended to convey, but one that she even came to me afterward about and I apologize for.
Bullshit. You fucks would have harassed and dogpiled me if my video came out. You would have told everyone you warned me. Shut the fuck up.
Also, for the record, she didn't come to me to say she felt a threatening aura from my DM after I sent it. No, she got pissy, went away for a couple of days, and then came to say it was threatening.
Anyone who receives a semi-threat from a so-called pal would take a few days to process what the fuck just happened. Huh? Wow, Slayer. Way to make me look like such a horrible person for something that is clearly a normal fucking reaction.
And yes, I know my little sprite here, like, freaks out whenever I mute my mic on you guys' end, because I'm like ruffling or moving stuff around or trying to find something. But no, if I had a so-called pal just show up and randomly threaten me, brother, my response isn't, I need to take a couple of days off, I need to process it, and be like, all right, what's the problem here? Because one or two things, either I've screwed up and I need to answer for something, or brother, we're about to fight and you're not gonna like us fighting. Like, I've had that happen. I've had people come into my DMs and say what can be considered a veiled threat. Finds out 9 times out of 10 they just misworded themselves. Or they were just ducking or dicking around, right? I don't meet that with, I need to take a couple of days off. No, it's like, hey, what's your problem, dork?
Sounds accurate to her typical behavior.
Donnie, shut the fuck up. No one asked. As for you, Slayer, I have no idea why you felt the need to talk about this, especially since now that I'm gonna have to get—
Slayer the Lolly? That's their name. Slayer the Lolly. Kill themselves, please.
If context, this is going to make you look really, really bad. You did this to yourself, buddy. So let's talk about my never-released commentary. Yes, this was during the height of the pro-Jared accusations. I'm not going to go into detail about all the allegations, except for one. And it's the allegation that Jared was being inappropriate with his fanbase, to which pro-Jared did admit to this. He admitted that on sites like Tumblr, he would talk sexually with his audience. However, the consensus was they were all of age. Well, there were two individuals who had come forward claiming that pro-Jared was inappropriate towards them while they were underage. From my recollection of the event, all I know is pro-Jared denied those allegations, but he still admitted to being inappropriate with his fanbase, but assured everyone they were of age. Well, it was during the height of these allegations specifically that I stumbled across a video titled A Less Pathetic Defense on pro-Jared, in which this grown-ass woman defends pro-Jared being inappropriate towards minors. This woman literally goes on—
Did we have any evidence, actually, that he had any inappropriate behavior to people he knew were minors?
About how it's perfectly fine for someone in their 20s to 30s to talk sexually with 16-year-olds. Yeah, that's what the video was about. My commentary went from a mere debunking of a predatory person's response to me having to make a public service announcement that there is a literal pedophile on YouTube, because not only did this woman defend talking—
Cloudy's here. Like, if Fauci showed up in my DMs to make a veiled threat, I would immediately send him back a photo of me, like, holding pasta noodles with both hands, one of each end, looking like I'm gonna break it. I'm like, your move, Italian man.
Inappropriately to minors, she had another video on her channel that went into detail about how stuff like Lolicon and CSAM should be legal and sold at 7-Elevens like they're magazines. I am not joking. Here is an argument she had with someone on her pro-Jared video where she straight up admits that CSAM should be legal.
Okay, so I'm gonna try, because I was told this helps. Come on. Do what they said it would do. Aha! Ha-ha! I can understand wanting the issue to cool down, despite siding with Heidi and Chai. I agree that we should make sure we know in detail what happened before we do anything drastic. But saying he did nothing, absolutely nothing wrong, I find that a bit short-sighted. Okay? I would want to hear the side of those who are hurt, saying how they were hurt. They should make videos talking about it so I can see, you know? It's hard to judge based on hearsay, and the reaction to that just makes it hard not to side with him. This isn't justice. The internet is the internet. The reaction's been harsh, but that's what happens when someone is accused of soliciting child porn online, and of cheating on his wife with a woman who may have ended her own marriage to be with him. Bottom line, some crap went down. Whether or not it was based in fact is yet to be found, but something clearly happened around here. Moving forward. Yep, the initial backlash was a bit quick to jump the gun, but in light of recent events, the evidence we do have being brought to light and the general reaction of entire companies associated with Jared, I don't think it's a long shot to say he's at least partially in the wrong. We'll just have to see if this degree is warranted. I wish you the best. Soliciting child porn, are you serious right now? So, this dude's showing offense about the idea that child porn solicited? How is this saying that Lolly and Shota should be available? What?
Straight up admits that CSAM should be legal.
Where? I fail to see where I mentioned Lolly Shota art is okay and acceptable, but sure, go off. Perhaps I phrased it wrong when people are accused of soliciting child porn of real living minors online. I hope that clears it up. I view them the same, and I think both are okay. Finally some evidence! It took you 4 hours and 20 minutes, but finally some evidence. The photo isn't the same as the real thing. It's just a representation. And like giving the pictures... Okay, yeah, screw this guy. He should kill himself.
Also doesn't help that this woman admitted that when she was underage, she went out of her way to watch CSAM because, in her words, she's a child. Why would she be attracted to adults? Again.
Okay, that's... that's gross, but that is a funny response.
Again, I am not joking. Surprisingly enough, I found on my old Chromebook the 2 videos I was going to tackle in my commentary. They are now in a Google Drive, you can watch them for yourselves, viewer discretion is highly advised. But for the record, the video was less so about pro-Jared, and more so about calling out a pedophile, and seeing as Slayer admits to being in my server, he knew this. He knew the video was not just about fucking pro-Jared, and this is what concerns me, is if my video had come out, everyone would have ignored the fact that I'm literally calling attention to a straight-up pedophile on YouTube, and would have just focused on the fact that I'm bullying pro-Jared, apparently. These people would actually be on the fucking pedophile side. I cannot stress that enough. But hey, it's not like it'd be the first time.
Did we ever get any evidence of pro-Jared being a pedophile? Because I don't think there was. I think that was actually a misnomer.
Right, Susie? This is why bringing this up, Slayer, makes you look really fucking bad. I do admit, I should have gone through with bringing attention to this, but I didn't, simply due to what Slayer said to me. What Slayer said to me was my tipping point. It is what made me finally drop everything and go, I'm done. Seeing as you claim to have watched my video, Slayer, you would have known that, because I had already dealt with enough shitty people within the SCC telling me shitty things. But not only that, I had witnessed people have fucking mental breakdowns over people saying shit like this. So I had enough. I didn't go through the video, and from my understanding, the sickening cretin that is this bitch's videos and channel itself is gone. And last I heard from this woman was someone outing them on Twitter, informing the public that she is a
If you guys take that lawnmower, my wife's gonna be pissed. She likes that lawnmower.
pedophile. A part of me wishes that I did bring this to the public's attention, but like I said, if I had, there's a good chance I would have been dogpiled and harassed over it, because even people like Slayer are more focused on the pro-Jared shit than the fact a grown-ass woman admitted to watching CSAM and thinks that it should be legal and sold in 7-Elevens. The crazy thing about this is, I don't know why Slayer brought this up. I don't know why.
Well, we all know that if Deed saw that there was stuff like that being sold in 7-Eleven, she wouldn't say anything because she'd be worried about the clerk dogpiling her.
You're trying to paint yourself as the victim in this, Slayer? I talked to you about this, and frankly, a lot of other messed up shit you did. And what did you do? You apologized. But you didn't apologize once. Not twice. 3 fucking times. You apologized in my comment section on the update video because you know I was referring to that incident, but not only that, you randomly messaged me on Discord after I'd stopped talking to you, apologizing for a 3rd time. If you genuinely thought that you were innocent in this, why did you triple down on apologizing to me? This is what I hate about the SCC, is that when the opportunity arises, they will paint themselves like they are a victim in a situation when they are very clearly the fucking opposite. Slayer, I stopped talking to you for a reason, and I'm going to continue.
Pot kettle black.
I need to stop talking to you. Get bent. But that's the problem with you. you didn't stop talking about me. Now, not only did you go on to want to make a commentary on a fucking playlist description, but you go on to sexually harass me in this thread, telling me to, quote, kindly eat a dick and call me a bitch numerous times.
That's not sexual harassment because you're not in the thread. You're an idiot. Kill yourself.
I'm sorry I stopped talking to you, but I did not want to hang around someone who sends me vague threats and then has this hive mind-like mentality when it comes to a fucking community of people who uses stock images to bitch and whine about 13-year-olds sharing their Pokemon opinions on the internet. I don't believe you were ever apologetic.
You literally did 30 minutes of complaining about whether or not your goofy, stupid little band is considered emo.
And if you try to apologize for the shit you said about me, keep it. Keep your fucking apology. You've given me enough apologies that meant jack in shit anyways.
Hey, Madison, I know some parts of the video were referring to me, and I just want to say that I'm truly sorry for the things that I... Hey, Madison, I've been thinking of sending this wrong for a while, since I've been quite a while, so if I ever been or came off as just like, I hope that you don't call me bad or anything like that.
Can you all shut up?
Bridges have been burned, and quite frankly, I don't want to rebuild any in an area that is very clearly a hazard for me. I just want to move on. So let's do exactly that. Let's move on from this fiasco, and let's see how everyone else is going on in this thread. I'm sure the allegations that I abuse my partner can't get any worse. How are we doing there, Tippy? As much as you alluded to me being abusive, at least you or nobody else will accuse me or even imply that I commit, oh, I don't know, physical abuse towards my partner. Alright?
By the way, I'm still slightly tipsy, so forgive me if I type weirdly, but yeah, as I said, I don't blame anyone for cutting off Silver, mainly because they don't want to associate with Deed. I'm just not sure how he'll take it.
For the subject matter we are about to talk about, it is unfortunately ironic that Tippy is drinking whilst talking about abuse. Like, comedic levels of irony.
Huh?
He didn't care about us when he cut us off.
She's a very intimidating person. I have to wonder if she was threatening him like she did with me.
I don't know.
Wouldn't surprise me.
No, Donnie, I never threatened you. Despite what you have convinced yourself and everyone else, I never threatened you with violence. Because why the fuck would I? We were pals once. At least I
would.
Pal once. I also have been a victim of domestic abuse and have personally had to move areas to...
Now, I want to be clear, they cut us off. Why should we care? That is Ellie, and that's Screwy.
Avoid violence and threats that were sent my way. You know this, because I vented to you about it in the past, Donnie. Remember the ableism claim and how I mentioned I couldn't go outside due to being fearful of my life? Yeah, that. And again, none of the claims you have made thus far...
Go outside, go outside, go outside. Here's the thing. If you are fearful of your life by going outside, train. Learn how to be in self-defense. Get a permit to carry. Whatever you need to do. Don't just sit there and go, well, it's ableism for you to tell me to go outside because I'm scared of the outside. Oh my God. Get stronger. Stop giving reasons to be weak.
Allude to me threatening you? Aggression and threatening violence are two separate things, Donnie. So please stop painting me as this explosive, unstable person, because
well, you are.
As someone who grew up with and around people who have anger issues, and I had to learn to handle it myself.
You are an aggressive and explosive person, but only when it's people you think you can talk on.
Because my parents refused to take mental health seriously. This hurts. It feels like my mental health is being used to paint me as some psychotic bitch.
Please stop trauma dumping to an entire community that did not ask for it.
It's not only insensitive to those struggling with mental health disorders, but it also comes off as ableist, ironically enough. But the most sinister thing about this is that
I'm going to show this woman what ableism actually is if she keeps it up. I'm going to put her in a wheelchair and toss her down the stairs.
Donnie is insinuating that I commit domestic violence against my partner, and I am not exaggerating that. Because you see, Donnie knows that I was moving in with Michael, and when you live physically with someone, those threats aren't just words anymore. They can come true, and threatening violence against your partner is considered domestic violence. However, it doesn't matter, as domestic...
You know, I've had plenty of people try to accuse me and claim that I hit my wife. I'd have to tell them, well, technically I do sometimes. Always open hand. And only in one very specific way.
Domestic violence, or domestic abuse, isn't just about physical abuse. It's also about manipulation, control, and power. Things that I have been accused of. So regardless, I have been accused of committing domestic violence against my partner. It is heartbreaking, hearing people, both strangers and people you once cared about, calling you a domestic abuser. And what's even more fun...
Why don't you just look at it and say, loser? These people are insane.
Is given how Donnie knows I was in a previously abusive relationship. I don't know what else to say, except, no, I don't do this. The most physical I ever get with Michael is when I am having very bad mental episodes. And due to that, I'm not going to explain further. I can't even describe what they are outside of my brain shutting down, my body overwhelmed and in panic mode, and myself either dissociating or overall panic.
Oh my God, you guys are losing it, but I was on a call with Ephraim, like yesterday. And he was asking when the last time I bit somebody was. I'm like, well, it was a while ago. I'm like, wait, no. It wasn't. It was fairly recent. But if you're talking about biting someone in aggression, he's like, how else would you bite someone? And my only response to that was, Ephraim, it is painfully obvious you're a virgin.
Panicking because I feel like my life is in danger. I hope there is a special place in hell for all of these people.
I'm just going to mention this. Compared to Deed, I'm a big guy. I can handle a punch or two from her. Jokes aside, I do want to make clear that abuse is abuse, assault is assault, your body type nor weight matters nor does your gender when it comes to this discussion. However, Deed has never threatened me, Deed has never assaulted me, Deed has never committed domestic abuse on me. I'm just going to flat out say that. It is horrifying seeing the shit these people have said about and accused my partner of alongside treating me like I'm fucking brain dead. And I really wish there had been at least one sane person in this thread to talk some sense into these people. And there was. But that sanity was unfortunately short-lived. Hey Scarlett, it's been a while. We need to talk.
Dun, dun, dun.
I want to start Scarlett's taken off by acknowledging she was the only person in the thread that actually seemed to treat the allegations seriously, therefore treated me like a genuine victim of abuse despite that not being the case. And while we do acknowledge that, the more we read the thread and how much Scarlett engaged in these allegations, by the end of it, the kudos we gave her is a rotting corpse in a shallow grave. Scarlett is just as guilty and complicit as everyone else within this thread. Do not forget that as we go into this, you will soon quickly learn that the sanity we thought Scarlett had was nothing more than a thinly veiled facade.
Let's start with the good, before we dumpster roll into the bad, and then the vile.
Let me also weigh in and say that even though Silver has chosen to distance himself from us because of her, I wouldn't blame him considering the circumstances. The best thing that we can do if the relationship does fall apart is for us to be there to support and comfort him. It doesn't make distancing her any less, but just as a reminder, this isn't his fault.
I'd definitely be willing to help him if that time comes. I'm not upset with him in the slightest.
I just miss him and I feel he deserves better.
This is where I'm going to give kudos to Scarlett. This response comes off as someone who understands the complexity of abusive relationships. Even if I'm not abused, the fact Scarlett respects my choice on being with Deed and doesn't blame me for that, and that if the relationship ever ends, she'll be there for support. That is how you treat someone you claim to care about who is in an abusive relationship. Point being, however, I'm not, and I'm perfectly happy staying with Deed. And Scarlett, Deed is the best, but I'm unsure if I even deserve them given the mistakes I've made in the past. But thank you for respecting my choice and caring about me. It's too bad you go on to do the shit that you did later on.
For context on this next one, this reply Scarlett gave was in response to Musha writing a Google document in regards to the allegations towards me. We will be covering this in Musha's segment, but we wanted to show her critique on the document, so that way when we get to covering the actual document itself, you'll find this response to be quite disturbing. And before you ask, no, Musha did not take Scarlett's advice.
The only thing that I'm sad to say with the paragraph directly addressing him is that we can't really tell him how to handle his relationship with Deed. We can express concerns about her behavior, but we can't outright imply to him that the two aren't good for each other. Sadly, it's that kind of thing that has the opposite effect of what we would like to have happen, and might end up pushing him more towards her side than seeing our perspective.
True.
I know it isn't intentional to sound like you're telling him what to think about the relationship, but it might be better worded if you express your concern on how the relationship could be affecting him and his mental health, let alone his independence. All in all, we want him to be happy and in a healthy state of mind.
Again, kudos for Scarlett attempting to knock some sense into these people. But again, it's too bad Musha doesn't listen to her and Scarlett goes on to do some pretty fucking important things. But that aside, Scarlett, my mental health was affected due to IRL events, and how I learned you and everyone else I ever befriended were just shitty people. If anything, Deed helped me during that time. But of course, in your perspective, Deed is a controlling, abusive, psychotic bitch. All in all, I am happy, and whilst my state of mind has been all over the place during the course of unraveling this hellfire that's been my life, I know in the end I'll be okay.
Okay, so remember how I said Musha didn't take Scarlett's advice? Well, it wasn't just the fact he didn't change jack and shit, but he doubled down and made a Twitter thread directly addressing Michael, demanding he breaks up with me or suffer the consequences. You'll learn more in the horrific details.
Suffer the consequences!
Here was Scarlett's response to that.
Okay, guys, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but consider
Return the slap, or suffer my wrath.
Silver is our friend, and I know you guys want what's best for him, and we can all agree that Deed is certainly not it. All of this ultimatum stuff on Twitter, in public no less, is not going to help get Silver to see what he needs to see. It's going to do the exact opposite.
This phrasing implies Scarlett is fine with ultimatum so long as it isn't in a public setting.
At this point, directly addressing him and telling him it's either us or her is going to make the choice easy for him to make, which will be catastrophic for us. TLDR, I'm sorry, but this ain't it.
Oh, don't worry, Scarlett. This entire thread is catastrophic. Everything about this is catastrophic.
Essentially, what we're doing is pushing him further into Deed rather than having an intervention and talking with him to address our concerns.
Scarlett, your stance isn't exactly very strong when you still weren't coming to my DMs and talking to me about
I don't know where Do is. She left for cigarettes and never came back.
Deed when you very well could have. You shouldn't need a huge ass intervention. You can just talk to me. You were talking to me in 2022. You have no excuse.
And I know it's hard to get in touch with him because she's so controlling, but you forgot that there's still a support group that Silver is a part of. We're just not it right now. I think there was more we or they could have done, but at the same time, we can only do so much. Ultimately, it is his decision.
My support group of just my wife? Or do you mean people like Keaton and company from that Star Wars D&D podcast game that I'm in? It really doesn't make a difference. Absolutely nobody made an effort to reach out to me anyways, at least not in regards to telling me, hey, we think your partner is abusive and you should dump her. No, I'm not counting Musha's thread. I don't take Carnival Act seriously. But the sad reality is, I didn't have much of a support group because a good chunk of people who I befriended turned out to either be a creep, predator, or just an asshole who did shit behind my back or blatantly disrespected my partner. That is on you. Not me. Not Deed. You. Take fucking accountability for your shit behavior.
There was more we or they could have done. Scarlett, it amazes me that you acknowledge that there was more you could have done, and yet you still chose to do nothing. This thread, all of the public posts that Musha made, did absolutely fuck all. Originally, I thought you genuinely cared that Michael was allegedly this abuse victim, but I don't think you do, because you didn't fucking try. You were in contact with him, despite what you claim.
Remember, they're getting on to Scarlett here for not even trying, right? Now, I don't know enough about Scarlett to give a complete judgment, other than the fact that I don't care that she ran from, like, just basic conversations, all right? And I'm not going to hound her. I'm not really impressed. I'm not happy. But, like, they're sitting here morally grandstanding Scarlett for not speaking up when they knew about a groomer and didn't speak up. Spare me. Like, seriously, spare me.
You could have reached out to him, despite what you have and everyone else has claimed. These people are using me as an excuse to not make an effort to reach out to someone they allegedly care about. Which is why, I'm sorry, but these people do not fucking care about Michael. And I confidently say that, especially with the shit Michael went through with Rachel and how these people acted behind the scenes. Oh yes, we're going to be talking about that at some point. And with all that said, let's get into the bad. See, I didn't go into it, but Scarlett and I were pals for a few years, but it quickly ended due to something quite hurtful. That's right, the Avi situation. But that's not how Scarlett would describe it. So let's hear her rendition of the event.
I left because of how she was wanting me to pick sides during the fallout with Avi, and she blocked me after I left and explained why, saying that I was using her trauma against her.
Hey Scarlett, I really don't fucking appreciate people twisting the narrative to paint me like a psychotic bitch. There was no fallout with Avi. Don't you dare fucking act like I was close to Avi. So let's break down on how we actually stopped talking. After I had shared my Google Doc detailing my experience with Avi within my private Discord server, I noticed quite a fair amount of people were still talking about, hanging around, and following Avi on Discord and through social media. So I broke down. And I told people that it's not okay that they are doing this, and that if they truly cared about a victim of sexual harassment, they would not want to hang around someone like Avi. Not only that, I had shared that Avi had a pattern of being a creep, as I wasn't the only one who did this to her.
The problem is you're not a victim of sexual
Scarlett
harassment
immediately
from
left
Avi.
my Discord
You're
server
not.
after that, and when I confronted her, well, I'll let you see exactly how she responded. I noticed you left the homie server.
I did. I've been meaning to confront you about something regarding that since it's been bothering me, but I was waiting on the right time. I woke up today to see the update that you posted, and it was kind of the last straw for me. I don't have enough info to really take a side on whatever is going on with you and Avi, and I don't want to be forced into doing so. But if the initial course of action whenever something happens between you and someone else I know that I'm friends with is to ask people on your server to be on your side or to get the fuck out, I'm kind of on the side of leaving the server. I just want to vibe in there and just have a good time. But if I have to constantly walk eggshells around you when it comes to whatever beef you have with people I call friends, I don't want to be part of it. I'm sorry, but this is just something I don't want to deal with. I do still consider you a friend, and I genuinely do care about you, but I'm not going to take sides. I'm sorry.
That's right, folks. Scarlet sees sexual harassment as nothing more than beef. Not only that, if you will notice, I didn't respond to her message. I didn't respond to her message at all because the second that I read that she thinks that my sexual harassment is nothing more than beef, I blocked her and never spoke to her again. But thanks, Scarlet. Thanks for painting me as a psychotic bitch when you were the person who not only went
You
out of
were
your way to
being
pick the side of
one!
a sexual harasser, but downplayed and, funny enough, kept vague on what it was that you were picking sides over. But hey, you were cool to me. But at least you were honest to me. It's not like you would turn around and be a hypocrite with your own words, right? Right?
This is not beef, Redacted. This is years of stalking and harassment. Hey, Redacted, how's about we call a spade and admit that you just don't want to leave the victims because you don't want to cut a friend out of your life? Better yet, how's about we just admit that you don't believe the victims so we can save ourselves some time, huh?
Then again, what should I expect from the person who associates with and defends sexual predators and groomers? Hey, Scarlet, you hear that? The call was coming from inside the house. Hypocritical bitch.
I'm gonna jump in with some stuff that
you're no different.
Charlotte messaged me asking if Dee was upset with her after, well, the beef. I'll be honest, my response was that it was none of my business. This was stupid of me. I'm literally dating the person who's being boiled alive in the beef broth. But like, Scarlett, I'm gonna be real, what did you expect? I recall Dee being pretty clear that Avi had sexually harassed her, and she didn't want to be around people who were still friends with him as a result of that. Choosing to still be friends with the person who sexually harassed her, I don't know, I feel like that's just cause to not continue talking with you. This conversation happened back in the end of 2020, about a year and a half before this thread was made, to clarify.
Unfortunately, Scarlet did more than bring up the Avi ordeal. Scarlet was brought up earlier as she corroborated Donnie's claim that I'm racially insensitive due to my opinion on anime. But Scarlet had more to say on the matter. A lot more to say. And I wish she had kept her fucking mouth shut.
She has a hatred for anime because she dates anyone who likes to support pedophilia.
A lot of this stems from her past trauma regarding this event she went through. From what I recall, it had to do with this specifically and how it apparently correlates to anime somehow. Bear in mind, I'm keeping a lot of this vague of privacy reason.
Despite what you said, Scarlet, you did not keep this vague. You went into detail about my trauma. And here's the
So did you, stupid!
Scarlet went into detail about my trauma, but not enough detail for people to hone in that this claim Donnie made doesn't even make sense. So now I have to. Despite me not wanting to talk about it, I have to now. So fuck all of you for this. My issue with anime, while partially does have to do with the normalization of pedophilia through lolicon and shotacon, my primary issue with anime were certain tropes that involve misogyny, sexual harassment.
No, them saying, like, vagary in this thread does not force your hand to trauma dump on everybody. Look, I had my hand forced. They're talking about something that happened to me that I did not care for and never wanted to make public because some loser got a hold of a call he had no business having and put it out before I could talk about it, right? That is having to talk about it. You don't. You want to put this out there so people look at you and go, what a victim. We should give them attention. This pathetic.
Harassment and sexual assault. They are very common tropes within anime where the female characters, both of age and underage, are objectified and sexualized, seen as nothing more than a big pair of tits. Not only that, there are quote-unquote jokes that are normalized in anime that involve women being touched inappropriately either by men or other women. I mentioned earlier how I knew weebs in real life, and this is true. I knew people who romanticized Japan to the point where they literally called it heaven on earth, and they were obsessed with anime. It's all they would ever talk about. They would do racially insensitive accents and wish that they were born Asian, and they would also play this game. Sometimes this game would be labeled as a competition or contest as well. This game involved molestation. On a day-to-day basis, I was molested by these people. If I tried to run away, they would chase after me. If I tried to protect myself, they would grab me and pin me down. And every day, each and every time they did this, they would laugh. They would laugh in my face, they would criticize my body, and then they would go back to what they were doing as if nothing just occurred. I was the biggest target of this due to my chest size, as I was on the smaller side. This all happened when I was a child. This went on for years, from middle school all the way up into high school. Some days it left me sore, other days it left bruises on me. Every day it left me sobbing and wishing I could rip my own body up to shreds. I will now give you a few moments as I am about to show on-screen disturbing imagery, but I feel it is necessary as a means to get my point.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say this because I do know sometimes we have younger people listening. If anybody's assaulting you like that on a consistent basis and the people around you aren't doing anything, find a way to hurt them. By whatever means you need to.
Cross. The imagery ends at this timestamp.
You can do that for him! Anyway, are you some kind of psychopath? Look who's talking! What were you planning on doing, sneaking up on Orihime like that? Orihime, that is the loveliest name I've ever heard. Nozomi? You really don't mind? Like I said before, don't worry about cute little Nico Baby. Lie again and I'll give him a nice squeeze. No, please don't. Just tutor me. Now that's more like it. So, have these things always been this big? I mean, they seem almost unnatural. Did they get bigger recently or something like that?
I was blessed with these by heaven, I'll have you know!
Yeah, anime's cringe and does cringe things. Are you surprised?
No, Lady Tsunade, please, not her head. You mustn't hit her in the head. Sometimes the shock fixes this kind of thing.
What I'm showing on screen is examples of women molesting other women in anime, because this is why they did it.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be a joke? Cringe and gross, but a joke? Why are you blaming anime for your quote-unquote friends being degenerate freaks? Just beat them.
They straight up told me that it was normal, that it was fine, that it was okay for them to do this due to the media that they watched. And it is true, because anime normalizes this stuff. They treat it like it's cute, they treat it like it's funny. If I can find a compilation of this occurring, then it's a fucking problem.
It's called a trope. It's called a trope. That's why you can find compilations. See, this is why it's more preferable to not watch degenerate crap like that, if you can help it. That way, instead of like groping, you try to hit somebody with the 1,000 crack fist and try to make them explode. Far more based. Or you live your life hoping one day you can pilot a giant robot that has a lion on its chest and rocket punch.
And that's why I'm so critical of it. But apparently in these people's eyes, that makes me racially insensitive. Do you want to know something about Scarlett? She didn't even mention that. She purposefully did not mention the molestation I endured as a child. And also, if you haven't noticed by now, none of this.
I do not recommend Love Live. I recommend The King of Braves, Gao Gai Gar.
Has to do with pedophilia. What happened to me was child-on-child sexual assault, which truthfully isn't taken as seriously as other typical sexual assault cases, unfortunately. The claim was about pedophilia. Not molestation, not sexual assault, goddamn pedophilia. Scarlett went into detail about my trauma for all the wrong reasons. And what does Donnie say to that? I understand being traumatized for it. That just doesn't excuse the racial insensitivity. So thanks, Donnie. I'm glad to know that
I can tolerate molestation, but I draw the line at racism. Definitely Donnie behavior.
when I tried running away from these girls, that when they would tackle me, pin me to the floor, and molest me whilst all of them began laughing in my face, it just meant I'm a racist piece of shit. Because that clearly fucking makes sense. I hate all of you.
Not fond of you either.
Oh, and Tippy had this to say about my trauma.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, hold on. You went to the super sad, I hate all of you, making fun of my trauma. Anyways, Tippy said this. Are you kidding me?
But why does she have to go and generalize a whole group of people who happen to enjoy a piece of entertainment?
But I don't fucking care, because taking the word right out of the weeb's mouth, I have had terrible experiences with people like them. I'm sure they would have justified the molestation and even say I was lucky to have been chosen. After all, this is the same person who thinks sending lewd images to minors is hilarious. Your rotting corpse will be the fertilizer for the meadow spring to make up for any ugliness your existence ever brought into this world.
So will yours.
As for you, Scarlett, I want to say that I'm surprised, but I'm not, because you showed your true colors to me pretty early on. But there's something that you forgot. I talked to you in a Discord call about anime. You could have approached me about my opinion regarding anime, but you didn't. Instead, you bitched and whined about it to Michael behind my back, and Michael told you, if you don't like it, then stop talking to Deed. But you didn't take his advice. Instead, you waited.
Fine. You guys want to talk about anime? Cool, we'll talk about anime. My taste in Japanese animation is better than everybody else's. And if you're an artist, and you have in your do not request, I will not draw mecha, you're a coward. You're a coward. You coward. And I will see your G Gundam and say one thing. Answer me! The school of the undefeated of the East!
You waited until I opened up about sexual harassment I went through, called it beef, and left it at that. Well, rather, I left, because I wasn't going to tolerate that, especially from someone who I thought would understand. You probably don't remember this, Scarlett, but I do. I remember one of the first interactions we had, and that was you comforting me when I publicly spoke about the time I was raped. You came to me with full-on support, and you were kind to me when I vented about it to you. It's why I thought when I spoke up about what Avi did, I'd receive the same comfort and support. But I didn't. And truthfully, I don't know why you kept talking to me if you honestly thought I hated you. I didn't. I couldn't hate someone who many people told me we were like siblings. It was like my twin, essentially. I didn't hate you, but I do now. You're dead to me, and we haven't even gotten to the worst part of it. But we will. And afterwards, I hope the world knows how much of a heartless bitch you truly are. You know what? Given what I've just had to expose for the sake of
the world knows at all 3,000 views this got.
Defending my name.
Now all of China knows that you're here.
I am deserving of a crash out, but no. You aren't deserving of my crash outs. I'm saving those for my short films. So, have a shitty filmed grunge-esque montage instead.
Hey, that hurts a little bit.
You don't like me, right?
Oh, I don't know. And fun sometimes.
God doesn't like me enough to let me die. So I'll drop my blood pressure sky fucking high. Palpitations will increase. My anxiety is my masterpiece. Broken down and chilled to the bone. Hopeless, worthless, all alone. Gonna mock, trim it all and stay awake. Won't give up until I hallucinate. Beg and plead on broken knees. You can bleed, but do it will take a soul. Ripping out your broken teeth.
Cringe!
My chest hurts and I can't breathe. Light another up cause I need my nicotine. Self-destruction's all I know. Fingers on the trigger and I'm ready to blow. Bang and bleed on broken knees. You can bleed, but do it will take a soul.
What is this? What is this? Why is it allowed to exist? Why is that poor skeleton subjected to this? Oh, this doesn't copyright claim. But remember, they know copyright law. Dude, if I had somebody claim I'd done something horrible to them and they did a skit transition, I'd probably just bully them more.
You good?
Get a job! Both of you.
I wish we could say we are done with the abuse allegations, but sadly, no, we're not. Because now it gets personal, and quite frankly, we're both irritated by this. But hey, these sons of bitches apparently
They're back, and now it's personal.
thought they knew the ins and outs of our relationship. So let's show them just how much they were fucking wrong on that front.
His girlfriend has told a friend of mine that she looked at his phone before. ...
Hi, what the fuck?
It's hard to want to be there for your friend, but someone else just bars you from doing so.
Nobody barred you, Scarlet. The only person who did that was your own fucking self!
That is incredibly controlling.
I'll go and try and DM him if that's fine. Bede doesn't seem to have any reason to attack me. Well, now they fucking do. Because they're stupid.
Hey kids, can you guess what Tippy went on to do? Good answer. Glad you're catching on. While I understand some of you having access to your partner's phone is controlling, nobody seems to have asked my opinion on this. So here it is. Deed and I are both victims of cheating. As such, we have both looked through each other's phones and always with the other person's consent. This isn't even just a natural response to cheating, this is just natural in a relationship, which tells me...
Not really, and more importantly, you're giving in to the paranoia. You're not going above it.
Exactly how well all of you could handle living with your partner. Not only that, but it was public knowledge that I was cheated on in my previous relationship. The fact that...
Now granted, my wife doesn't need to look at my phone. Half the time, or I don't have to hand it to her. Like half the time, if we're just laying in bed before we go to sleep, she'll look at whatever I'm looking at on my phone because my feed's more interesting than hers.
Nobody thought of this tells me how much they cared about my personal life, you know, as so-called friends. Yes, Deed has looked through my phone before. No, this doesn't upset me. I am fine with her looking through my phone. Treating it like she is controlling my life without ever thinking of our past experiences with cheating, but instead using it to paint her as abusive is pretty fucking dismissive for you guys to do.
Now before I say anything, it should be noted Donnie doubled down on this claim. Now, I have an idea of who this pal of Donnie's is, considering it had to have been someone I once trusted. And it kind of pisses me off they went on to tell people this, because this has to do with a situation involving someone. Someone who was actually referenced quite a bit in this thread. So, because they left us no choice, let's talk about an attempted homewrecker.
Hey bestie, don't worry, please ring shit, that's alright. Hey bestie, don't worry, I got heart, it's growing. Hey bestie, this, oh look, there's a check.
Before we begin this segment, due to this person not being a part of this thread, but rather simply being referenced, we are going to keep them anonymous. We will only be referring to this person as...
I'm going to skip it then. Because if you're sitting here accusing somebody of trying to be a homewrecker and you just keep the homewrecker anonymous, you're a pussy.
Yoon. What can I say about Yoon that already hasn't been said by other victims of theirs?
The Tato word of the day is loser.
Well, I can start off how it is surprising that he joined in on the false allegations on me, because my only interaction with Yoon was getting scammed by them. I was scammed out of money because with Yoon, being an artist, I had commissioned them, and while they did finish the art piece, it took them many months, and I wasn't even satisfied with the final project, and they wouldn't even fix it to my satisfaction. In fact, I had quickly learned that they immediately spent my money when I sent it, which was quite a bit. But you know, that's not nearly as bad as, well, oh I don't know, calling me racist and mocking my skin tone. But before we get to that, let's see what else Yoon had to say about me in this thread.
Oh god, her. I have several bones to pick with her. She loves to center her trauma in everyone's lives, but the moment someone else is dealing with the side effects of their trauma and mental health conditions, suddenly it's inconvenient and those people just need to get over it. Bitch will fucking cut you off because you vent in a way in private that she doesn't like. She
I mean, that actually sounds true, but at the same time, Yoon was no better.
Wants to subtweet people on how they handle their own trauma and mental afflictions, but her being a toxic cunt is just A-okay. Fuck her and her crotch rot of a personality.
Crotch rot of a personality is quite the insult, I'll give you that. But this should be going towards A, not me. But confirmation bias, am I right, Yoon? Yeah, this whole paragraph is about A and their Twitter fiasco. You know, the person that threatened violence and suicide on their private Twitter account, the person who was a hypocrite and used leaked vent chats of mine to use against me. Yeah, that A. No, Yoon, I didn't do any of this. I did not center my trauma in everyone's lives. If asking people to respect my boundaries for the means of being wary of my trauma and triggers, then guilty as charged. I do not call other people's trauma inconvenient for me. I will not cut you off if you vent in a way in private that I don't like. I'll cut you off because you decide.
Yeah, you will, though, because that's... People were saying hinge things in private. Again, it's not a vent, because we made it very clear, because she does the exact same thing. I want to be very clear. She did the exact same thing the SCC did to her.
I do call me a delusional bitch, be an attempted homewrecker, and paint me as a liar. You would actually know about this, Yoon, seeing that you blocked me after the Avi ordeal happened when you weren't even involved in that. I'm also really tired of the vilification of subtweeting. Do you know what subtweeting really is? It is essentially you are talking about someone and you don't name drop them. More often than not, you expect the person to read the tweet and they'll know it's about them.
My God,
everyone has done this at least once. You and everyone else in the SCC has done this, yet act like it's a crime against humanity to do so. Is it scummy? Sure, we can agree to disagree on whether it's a shitty thing
I
to
don't
do
care if you subtweet or if you dom
me
tweet.
venting
This
about
is
terrible
dumb.
experiences that I've had with people and not name dropping them is not me being a toxic cunt. Threatening people's lives over the fact that you're a single bitch is what actually makes you a toxic cunt. I will say it again. Aim your nastiness towards the person you're blindly defending, Yoon. Or better yet, you should be aiming at your own skull, Yoon. Because you know what is a crotch rot of a personality? Implying that you know someone's sex life.
I don't think he's thinking of his dick, but more just not seeing Bede is not healthy. I will say that's his choice. Personally, I'm speaking of not going to cut him off, but I will go and just stay away from his fiancé.
I mean, knowing what I know, is at least 45% that.
I don't know the disgusting things that Avi told you, but it's fairly obvious you got this idea from him. But you do not.
I mean, you did say unhinged things around Avi. You did share your blood fetish with them. So, yeah, I don't blame anybody for taking Avi's word for that, considering you two were very, very intimate in that manner.
Know my sex life. You do not know the reason why me and Michael are in a relationship. And the fact that you put a percentage number on how much our relationship is based merely off of sex alone is not only really fucking gross, but just straight up sexual harassment. I hate seeing that these...
It's not sexual harassment and you're an idiot.
People are taking a page out of Avi's book and are sexually harassing and objectifying me. I cannot stress that enough. Either you are talking out of your ass, Yoon, or I need to file a restraining order because someone has been a peeping Tom this whole time. Either way, the judge that is going to look over my request for filing a restraining order is going to...
Yes, you're gonna do a restraining order for peeping Tom, even though in the second freaking video you show a 5 to 10 second clip of you getting railed from behind taking back shots, which none of us consented to be very clear.
Be very surprised by how many names there are on that list because, Jesus Christ, you people make me want to vomit out my internal organs just to get the sickening taste out of my mouth. You know what, since we are on the subject matter, let's see what Yoon's perspective is on Michael within this alleged abusive relationship he's in. Because Yoon had quite the response to Scarlett's comment telling people this ain't it.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this. It's not like he's some unwitting pawn in all this. His hands are dirty too. If he one day sees the light, sure, fine. But telling him you won't be associating with him so long as he continues to be with someone who's been abusive to a whole slew of people, down to apparently being xenophobic, isn't inherently a bad thing.
Yeah, fuck abuse victims, but it's perfectly fine to associate with someone's sexual harasser. Let's also not forget predators, groomers, and pedophiles. Those are fine too, says the SCC. Oh, by the way, you can double down on this ideology. So...
Sometimes you need that hard of a reality check. You can argue about it being done publicly, that's perfectly fine, though I could also argue why someone would want it to be public so nothing gets twisted. But to say it's automatically going to do it rather than it could potentially do it is incorrect.
Yoon, your entire reasoning for bringing the stuff up between you and Rin to the public was to twist the situation into your side of the court. Shut the fuck up.
You can argue it could be done better, but anyone would be fully in their right to...
Hive, I will traumatize you, don't worry.
...to express to him that they're cutting him off because of his relationship with Dee, because that's exactly what too late is. That's the reality check.
Isolation is near complete lack of social contact by an individual.
If Silver ever does break up with Dee, he's gonna have a lot of apologies to make. Because, again, he's not entirely innocent in this. Those stories aren't mine to tell, but, I know enough.
Well, guess it's a good thing I'm never breaking up with Deed then, because I feel like I've got nothing to apologize for. In fact, I am never, nor ever, going to apologize to my ex or Avi. They can both fuck off. But hey, if you disagree, I'm always willing to talk about it, Yoon. You know, if you ever come back from running away from your responsibilities.
So if Scarlett had a decent head on her shoulders on what abuse is, then Yoon's head is currently rolling down a hill into a city dumpster, because what the actual fuck? I need people to understand that everyone in this thread are painting Michael as an abuse victim. And this is not how you treat a victim of abuse.
You mean like how you treated Julie?
If someone you believe is in an abusive relationship, what you should not do is...
Oh, you don't worry about reading anything. Don't worry about it.
Say that they are complicit to the abuse that their partner is doing to them or others, insinuate that they should be isolated, basically having no one but their abuser in their life, and lastly, when the victim does eventually escape their abusive relationship, do not force them to apologize to everyone for being manipulated by their abuser. This is...
I mean, here's the thing. I was manipulated, I was abused by Peaches, I still made bad decisions, and I still had to own that and make apologies where they were needed, because it was still my decision. Cope. Also, I just got word of who the anonymous homewrecker is, and now I, quadruple don't believe them. I quadruple think they're a lying snake.
This is textbook victim blaming. I don't know what else to call it. Then again, Yoon was one of George's offenders, to which George's victims had to apologize to him. So what the fuck do I expect from someone like Yoon? What the fuck do I expect from someone who literally did all the fucked up shit they did to Rin? I can't even give a breakdown of the heinous things they put Rin through, so please watch their video on that shit show. But yeah, the fact that there are people agreeing with Yoon on this as well is very disturbing. May I remind you, these people are painting themselves as victims. They are painting themselves as Michael's true support system. This is utterly fucked. Let's finish Yoon's shit off with something less victim blaming, but still egregious all the same. Let's talk about Yoon's thoughts on the anime claim that was made. I promise this will be the end of it.
I think her dislike of anime is the least of our worries.
The thing is, she's very racially insensitive about it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, it's bad.
That's the thing.
But on top of everything,
Yup.
True.
No, we're not moving past this. She was what? About what?
Racially insensitive.
She believes that anime and people who like it are pedophilic.
She hates Asian people.
What I find interesting is Yoon being shocked that I'm racially insensitive because earlier in the thread, Yoon calls me xenophobic. Huh. So Yoon more than likely didn't get the context as to why I am xenophobic and just blatantly went along with that claim. Awesome. Cool. I love how you fuckers cannot read your...
I'm keeping it secret because the individual who they're accusing wants literally nothing to do with all of this, has been out of this community for years, and this Deed has an obsessive hate boner for, and if Deed's dumb enough to swing, I will just put Deed in the ground.
Your own damn messages, and will just go along with the crowd. Because FOMO, am I right? I didn't needlessly bring this up to call Yoon stupid, but rather because Yoon took the claim one step further, and just straight up says that I'm racist against Asians. Yes, you heard that right. I am racist amongst all Asians, due to my opinion on anime. Yoon, I don't know how to tell you this, but that is racist in of itself. Generalizing Asians...
If there was a person who was frozen in time since the 1940s, and the first thing he sees when he comes out of it is anime, and in some of its degeneracy, and immediately becomes racist against all Asians, I can't even say I'd blame him.
Asians to be nothing more than Japanese people is racist.
Yeah, can we not do that, Raccoon? I appreciate the super chat, but can we not?
There are several Asian countries on this planet. Japan is not the solo country that Asians reside in. You cannot be this fucking dense. But I guess you are, because...
Are you Chinese or Japanese?
Yoon goes on to mock my skin tone. Now granted, I'm Caucasian. However, mocking anyone for their skin color is not cool. But the shit that Yoon says,
Well, hold on. If you make a joke to a friend about skin color, this person might get offended, because remember, you can't joke about molestation. God forbid you joke about skin color. Like, I'm going to see if I can find an audio clip I'm gonna see if I can find it, because there was one thing I had to say in my server about a year ago. Sent in way out back from me has sound. See if I can find it. Is it this one?
Was Weebus put in here just to...
No.
Freaking Weebus descending into hell just to catch hand. Weebus is so black. He's literally named after a character from freaking Family Matters.
I'm gonna actually play this at single speed so you guys can appreciate it. This is about my friend Weebus, who should still be in the chat. So somebody got mad at him using the soft A N-word in my server when he is very black. So I had to confirm for this rando that Weebus was black. So enjoy.
Weebus is so black. He's literally named after a character from freaking Family Matters. Weebus is so black, he can't get out of his driveway without getting pulled over. Weebus is so black, he has yet to arrive anywhere on time.
Yeah, it was fun times.
I'm just going to have you listen to it.
And this is why I can't stand the A4 Society.
A4 Society?
Yoon then posted an image of 100 sheets of A4 multifunction white copy paper.
What?
White
Okay,
people.
that's funny.
The trademark is important.
Yes.
Because it's each individual white person. I have a white friend. Snark! No, but seriously, if you ever see me talk about it, don't take it personally. If I dislike y'all, you'd know. Deed, though. Deed is the type I'm talking about. Because I don't think she understands how dumb that is, considering shit like Doraemon exists.
I'm just saying, if I was anything other than Caucasian, this would look really, really bad. Granted, it is still bad, but you want to know the kicker? This is the last remark Yoon makes before they fuck off from the thread. GG, motherfucker. But hey, none of this matters anyways, because Yoon is one of the few confirmed people to support and defend lolicon. So their opinion on this is moot. Because of course they'd call me racially insensitive. What's next, Yoon? It's Japan's culture to support lolicon, the age of consent.
Let me see. Let's go back and read that. I don't want to see a dirty delete. Like F right off with lolly equals lolicon. You know what? Hikiko-tan is an effing lolly now. You can't lewd her anymore. Envy effing ruined it for all of you. 22-year-old Hikikomori lolly. The main reason it makes me mad is because these Fs think if you like lolly characters, you're a pedo. Like F off. I like cute things. Lollies are cute. Mayo and Shinobu are cute. So this isn't her or them defending lolicon, which is why they said F right off with lolly equaling lolicon. She's referring to like childish looking characters that are cute in this context. So Dee's just lying.
What's next, Yoon? It's Japan's culture to support lolicon, the age of consent is 13, therefore it's okay. You people sicken me.
I only ever spoke to Yoon a couple of times, so I
No,
have nothing...
no, don't you dirty do that. Let's go back, The disgusting thing is June has openly talked about working around near children. If anyone has any information on their whereabouts, please inform the school they work at. They should not be around children. You should not be allowed to breathe.
I only ever spoke to Yoon a couple of times, so I have nothing of note to say. So my own final words to you are, your taste in anime is dog shit. Also, you continue to date someone who's transphobic towards you, and I think that's ridiculous. For as narcissistic as you are, grow some gosh darn dignity, and once you do, get back online so you can take accountability and answer for the people you've really fucked over.
What are you even talking about? And I love that this is at the tail end. The whole predator accusation. They're a danger to children is after complaining about a take on xenophobia. Good priorities there, stupid.
Thanks. We've nearly gone over all the allegations, however there is still much to talk about and we've saved the worst things that have been said for a reason. The rest of the allegations we will be saving near the end for reasons you'll find out soon enough. That being said, we're gonna go over 2 other individuals who engaged in this thread as we have quite a bit to say about them. So let's talk about Jace and why he's just fucking weird.
Oh my god, stop!
This is a...
Jace mentioned. So there is something I must do. It is law. It is written. Prepare.
You shut your whore mouth!
Yes. Oops, has messaged me. Continuing.
a strange one. And I say that because Michael and I barely knew this guy. The former over the latter, actually, because, I genuinely did not know who this guy was until now. But he engaged in this thread, and the things that he said were vile enough to dedicate an entire segment to him. And that's saying something, given my own sexual harasser is in this thread.
Fuck did I miss?
Silver's girlfriend is wild.
Someone please tell Silver to get out of there, dear God.
I wish.
I'm concerned. This was Jace's first interaction within the thread, and he said this before any allegations of me abusing Michael were made. I'm serious, you can check the thread yourself, but it's baffling how—
You know, we're going to skip that because I don't care about Jace's nonsense. Because I bully Jace all the time. Let's see who Blazing is. Oh my god, stop.
Not because I met Deed. If anyone is to blame, it's Avi, and the people who chose to defend him. Such as yourself. Sorry, I don't know if you heard me. I said such as yourself. I was busy coughing.
Because she's unhinged. She wants full control over him, and he's too passive when it comes to women to have any kind of opposition to it. Unless I know she's actually giving him love and care, I can't trust that she's not abusing him outside of this. Because either Silver mitigated his access himself, either to save himself or not get hurt by her, or she's forcing him to not be around people as basically a hostage.
Oh, okay. Accuse me of kidnapping Michael now. Just fucking do that, why don't you?
That's hyperbole. Let's go back and look at that again.
Why don't you?
Let's go back and look at that again, right? Come on. Come on. Unrelated to anything ever, but I've been thinking about Silver a lot lately. Usually when I think about people out of the blue and feel compelled to message, it's not a good sign. It was only then that I realized how minimized his social life has become since meeting her. Like, I'm of the firm belief that he should date whoever he darn well pleases, even if it is Deed, but something feels more often than usual. Like, why does she still seem to have a rampant social access while he's so limited? Like, I want to be okay, but I don't know. My gut is screaming. The thing is, isolation is a mental abuse tactic. Okay? Yes, this is Blaze the Weirdo. You are correct. Let's make sure I didn't miss a screen cap. Come on. So I didn't miss a screen cap there? Did I miss it elsewhere?
So when it comes to women to have any kind of opposition to it. Unless I know she's actually giving him love and care, I can't trust that she's not abusing him outside of this. Because either Silver mitigated his access himself, either to save himself or not get hurt by her, or she's forcing him to not be around people as basically a hostage.
Oh, okay. Accuse me of kidnapping Michael now.
That's not accusing of kidnapping. That is hyperbole!
Just fucking do that, why don't you? This will not be the last time this accusation is made, by the way.
Somebody kill me!
The problem is there's nothing we can do to show him what kind of person she is. As long as she's a woman he finds attractive, he won't be able to see a single fault in her.
Like, I want him to be okay, but I don't know. My gut is screaming. The thing. Isolation is a mental abuse tactic.
And yet, everyone in this thread thought isolating Michael with his supposed abuser is perfectly fine. And I was completely isolated after the Avi ordeal. Glad to know you can recognize isolation as abuse, Blaze, because that just means you admitted to abusing me, and I'm perfectly aware everyone in this thread is fine with Michael being supposedly abused too.
He won't see it as isolation or abuse if it's with her. Again, we all know how he is with women. Christ, stay gone, you fucking prick.
Can y'all stop acting like you can read my mind? No, you don't know how I am with women, or Deed. You just fucking don't.
I know you're a coward.
These were the only messages that Blaze sent within the thread, but seeing that she was willing to engage in these false allegations placed upon me, I get to talk about how Blaze and evidently her partner Kaden, who I will refer to as Chris from now on, rightfully screwed me over during the whole Avi ordeal, and overall were just shitty non-existent pals to begin with. That's right, Blaze didn't just protect her perverted-ass boyfriend, she's been protecting perverts for quite a while now. So, let's talk about the duo from hell, and if you're wondering, Chris was never in this thread, why are you talking about him? Well, you see, there's a very simple explanation for this. It's like Blaze told me. Anything involving her involves her boyfriend. I could talk about my history between Blaze and Chris, but there's really no point given the fact people know what these people are like. Yes, they are as terrible as you think, they were shitty pals to me, they were not good people. I mean, for fuck's sakes, I helped Chris from an attempted suicide, and he ghosted me for years after that.
He should have jumped.
Only reason we started talking again is because Blaze dragged me in a Discord call so Chris could pull a woe is me despite doing fucked up shit behind the scenes.
I'm gonna go 3 times.
More on that later when it's relevant. But the Avi ordeal is essentially what led me to distancing myself from Chris and Blaze because despite them trying to act like they cared about me, they didn't. They were adamant on being Avi's biggest offenders, and it only took me until 2025 when Chris is being called out for being a pervert herself that I finally learned the truth behind my own malicious gang for protecting Avi. So now I get to reveal the truth. I know it's been hours since I shared the timeline of events, but I briefly mentioned 2 individuals named B and C in my retelling of the aftermath. Well, B and C are Blaze and Chris. That's right, Blaze told Chris about my trauma despite my wishes. Blaze and Chris were the ones to pressure me to come out publicly about Avi despite my wishes, and when I said no, they proceeded to belittle me for, quote, not going forward with this. Blaze and Chris were the ones to shame me for not telling them intimate details about the alleged fetish, and went as far as to say, maybe we shouldn't believe you. Oh, and the whole we hardly even knew Avi thing? Well, just take a look at who was interacting with Blaze in the thread. Avi. And as for Chris,
I was never sexual towards Julie. I knew they were minor. I never even imagined that. I was also in a relationship with Blaze. So sexual towards, I think the only people I've ever been jokingly sexual towards is Silver, who is reciprocated, Avi, who is reciprocated, and that's it.
Hey, maybe don't drag my partner's name as a means of deflecting responsibility for being inappropriate with a minor. Okay, Chris, fuck off with that shit. But this proves.
I mean, the same minor that you guys knew some people were being weird around and you did nothing?
To me, that you two lied and even gaslit me for the past 5 years into believing you had no friendship with Avi. And before anyone tells me that it was obvious, no, it was not obvious to me. Because as I stated many times, I was not in the SCC. I didn't know the ins and outs of what was going on. I just trusted their word.
You were in the SCC and so was your husband.
Because I didn't think they would lie or even gaslight me about something so insignificant, just so they could secretly hang around him behind my back. Honesty is not in any of these people's vocabularies. However, Blaze and Chris did more.
Not in yours either.
More than just lied to me about their friendship with Avi, victim blamed me, and attempted to peer pressure me into going public with it. So let's finally talk about it. Let's start with Chris, as me blocking Chris is what led to me filing suit with Blaze. As a refresher, when I found out that Avi had more than one victim, I called folks out in my private Discord server, telling them I didn't appreciate them still associating with Avi, despite what he had done to me, and the mere fact that it had now been proven Avi had a history of being a creep. Apparently, that night when I posted the message, I was in a Discord call with Michael, and I learned from him that Chris was messaging him. Michael had relayed to me that Kaden was apparently upset with my message as it was harsh, and that what I was doing was guilt tripping, and I apparently was doing guilt by association, and that I should either delete or apologize for the message. Same person who said he hardly even knew Avi, by the way. Gee, nobody cares so much for a stranger. I was essentially being gaslighted by not only Chris, but by my own partner, that the message I wrote was wrong and out of place. Not only was I not committing guilt by association due to many individuals showing proof out in the public eye that they were still associating with Avi, despite fully knowing my story, and again, many people validated my story as they knew Avi had this history of predatory behavior. But not only that, I was being gaslit and taught very convoluted morals by these people as well. Let me explain. Basically, I was told you're not allowed to hang around anyone we disapprove of. It's hurtful. As I had apparently done that in the past. So I said, got it, won't happen again. And I thought this applied to both of us, right? So when I told people I wasn't comfortable, they were associating with my sexual harasser, what was I told? You can't control who people hang around. Despite Avi admitting to what he did, people confided in me that they too dealt with Avi, and people even backing me up on his history of being a creep. It's apparently wrong for me to tell people if you're going to associate with me, you cannot associate with Avi. And hey, can you fucking blame me for being a bit harsh given the shit I had to go through?
God.
Blaze immediately starts messaging me. I'm not joking. The second I blocked Chris, Blaze started texting me, and despite me telling her to leave me alone, she continued to send me messages while I am currently having a PTSD episode. Michael can tell you from first-hand account, I am not mentally sound if you try to talk to me after something has triggered my PTSD. Do not try to have a conversation with someone who is not mentally okay. No, I see you typing.
I'm not asking you to talk to him or even to defend anyone. I was just going to pass on the message you wanted to share with you. It was just, I'm not going to fight this, and I wish you the best. That's it.
I don't care. I don't care. This is so irritatingly stupid. Chris has done so many abhorrent things, and she's more focused on, he said mean things about me. Die. Let's go to the closing statements.
From this point on,
which is an hour,
debunked all the abuse allegations regarding Deed allegedly abusing me. We still have much to discuss regarding the two masterminds behind all of this. Quite frankly, these two individuals did the most harm and damage and were the most malicious out of everyone involved in this thread. But before we do that, we're going to give our final say in regards to the idea that our relationship is abusive.
I'm just going to say it. These people wanted Michael to abuse me. They wanted Michael to be all buddy-buddy with not only my sexual harasser, but people who openly defended him and diminished my trauma overall. They attempted to manipulate him into thinking that what Avi did to me wasn't a big deal, and that I was just overreacting. They wanted Michael to keep secrets from me. They wanted Michael to not care about my boundaries, to not care about scheduling things with me, but rather, he can do whatever he wants. He can talk to whoever he wants. Deed doesn't get a say in any of this. But not only that, they wanted Michael, my only support system, the only person who was there for me at the time, to go against me and be on their side.
Please feel bad for me.
Isolating me.
About something I
These people
convinced
didn't think that
myself
Michael was
of.
being abused. These people just wanted the opposite. They wanted Michael to abuse me. And the most fucked up thing about this is some of these people knew I had previously been in an abusive relationship. One that was verbally and emotionally abusive. So they wanted me to relive that emotional abuse. But not only that.
Wait, how is you being in a relationship this abusive, and them saying that you are abusive is you reliving the abuse? You're an idiot.
I was living with Michael. I was living in an area I was not familiar with, doubling down on the isolation effect. They wanted me to be isolated, abused, and beaten down verbally to the point where I more than likely would have either snapped or succumbed to submission. That's what these people...
They're not claiming Michael abused you. They're claiming you abused him.
I have no words other than... It hurts. It's fucked up and literally messing with my head right now. Because again, many of these people are strangers to me. Fucking strangers on the internet wanted my partner to abuse me. I cannot grasp the reality of this because it is so fucking scary to think that this is what could have possibly happened if it wasn't for the fact that Michael stopped talking to these people. These people weren't mad that Michael wasn't talking to them anymore. They were mad he wasn't abusing me. They were mad that they weren't a bad influence on him anymore. These people disgust me. And no wonder I was afraid for years over what these people could do to me.
You're a pussy.
What did I ever...
This is all just fake.
...to make you want Michael to abuse me? What did I do to be dehumanized like this?
What did I do?
Either way, stay the ever-loving fuck away from me and my husband.
Theater
you
kid
heartless,
crap.
sickening, parasitic deadbeats.
I want to make this abundantly clear. Deed does not manipulate, control, or commit domestic abuse on me, period. Couples fight, yes. Deed struggles with mental disorders, yes. And they have been a struggle for me as well. But nothing, even at her lowest, would I ever paint her as abusing me. I left the Cloud Palace at my own accord. I chose to quit slideshow commentaries myself. I talk about horror because I fucking like horror. I call Deed my wife because I am damn well making her one. And I stopped talking to you fucks for a good reason. For multiple good reasons. What in God's name would make you think that I would want to speak to you after seeing, well, all this? Unless you think I'm a deadbeat, haha, my wife chains me down shit husband. Truthfully, that says more about how the SCC thinks what healthy is and how you should treat the person you claim to love. Regardless, what's crazy is for as much as you say Deed is speaking for me, you fucks sure as hell speak for me a lot in this thread. From painting mundane tweets as cries for help to treating me like I can't fucking think for myself, hence why it's so easy for Deed to apparently manipulate me. Sir, I am nearing my fucking 30s. I am not a damn child, but you sure as hell are all cowards. Not a single person in this thread contacted me. Not Donnie, not Blaze, not Tippy, not Jace, not Scarlet, not Sarah. Nobody contacted me. Rather, they let a BBEG disguised as a hero do all the dirty work by making a call to action and just demanding me to break up with Deed, sprinkled in with flat-out bullying and harassment towards me indeed. Yes, that is what these spineless fucks did, and they genuinely thought it would work. I am not going to break up with Deed anytime soon, and this idea of having control of who I date or not is controlling in of itself. This is not a group of friends who are concerned about me. It's a bunch of rabid, self-centered abusers who are losing their shit over the fact that they don't have me in their grasp anymore. Good. If anything, Deed has been nothing more than a good influence, and the fact you all disrespected her to oblivion, mocking her trauma, painting her as delusional, and flat-out dehumanizing her makes me sick. You honest to God thought I'd be okay with that. Hey buddy, open up a dictionary and go to page fuck you.
We are now going to segue into the rest of the allegations and the actions behind two individuals that we have yet to talk about. You have probably already guessed who these two individuals are by now, but before we do that, there's technically a third person we must discuss. This individual was not involved at all. This person is someone Michael and I since have no correlation with for years now. However, the two masterminds behind this whole ordeal thought it was very important to bring this individual up. For malicious reasoning, of course. It's why this individual has been brought up time and time again throughout this video. So it's finally time to explain their connection to all this. It's time we talk about Rachel.
Alright, so I'm going to step away for just a moment. I got some weird noise coming downstairs, like a beeping. I think the alarm, we had a power reset, so I'm going to go check that out real quick. I'll be right back. I return. We have a alarm for the house, and anytime the power comes out, because we had like a power surge set today, right? It starts making this annoying beeping noise, and I forgot about it. So it was screaming this entire stream.
The bitch came back the very next day. Oh, the bitch came back. Thought she was a girl. She couldn't stay away. Don't you know the bitch came back?
Yeah, this also talks about you.
The reason we are dedicating this segment to Rachel is because she is, in a way, intertwined with all of this merely by name. But it's also because Michael and I have had personal experiences with her, like many others within the SCC. So let's give a brief breakdown on who Rachel Kohai Mills is.
Rachel was a very prominent figure within the SCC. If anything, she was one of the biggest people within the SCC. Many folks looked up to her, and she was even one of the founding members to create BOP. She started making commentaries in 2013 up until her departure in 2019. Quite frankly, neither of us know what happened for Rachel to have a disdain towards the SCC. More than likely it was infighting and arguments with others within the SCC that caused it, but regardless. Rachel went from someone who enjoyed commentaries to someone who loathed the SCC, to the point you could consider her anti-SCC. There's a lot more in regards to Rachel and the SCC relationship, but we will save that for later. For now, all you need to know is that just like with Rachel, the SCC hated her back just as much, to the point where they treated her as the starting grounds of what makes someone a morally good person, which is utterly fucked if you think about it. Basically, anything Rachel believed in, they believed in the opposite. Anyone who associated with Rachel, anyone who talked to Rachel, they were despised amongst the SCC, which is ironic given that Rachel knew a lot of these people. These people were once friends with Rachel, and they tend to forget that. As edgy as it sounds to say, the SCC treated Rachel as if she was worse than Hitler. And that's sadly not an understatement.
In fact, it got so bad that Rachel started calling the SCC a cult and vice versa. In retaliation for Rachel doing it, the SCC called her a cult leader, which neither of which are true. I'm gonna save my explanation and well-awaited tirade on this ordeal for later, but the hatred was mutual, suffice to say. I think it's appropriate for Michael and I now to explain our former relationship with Rachel and how that friendship corroded and died. I'll be the one to start us off. My friendship with Rachel spanned from 2017 to 20...
If Rachel's a kid toucher who cares about your friendship and how it corroded, it doesn't matter. Oh my god, it doesn't matter. I could have, like, the deepest friendship with someone, and then I find out that they're a kid toucher, I don't care. I don't need to give you a detailed explanation of, like, my years-long history. It's like, oh, I was friends with them for a long time, found out they were a kid toucher, screw them.
2020, and it was messy, suffice to say. Looking back, it was pretty telling that Rachel wasn't a good pal, but one thing everyone can agree on is that she is charismatic. She will be nice, but once you've befriended her, she'll spend moments breaking you down like it's nothing. For example, one thing that Rachel and I both had in common was that we had PTSD. In 2018, after I had moved out of my parents' place, I started to have physical symptoms of PTSD, and it scared me. In a way, I looked up to Rachel as an example of what someone who struggles with PTSD
yes,
is like.
Stick man, yes.
This was a mistake. The reason I say that is because Rachel and I's PTSD and overall trauma was vastly different. I am not stating that to one-up her, I'm stating that as a fact. Her PTSD stemmed from the loss of a family pet. Mine stemmed from years worth of multiple types of abuse I endured both at home and at school. It led to me...
I'd rather be the freaking PTSD for both of you for different reasons.
Being stalked and afraid of going out, so I became a hermit when I first lived on my own. Rachel, throughout our friendship, would joke about, mock, and disregard my trauma, going as far as defending my ex who abused me. I'll show a screenshot with details censored, but this is essentially what Rachel would do. I would have panic attacks, and she would tell me to shut up and get the fuck over myself. Despite me living in an area where my life was in danger, she consistently told me, "It's been years, they've forgotten about you. Get over it." Mind you, it had been less than 5 years since what had happened to me happened. The abuse, the rape, all of it was only a mere few years ago. And even then, it doesn't matter how long it had been. If you're having to change your number to get the threats of bodily harm and promises of "I'll kill you if I ever find you," it doesn't matter how many years it's been. If you still live in the same area as those who wish to harm you, that's all it takes, because it is unsafe. You're still currently living in that traumatic moment. Not to mention my rapist making the promise of, if I could, I'd do it again, alluding to the idea that if she had the opportunity to rape me, she would, without any hesitation. Rachel didn't seem to understand that, because when I actually had finally reported the rape in 2019, I was on edge, waiting for a phone call. And when I finally received it, they told me there was little to no chance that I could convince a group of strangers that what happened to me happened, said that the case would be on hold for about a decade, and then hung up. I was very clearly distraught, and what did Rachel tell me? Well, you got it out of your way now, so let's just move on from it. I never once said anything as belittling as Rachel would to me. Never did I fucking tell her, "It's been years now, you need to get over it, Rachel," or "You just need to accept the fact your dog is gone." Nope, never once. But oh boy, did Rachel love telling me that. Mind you, this was during the time I was slowly coming to terms with what I'd gone through as a child, and I was still living in an area.
I wonder if Rachel's CP or PTSD from the dog is because the dog had to wear a diaper. And if you get that reference, you're a champion.
Where my abusers resided as well. I didn't escape that cesspit until 2021. I remember a time where I had a really bad episode, and Rachel was very dismissive of my emotions, to the point she told me, "Honestly, I don't know how to help you because I can't relate to this, so you're on your own." I get it's no one's responsibility to help me through my trauma, but the hypocrisy and double standard runs deep within Rachel. She expected everyone to be careful around her. She expected everyone to be respectful of her trauma and triggers, and if she found out and made fun of any dog's death, then oh boy, would you be hearing from her. I still remember the outburst she had, and you weren't allowed to say how it hurt because she was emotional. She let her PTSD run rampant in that moment, as if that excuses it at all.
You mean like
oh,
you
but that's
do?
the fun part. She expected you to be her support system, but when you needed her, she'd miraculously be busy. Rachel and I became sort of this safe place to vent to, and overall be a support system for each other. Well, rather, I was always there for her more than she was ever there for me, looking back. See, I would hop on Discord either through text or call with her in a heartbeat. Didn't matter if I was busy, didn't matter if it was late, even at work, I did this. However, 90% of the time, when I tried to reach out to her, she would say, "I'm busy," or "I'm already with someone." Now, I can't hold that over her head too much, because it's not like she's my therapist. But there was very clearly an imbalance to the point it felt like my kindness was being taken advantage of by her. Because even when she was there for me, she would tend to say very insensitive things, i.e. the examples that I talked about previously. Oh, but it doesn't stop there, because, as I said, Rachel and I found a common ground when it came to PTSD. It's why me and Ray talked a lot about our trauma, our PTSD, and what we had gone through. It was kind of how we connected. However, every so often, when we would have conversations, she would say something along the lines of, "I'm not comparing our trauma, as you obviously have gone through worse, but..." Whenever she would say something like that, I'd awkwardly laugh at it, because quite frankly, I found it to be really uncomfortable whenever she would even bring that up in the first place. While she never tried to make it a competition of sorts, or even tell me she's gone through worse than me, in fact she'd say the opposite, going as far as saying I wouldn't even know how to handle trauma like that, it still doesn't change the fact she would make comments like that, and it made me uncomfortable to hear it.
To talk about
I never talked about my trauma to out-trauma someone or out-victim them.
Then why don't you tell her, stupid?
Before, it is just a mere fact that, yes.
So much of this is, how dare you not read my mind? Die.
And I understand that, but her telling me that she's not trying to compare our trauma, yet still adding that but, if you're not trying to compare it, then why would you say that in the first place? This leads me to the worst thing Rachel had done, and that was justify the abuse my ex had put me through. For nearly 4 years of my life, I was in an abusive relationship. This relationship was primarily emotionally and sexually abusive. This started in high school, and given the neglectful environment I grew up in, I didn't have a good representation of what a healthy relationship is like. So when I ended up in a relationship where I was love-bombed, was told I am the only person who could ever love nor understand you, and was then told that sex was a love language, therefore, this is how you show your love to me, and if you don't have sex with me whenever I ask, that means you don't love me. Suffice to say, I didn't get a say in a lot of things. And while my ex did label me as his girlfriend, over the years it became very apparent that I was actually just a personal prostitute, given the on and off status we had. That's the TLDR of how I was treated. Rachel was actually one of the few people who knew that the abuse was going on. I remember we were in a call, and while I don't recall what it was that caused it, Rachel could tell something was wrong, and I assured Rachel that everything was fine, as my
The Pain Olympics is something people should look into if they want to do trauma comparison.
ex and I had worked things out, and she left it at that. My ex officially left me around August of 2018, but in May of 2019, they showed up out of nowhere trying to make amends with me, and gave me a half-ass apology. The "you treated me like a king, but I treated you like trash" manipulative bullshit. Unfortunately, at the time, even though I had acknowledged that they had abused me, they still had some control over me, so I sadly accepted this apology. Given they were at least honest, they attempted to cheat on me throughout the entirety of our relationship when I asked if they had, as a means of receiving closure on that. They then attempted to coerce me into a friends with benefits relationship, and them asking for disgusting details about my rape and completely ignoring me when I was venting about my self-harm and suicide attempts is what led me to finally blocking them and never speaking to them again. There is, however, one detail I left out. I felt peer pressured to accept the friends with benefits relationship because my ex had transitioned. My ex and I dated when they were assigned male at birth. I had a boyfriend because I like men, but when they came back in my life, they were very early on in their transitioning. The only thing that had changed was their name and pronouns. This was also during the time where many trans people had the opinion of, if you don't date me or even reject a trans person, you're transphobic. Despite this person sexually abusing me, despite it going against my sexuality, I felt inclined to go along with the friends with benefits, but thankfully I did not fall into the peer pressure, and fuck anyone who held this belief back in the day. You caused people more harm than good with that bullshit. This is important because Rachel herself is trans. If there's one thing everyone knows about Rachel, she is very, very strongly opinionated when it comes to trans people. And while there is nothing wrong with that, Rachel took it to extreme levels, such as defending my ex who abused me. Basically, what had happened is that I was in a Discord call talking to Rachel, venting about what my ex had done to me. I was coming to the realization, and overall coming to terms with the fact that my relationship with them was abusive, and they had abused me. Rachel congratulated me, because, as she admitted to me, she had a feeling the relationship was abusive. However, I let slip that my ex is now trans, and the second I did that, her demeanor changed. She told me, yeah, I was an asshole before I transitioned. As a reminder, my ex abused me sexually and emotionally. Rachel, even back then, when I was in denial of it, she had a feeling I was being abused. But the second I brought up that my ex is trans, her entire demeanor changed, and she was willing to defend them. I don't think
Why are we talking about
but
this?
it is transphobic in of itself to act like people, before they transition, are allowed to abuse people, are allowed to take advantage of people simply due to them struggling with gender dysphoria. That is not an excuse. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your gender identity is. You don't get to abuse people, and it's really disgusting. Because as the years went on, it turned out I had repressed memories. And the more I thought about my sexual relationship with my ex, it wasn't entirely consensual a good chunk of the time. In fact, there was a time where my ex blatantly raped me. So
They're not talking about Avi. Alright, they never dated Avi.
thanks, Rachel. You're such a good ally for defending a rapist's name. Oh, and by the way, being an asshole and sexually abusing people are two completely different things. But what do I know, given you share the same mindset as my ex? If it walks, then
I mean, yeah, kind of. I can say you can be an a-hole without being a sexual assaulter, but you can't really be a sexual assaulter and not be an a-hole.
I can disregard his consent and fuck it if I please. No, you know what? I'm going to say this now. I am mad at everyone who despised Rachel, because for as much as they hated Rachel, they made no effort on protecting people. For all the years that I had known Rachel, the only thing I ever heard was she was an asshole, which is why Rachel herself even admitted she was an asshole. Being an asshole is not illegal. Being an asshole is not criminal. There is a difference between being a shitty pal and doing something that crosses boundaries, that goes against people's consent. Being toxic doesn't always equal abuse. But Rachel was a massive pervert, and people knew that. People knew Rachel sexually assaulted someone, and they kept it under wraps for years. People were going around warning people about Rachel being a womanizer, and me, the person who is a rape survivor, the person who has had a lot of sexual abuse revolving around women, was not told this. If I had been warned about this, I wouldn't have spoken to Rachel, but I wasn't. So you know what I ended up doing? I ended up telling Rachel that she was one of the few women that I felt comfortable being around. And little did I know, I said that to a fucking rapist.
Yep.
And it sickens me. It sickens me that no one protected me. It sickens me that no one warned me. The most I got was, she was an asshole to me, but I don't care if you're pals with her. And even then, that's a lie. But here's the thing about Rachel. Rachel is a calculated person. And I think what really grosses me out is that I was different. Rachel treated me differently. This is merely a theory of mine, but let me explain. Rachel was openly a pervert, but not necessarily around me. When it came to her and I, we barely discussed sex, and the reason being is because I openly spoke about the sexual abuse that I went through. I mean, I talked about how earlier Rachel wasn't the best at comforting me when it came to my rape case. However, despite the dismissiveness, Rachel was fairly aware that there were a lot of things that could set off my PTSD, and that included women being inherently flirtatious and sexual towards me. She knew if she had, even as a mistake, done so, I would have freaked the fuck out, and I probably would have told someone. I think deep down, Rachel knew. Rachel knew she couldn't have me because I would have told someone, and if I had told the right person, a domino effect of the truth coming out would have occurred. It's why I believe she openly called George and Keyblade out. She wanted to hide her perversiveness, and so that's why she was careful around me.
I wonder how it feels to be Deed and know that a pedophile called another pedophile out and she did nothing.
But she did slip up at one point. She at one point had told me that she easily develops crushes on people, and she told me that she had a slight crush on me, but followed it up with, I have a crush on you, but I won't hit on you, because I know you're into guys. Rachel was aware she couldn't have me, not only due to my sexuality of being only attracted to men, but also because of my trauma. However, there is this lingering gut feeling that makes me think, maybe if she had bonded with me more over the years, if we would have met in person, possibly, she would have tried to do something. The reason I say that is because recently I was told that Rachel is perfectly fine with playing the long game. She is willing to sit and wait until the right opportunity, the right moment occurs. Doesn't matter what your sexuality is, doesn't matter if you're in a relationship. She is willing to play the long game, and maybe that's why she got in between Michael and I. It's time to talk about that. Michael and I were just as close as Rachel and I was, and Rachel was aware of this. In fact, Rachel was the person who helped confirm that Michael had a crush on me. I was still dealing with my ex at the time, so I rejected Michael's feelings. However, over time, and this is something Michael has admitted to, he kind of ghosted me afterwards.
Yes, fair point. She cries about, why didn't people protect me, the adult, while minors were there and Probably should have taken priority.
And I started to feel a little insecure about that. I was worried that me rejecting him led to him not wanting to talk to me anymore, and Rachel took advantage of that. Remember, Rachel knew that I was in an abusive relationship, and Rachel thought it'd be a good idea to make the implication that Michael just wanted to have me to make himself feel better. The way she described it is that I was an object to Michael, not a person, which is how my ex treated me. Rachel essentially used my own trauma against me as a means of getting me to stop talking to Michael, and it unfortunately had worked. For a few months, because shortly after, Rachel and I stopped talking. And then the false allegations Rachel placed upon Michael happened, which led me to reaching out to Michael and apologizing for the fallout we had. Blaze and Chris were actually the ones to help me get in contact with Michael. That's why I said Blaze is a fucking liar in regards to the Michael's social circle dwindling ever since he met me bullshit. It disgusts me that Rachel painted Michael as my ex when, after actually dating Michael for over 5 years now, not only did he help me come to terms with how abusive my ex truly was, but he has helped me realize what a healthy relationship actually looks like. Rachel is a manipulative ass liar, and you know what? I'm glad you stopped talking to me. You did me a solid by doing the job for me. So let's finally talk about the dumpster fire that is Rachel and I's falling out and the aftermath of that. Because yes, similar to Avi, instead of people comforting me, it was people essentially telling me I deserve it. I'll summarize it best I can, but context. I was living in an area where I felt my life was in danger. I developed paranoia. While the threat was real, I started to second guess things and had a habit of spiraling and jumping to conclusions. As I stated before, Rachel is trans, and her opinions on trans rights can go to the extreme side of things. She was the type of person to do the whole die cis scum meme back then that was popular. Her justification for this was fighting fire with fire. She thought wishing death upon cisgender people was a good way of fighting bigotry. I think it goes without saying, but the whole die cis scum thing was never funny to begin with. All it really did was make people not want to be allies for trans folks, because wishing death upon people solely due to something they cannot control, which is their gender identity, does not help your cause. So, how do I play into this? Well, I was a victim of death threats, and Rachel was actively wishing death upon people. You can guess where this is going. I should have just confronted Rachel about this, but I didn't. I had been falsely accused of being homophobic and transphobic in the past, and me not having the queer card made me very reluctant to share my opinion, even if it was valid. It didn't help that I was being told I wasn't allowed to have an opinion on this discussion because I'm not trans. I wanted to, in a way, talk to her about it, but I didn't want to come off as transphobic. I basically was just trying to find a way to tell her, hey, wishing death upon people, even in a joking manner, is not funny to me, because due to where I live currently,
Kill yourself, 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 kill yourself.
my life is already in danger. I don't need a so-called pal telling me I deserve to die due to my gender identity. So please stop. So I decided to have a trans person go over a Google document I wrote for approval. That person was Donnie. After I'd shared it, I was worried Rachel was secretly mad at me, so the guilt ate me alive, and so I told her that document was partially written because of the stuff she was doing on Twitter. She was not happy about this. She freaked out and proceeded to berate me and say a lot of stuff towards me. Yes, I should have just been upfront and honest with her. Back in the day, I had a really hard time setting boundaries. I had a hard time telling people how I felt, and this was a learning process for me. I certainly learned something from it. Rachel and I did talk things out in the end. Or so I thought. Time had passed, and I quickly found out Rachel had blocked me. I began freaking out. It is then that Donnie himself relayed to me that Rachel isn't mad at me, she just needs some space. I never heard from her again after that. I was not a mentally sound person from 2018 to 2022. I panicked because I was scared Rachel was going to do things behind my back. That was a deep-rooted fear I had for a very long time. Yeah, remember that. So, suffice to say, I freaked out, I began spiraling, and I ended up doing some pretty unhinged things that I have since regretted doing. Rachel's timing was also awful, given that during this time I had a multitude of people disrespect, belittle, and disregard my triggers, so I snapped. I ended up recording an audio file where I belittled myself, blamed myself for everything, and even mentioned how I shouldn't be respected at all and should be continuously triggered and abused, and that I am undeserving of life. I was essentially having a breakdown. Something in me mentally snapped, and I did end up becoming suicidal. I had no desire to live anymore, but I did not harm myself. Instead, during the time I was laying on the floor, completely numb and broken. It genuinely felt like my body itself was decomposing. I do regret making this audio file. I vaguely remember doing this solely because I was not mentally there, but it still was unhinged to do. Something to take of note is that I vented quite often, and whenever I vented or even sent out a cry for help because I had suicidal thoughts and was afraid to be alone, nobody would respond to me. But this incident was different, because Rachel was involved. I had uploaded that rambling audio to my private Discord server. The moment I did, I was sent messages by several folks, one of which being Blaze. Blaze was asking me to get into a call. I refused, but she insisted we talked. I joined a call with her, laying on the floor completely motionless, hardly wanting to speak. And on the other end was Blaze simply telling me, we warned you. She then went on, implying that I deserved whatever Rachel had done to me with this I told you so attitude, and then asked me,
why in the world would you melt down and try to get people on a Discord call while you're on the ground talking about how you felt like your body was decomposing? Log off!
Are you going to listen to us now? After that call, I was expected to apologize to everyone I hadn't listened to. You know, the people who told me it was fine that I befriended Rachel? Yeah, turns out they were mad at me, but kept it to themselves. Again, no one had actually warned me about Rachel, despite what
Now, am I surprised these people treated them poorly? No.
Blaze had said to me, no, Blaze, you fucking didn't. You just said she was a cunt because she and Chris had fallen out. I didn't know the heinous shit Rachel had truly done until 2022 when the Rachel document had came out. The worst she had ever done, in my eyes, was the treatment she gave me and making false abuse allegations. I was left feeling guilt for ever associating with Rachel, and a part of me held on to that for a long time because I genuinely felt like a bad person. I thought I had truly hurt people without even knowing it. I was taught by everyone, it's okay if you hang around Rachel, but in actuality, it wasn't okay. So I learned from it and told myself, if anyone tells me not to hang around someone, they must be bad news. I should respect people's boundaries. Well, it turns out that's a lie as well, because it's perfectly fine for them to turn around and secretly hang around my sexual harasser. So, rules for me, but not for thee, I suppose. I have come to terms with what Rachel had done to me. She made my journey of healing harder than it needed to be. She gave me unnecessary anxiety due to how she treated me. Certain triggers of mine now cause even worse reactions than before, thanks to her. So overall, I do not like her. And I really wish I had known sooner how much of a vile person she is. But Michael and I are together, she's a fucking loser and continues to be. I'm better off, and I'm glad. A part of me never...
Are you, though? Are you better off? Because you seem to be that same spiteful, hateful person.
Me, including my fears. Rachel had easy blackmail on me. That blackmail being intimate details about my life that I wouldn't want people knowing about. But you know what? Someone had already beaten her to it. I should have never been afraid of Rachel. Instead, I should have been afraid of the people who instilled guilt into me. I should have been afraid of the people behind the Rachel document, because those are the people who went on to betray me. Those are the people who went on to stalk me. Those are the people who outed things about me without my consent. So congratulations. For as much as you hate Rachel, you were willing to go to lengths to hurt me that Rachel never went. Don't get me wrong, I despise Rachel, and she did go behind my back. I remember being told she was telling people not to watch my commentaries back in the day. But what I can't stand more are people who act like they are better, when they are far from better. They are worse than you could ever imagine.
Talking to yourself again, I see.
That's what you get for treating Rachel as the baseline for your morals, dumbass. I hope after all of this is said and done, Rachel becomes nothing more than a distant memory, because after fumbling any form of justice, at the very least, her victims deserve peace, goddammit.
No thanks, Stickman. If you are a victim of Rachel, you deserve the closure you are rightfully owed. Whether that's keeping your peace and moving on, or standing up and telling your story, don't be afraid to do what's right for you. I'm sorry the Cloud Palace failed people like you and I. I wish I could heal the wounds they caused, but at the very least, I hope you know what happened to you was wrong, and karma will come knocking on Rachel's door someday. I don't believe in karma, but I will say this. You think she should fade into obscurity. You think a predator should just fade... No, they should be dead. You don't actually care about somebody being a predator. You're more mad they said mean things about you, and know things about you you're worried they're going to blackmail you over. You don't care this person touched kids. You didn't care about any of this.
So I knew Ray for quite a long time. I'd say since about 2015. We didn't have the strongest friendship at first, but eventually we did click and get along really well. And through her, met quite a number of people. Funny enough, I do actually also remember having conversations with her as well as Deed at the same time. Ray was very charismatic, and I felt like we were close friends during the time I had gotten to know her. I showed up at her streams often, I would help edit some of her videos, and she also cameoed in some of my own commentaries. However, things would begin to change when I began to date another person who I will simply refer to as L. L was someone who I dated for about 2 years, if I recall correctly. If anyone has any recollection of this, L had cheated on me, and this is relevant to my experiences with Ray. Now at the time, I had a very bad self-deprecation problem alongside self-esteem issues and suicidal ideation. I'm not going to act like I treated either L or Ray the best, or that I was truly ready for a romantic relationship given my issues. However, after I found out L had cheated on me, this was around the same time Ray had cut me off, saying that anything I said can be used against me, and effectively told me to go fuck myself. This combined had led to a suicide attempt that would land me into a psych ward. After getting out of there, I began to make steps to change myself, including doing better about my self-esteem, and I gotten back on square. Admittedly, I was antagonistic. I began to prod and poke at Ray and her trauma, and this is something I regret doing. It was childish and insensitive, and it certainly did not win over any former friends I had onto my side. In particular, I remember being quite the asshole to Digital Tie, to which I'd like to extend a public apology to. Regardless, my prying had provoked a response out of Ray, who proceeded to call me abusive, causing many close friends of mine to cut me off.
Hello, I'm here to chime in regards to the abuse allegations that Rachel made upon Michael. This is something I only ever told Michael and one other individual, but I've decided, fuck it, I'm going to say this, just so people really know that this was not a out-of-the-blue decision Rachel did. Half a year prior to her coming out publicly about the allegations, she had told me privately in DMs that Michael was abusive. I don't know if she ever planned on coming out publicly, but regardless, she had decided that Michael was an abuser for a while. And no, I didn't necessarily go along with that narrative. Even back then, I was skeptical about it. She just started yapping, and I went, okay, yikes, I guess. The only reason why I never said anything publicly is because I didn't want people to think I was defending Michael merely due to us dating. However, this conversation happened long before Michael and I dated, so it doesn't matter. So there you go, some insight regarding those allegations.
It was in a short amount of time that I would respond with a document explaining my recent experiences with Ray, alongside what had happened between me and L, as Ray had brought her up as a means of proving, quote-unquote, my abuse. I had also apologized for making this a public spectacle in said document. Ray, in response, proceeded to back down from calling me an abuser, which had gone to show how little she actually believed in her own argument when she couldn't maintain it, even though I had still argued that she was, in fact, very much hurtful to me. I want to clarify that of all the people that I know Ray had affected, I feel I was the least hurt by her. Not because I'm some tough guy, but because I feel Ray had done the least damaging stuff to me compared to others, and even then she still attempted to ruin my reputation online by accusing me of being an abuser. I know, you see the irony in this right now, I know. I was not made aware of her pedophilia, her abuse towards Strawberry Kiwi while they were living together, or her sexual assault against Sassy Shark and Autumn Kohai. As far as I was aware, and to be frank, as far as people had made me believe at the time, Rachel Mills Kohai was an asshole who abused some others, something far lighter than what I learned she truly was today.
While we may not have known at the time how vile Rachel is, we do now. From fabricating abuse allegations to being an abuser herself. From manipulation tactics to using someone's trauma against them to destroy relationships. From objectifying people to seeing them nothing more than if it walks and is legal age consent in my home state, then I can fuck it. To her literally admitting to indulging in lolicon. Her and many others' excuse for this was that it was merely a form of self-harm, when Rachel does not have any history with sexual abuse, both as an adult nor a child. She wasn't called the rat bitch for nothing. Rachel should be behind bars. End of. However, because of the SCC and how they handled things, they let her get away with shit. In fact, that chart that I just showed, why, it was in the Cloud Palace Rachel was openly being a creep. And no one said a damn word. This was never brought up by anyone.
Including your husband.
For as much as the slideshow commentary community hates Rachel, they protected her. And I can prove that with the disease-ridden making of the Rachel Kohai Google document.
In 2021, a thread was made in the Cloud Palace titled The Rat Doc. I know this because I was in the Cloud Palace during the making of this document. Truthfully, I didn't engage much. At most, my contribution was the author asking for my consent to copy and paste my testimony regarding Rachel, given the false allegations she placed on me, and I said sure. However, knowing the disaster that is this document, a part of me wishes I had looked a little more closely on the making of this document while it was being made. Reason being is because I encouraged Dee to speak to said author about her experience with Rachel as a means of her getting closure. Little did I know this whole individual would be the bane of our existence for the next 4 years.
I don't wish to describe my contribution to the document's creation yet. Rather, I want to spend time on how majorly the author of this document fucked up. While yes, many people contributed to the making of this document, seeing as there was a thread created for it in the Cloud Palace, there is only one sole individual who took the reins, who wanted to essentially be given the award of taking the rat down, when in actuality, they gave Rachel everything they needed to get away with the pain and damage she has done. So let's go over everything that is wrong with this document. In no particular order, here is everything wrong with this document. The document mocked Rachel's victims and did guilt by association. It denounced the George Grooming allegations when it's supposed to be about Rachel. It allowed predators to write testimonies, such as Bobby Holtman, Katie Monroe, George Raccoon, etc. It added a testimony that wasn't even given consent by said person. It altered testimonies without consent. It outed and revoked the anonymity of anonymous testimonies. It was not open and honest about the Keyblade stuff, even after the update.
That's not karma, Stickman. Because karma does not take into account grace, which is also in the Bible.
It allowed false accusations to be placed within the document. And finally, it had testimonies that were a nothing burger or were over petty internet drama. For the last one, examples I was given were Mr. A's and Cody Star Warrior's testimonies, and yeah, these don't need to be here. Here's something that the author of the document doesn't realize. Quantity does not equal quality. Just because you have...
She says as she does 16 hours worth of crying.
many testimonies doesn't mean it's going to make you look better. It doesn't mean the more testimonies, the more people are willing to believe Rachel is a terrible person. Rather, it is consistency. If there is a shown pattern of Rachel's behavior, that is enough for people to get the idea that Rachel might be this type of individual. But when you actively choose to include drama with, oh, I don't know, grooming allegations, this makes the document come off as insincere. This does not make you look good. This makes people not want to take you nor the allegations seriously.
You know what else makes people not want to take a document filled with serious allegations seriously? When you spend time defending a literal child groomer. What in God's name made you think this was okay? I get it. Rachel was an individual who called...
As opposed to all of these videos, it makes nothing serious. Thank you, Yennefer. Mucho appreciatado.
George out, but she wasn't wrong. For as much as Vivian is a groomer herself, her calling out Susie for victim blaming Leo in her stream is valid. Just because it is Rachel doesn't mean Rachel can't say things that are correct. Broken clocks and all. This tarnishes the validity of the allegations. I need you to understand that the author of this document let his personal opinions and morals come first. That they decide to spend time on a document that should be solely focused on Rachel, not defending a man who literally admitted to the shit he did. This is bad. Oh, and I don't appreciate myself being lumped in with George Buddy. Thanks.
Now, in regards to allowing predators to write testimonies, while it is absolutely possible for people who commit heinous crimes for they themselves to be victims of it, the problem with this is that the author knew. They knew what George had done. They knew what Avi had done. And when the allegations against Chris came out, they can feign ignorance all they want. But they spent months before they ever updated this document. In fact, they had to be called out for it in order for them to update said doc. That is not a good thing. Allowing predatory people to make testimonies when you are accusing Rachel of being a predator herself does not help your case. There are going to be some people who, when they see creeps like George, Chris, and Avi making testimonies, they're not going to give a shit. There are going to be people who are unsympathetic and go, why should I care what Rachel did to them? I'm not necessarily saying it's right. I'm just pointing out the unfortunate reality when it comes to cases like this. Speaking of those grooming allegations, let's talk about how the author did not vet for the ages of Rachel and the individual who falsely accused Rachel of grooming. That's right. False allegations are involved in this document. I'm going to give a huge shout out to Rin as they are the person who brought this information to the public, but suffice to say, anonymous number 2 in the document is Yoon. Yoon implies that Rachel groomed them. However, Yoon is 3 years older than Rachel. Yoon is essentially accusing Rachel of reverse grooming, something that does not exist. Now, this is something Rin didn't bring up in their video, so I'm going to say it. It is absolutely possible for someone younger than you to abuse.
And now, reverse grooming does exist. It was featured in Kung Pao. They taught Wimp Lo how to fight. Wrong. They made him so unprepared for something that he thought failure was success.
Assault, or even sexually assault you, and so forth. In fact, while it is egregious Yoon accused Rachel of this, Rachel still sexually harassed Yoon, full stop. However, when it comes to grooming, it is not possible for someone to sexually groom an individual who is older than them. Reverse grooming is a term that is primarily used towards victims, where the actual perpetrator claims that the victim groomed them, and that is just not possible.
It also doesn't help that Yoon has a history of falsely accusing people of grooming. He also implied Rin groomed them when Yoon is older than Rin. The fact that the author of this document did not even ask for the ages is negligent at best, fucking criminal, and even libel at worst. I want to make something clear though. Rachel does have grooming victims. Yoon is just not one of them, and all it takes is one false accusation. While in this case it's more so mislabeling than outright false, it is still negligent.
I mean, like all the false accusations you guys have levied in this entire goofy video.
What takes is one fabricated allegation for everyone to be skeptical of everyone else's testimonies. It is
no.
Negligent. It is damning. It is placing victims in a position where they look bad, and that is exactly what happened. Rachel didn't focus on the serious accusations. She focused on the shit that didn't matter. She focused on things that made it easy for people in her circle to stay on her side. And what did the SCC do? Essentially say that they deserve it, and that if they want to stay with Rachel, then she can have them. Because that's totally how you treat victims of abuse. You tell them they deserve it. That's what you do.
Now, where do I fit into all of this? Well, I was not part of the thread in the Cloud Palace. However, it's like Michael said. He encouraged me to reach out to the author of this Google document, and so I did. Now, I am a private person. I gave this person my story with the understanding that
You're so private, you trauma dumped to a whole bunch of people in these videos.
All wasn't being recorded. Screenshots would only be shared between the two of us. And lastly, any details regarding my trauma and triggers were to be redacted, and I wished to remain anonymous. Remember this. I was sent the notes he wrote during the call, and aside from a few requests I made and having certain details being redacted, I approved what was written for the document. The only reason why I even wanted to tell my story is because I thought to myself, if it helped someone come out with their story with Rachel, then it was worth it. Something to take of note is that the author of this document was a stranger to me, and they still are. I had to give a stranger intimate details about my trauma, which involved severe sexual abuse that I'd gone through both in my childhood and in my early adult years, as Rachel had belittled that trauma of mine and even used it against me. In fact, the retelling that I gave you now, that was what I gave, except I had gone a little more into detail about my rape, my ex, and other trauma of mine. I have since regretted ever reaching out and having this Discord call, because this person goes on to say and do very heinous things to me. They made me relive childhood trauma of mine, they did things that went against my consent, and it is beyond traumatizing, more traumatic than what Rachel had ever put me through. But not only that, the author of the Rachel document went out of their way to alter my testimony without my consent, added false abuse allegations about me to this document when this was about Rachel, not me, but in doing so, they revoked my anonymity. The only reason I consented to sharing my story was if I remained anonymous, and that was immediately revoked without my consent, without warning, for years. Since 2022, people had known that I was anonymous number 1 in the Rachel document. Those people who personally knew me and strangers easily pieced together that I was anonymous M. And to say I am beyond embarrassed and disgusted.
Wait, hold on. I'd need to go back and look at that. Let me double check something. Original testimony. Musha here. Obtaining this testimony is very different from the others I've gathered thus far. This one is put together based on bullet points or bullet notes I made on a Discord call with someone who used to be close to Rachel, who asked me to keep them anonymous for the purpose of protecting their privacy. As such, I'll only be referring to this person throughout the doc as M, while using gender-neutral pronouns. I've been given screenshots to confirm a lot. Okay, how is this outing you?
And to say I am beyond embarrassed and disgusted isn't truly putting into words the pain I felt when finding out. I beg you, do not seek after this document.
If people pieced it together on their own, that's not Musha's failure.
Because it is filled with altercations and lies. That is not my story. That is not my voice. It is malice. It is lies and mistrust under the guise of vigilantism, made for the sole purpose of self-centered, fabricated justice. Please, let that document be buried. I want you to understand that this Google document, even to this day, was shared around for years without me knowing that my anonymity was not only revoked, but false allegations about me were placed in this document. Before you even read any of the testimonies regarding Rachel, you now see this update painting me as racist, narcissistic, abusive, and overall, placing me on this pedestal right beside Rachel.
I'd call you narcissistic based on these videos alone.
As if we are one and the same. Yes, we will be going over that update, but there's still a lot more to discuss. And what better way than to segue into talking about the author themselves? Hey Musha, the bill for your actions just came due, and I want my money now, bitch.
Oh, tough guy. Tough guy behavior. Watch out, guys. Alright, so thankfully, we are finally done with video number 1. Video number 1. We're done. Haha. So, we're going to be doing video number 2. Maybe Saturday. We'll see. And then the calls, I don't know if we're going to go through them, but I'm going to take it upon myself to get through this so nobody else has to. So, before we go, since it has been a 3.5-hour stream, it is time to read all the very kind and generous super chats I have been sent. So, we start with Vlad. That was the other day. Where is it? Thank God we're not doing Vlad. Classic Rock Kid 345 for $2. Fools! Haven't you heard of sequels? Prince Piplup III for $5. I will swap you locations, Peepaw. I fell in a hole because of ice, and now I can't feel my face. That does sound nice. Classic Rock Kid 345, number $2. Tonight at 11. Doom. Buddha Cat for $5. Then why do they make a skit that makes us spit on your grave blush with how tasteless it is? Think, McFly, think. I don't know what you're referencing. B from me for $2. A traffic light had a family hidden. It did. Raccoon for $5. Are you part robot, Lio? I mean, I do have some metal somewhere in me. Raccoon for $2. Go outside and touch grass. I agree, they should. Raccoon, another $5. Lio, question, is their channel still up, or did they run? They unlisted everything. And, of course, Baiji's very generous and kind super chat of $100 with a dolphin emoticon, based the Dolphin Man. B for $2. I, too, crash out when people say ghost is metal / joke. True. Raccoon for $2. Birdie gonna have new friends. They that, too. Okay. Blinky Iris for $5. And you totally should have put your Sona in the Smasher Pass. They need to get help. Also, is that Smile Bomb playing quietly in the background of your stream on Looplow? Yes, it was. Baiji for $20. Thank you again. This anime music is big gay. When we do Guac, we should play the Echo OST instead. We probably should. Archer BT for $20. Crashing out about something as simple as the label best friend makes Deed no better than Donnie as far as how little something it is to take to trigger them. Deed, you are literally the only one that trigger applies to. True. Raccoon for $5. Job applications are scary. Lie out to idiots? Yes. Buddha Cat for $2. And Filthy Frank said, it's time to stop! Raccoon for $2. Also Filthy Frank, where are your parents? Fake Heaton for $2. I don't trust anyone who edited for Heaton. Maybe. That is right, he was her editor, wasn't he? Archer BT for $2. Weeaboo Tawama. Prince Piplup III for $5. Will you say the word blade triggering yes, no in now the CEO Alpha on his way to beat you? All right. $20 from Jevy Bev. I'd be willing to bet this amount that she has not washed her hair in weeks, if not months, just going off how it looks in every video I've seen of them. It is weird. Lucifer to Scary for $5. Someone making you realize that you are wrong equals abuse. Sensitive snowflakes suck. True. The emo boy Ace Space for $5. How's the stream going? I raged. Archer BT, 2 of them, 1 for 5, 1 for 2. When this vid isn't being regarded, they are splitting hairs about nobody will care about. Brokey behavior. True. Berserk would literally KO this woman. Also true. Phoenix Dragon Tamer for $2. Or Phoenix, I guess. The logic here is on KP's level. Yes, it is. Soulless Pacifist for $10 in New Zealand money. Teto word of the day. Projection. True. Raccoon for $2. Another $2. Apologizing. I accept the apology. Soulless Pacifist for another $5. Dean? Deed? Lying? Perish the thought. Man's never lied in his life. Well, woman. Me when I purposely spread information on the internet. True. And the final one, Soulless Pacifist for another $10 New Zealand. This entire plot line is just recursive lies of it can't possibly get any worse, right? And then it does, and it repeats. It's a flat circle where they all continually run the wheel around like hamsters. Also true. Very, very true. Up, got a couple more. From Hivecap, $5. Lyle friend, Bruddy Pal, my liver, too bad. Yin the Yan for $2. Lyle man, bad at repo. I am very bad at repo, but I will get better. It is fun. All right. I'm going to go ahead and cut you guys loose for the night. I'm going to send you the commercials, and I'm going to decompress before bed. I will catch you guys next time this weekend. Have a good weekend.
Miss the super androids that fly on wings of silver and fight with nerves of steel. The mighty Silverhawks.
Afternoons at 4.
Thundercats! Ho! Thunder excitement is flying at you this fall when the Thundercats tear into action.
Let's cut those mutants down to size.
Get ready to strike a blow for justice this fall with the mighty Thundercats.
Lupin!
That man is a notorious thief who works all over the world!
Let's go meet this treasure that's soon to be ours.
Don't say that I didn't warn you.
You can't fool me! You're planning something again!
Jeez, Pops, can't get anything past you.
He'll steal your heart, and then he's coming for everything else. Lupin the Third, premiering next Saturday night at 2.
Take it off.
That'll be my pleasure!
Only Toonami on a...
Beast Wars Second! 最大の敵がついに目覚めた。ライオコンボイ変身！新司令官の登場だ。ガルバトロントランスフォーム。破壊大帝驚異の三段変形。ライオン台風。史上最大の対決に君も参加せよ。だからトランスフォーマービーストウォーズ。
If one is born a man, at least once in his life, he will dream of becoming the strongest man alive.
Are you surprised at all? This is Orochi-style karate.
That's it, baby. Come straight for me.
Your training has paid off most impressively. I'd be happy to reward you now for all the progress you've made. He could never recall What an adorable little playground you have here.
Rocky the Grappler.
You have accessed the secret files of the SWAT Cats. Name, automatic cement launcher. Function, launches pre-mixed fast-drying cement at the rate of 5,000 GPM, glots per minute. Very effective at freezing monsters right in their tracks. Ending transmission. You have accessed the secret files of the SWAT Cats. Name, Jake Clausen. Occupation, garage mechanic. Alias, Razor. Real job, SWAT Cat. Designs gadgets to capture bad guys. Goal, protection of Mega Cat City. Favorite expression, bingo. Ending transmission.
Meet St. Canard's Most Wanted.
Eat wanted, Starkling!
There's Megavolt, criminal circuit breaker.
It's playtime!
Quacker Jack, fiendish felon.
Bushroot experiment gone haywire.
I'm really not sinister, just misunderstood.
And diabolical evildoer Negaduck.
A rotten kind of guy.
And only one superhero can stop them.
The original Mr. Fix-It. Get up!
Darkwing Duck.
A new Optimus Prime is here.
I'll transform Optimus. Power Master Optimus Prime, greatest leader of his time.
It's great to be back.
Now, Optimus Prime is back as a Power Master. He only transforms when his Nebulon becomes his engine.
Power Master Optimus Prime. Look, Optimus is transforming into a super robot. Power Master Transformers. They've got the power to surprise.
The Earth lies shattered and broken. A ruined wasteland that is now struggling to sustain life. Humanity is near the end after a devastating global meltdown. The oceans have been boiled away in nuclear fire. The land is charred and disfigured, saturated with deadly toxins. Life is a nightmarish struggle. The radiation levels have created hideous, mutated human savages. Mentally deranged, they roam in search of food and water. Gruesome violence brings terrible death to those who encounter these murderous mutants. It is an orgy of chaos, madness on a global scale. Savagery knows no limits. There are no nations, no laws, no order. In this grim reality, the forces of good and evil are once more preparing to fight for the future of mankind. Far, far away, a star shines out from the blackness of space. A beacon for the lost, a symbol of hope, an unfailing comfort to those on a journey. Known as the North Star, it has, through the ages, meant many things to many men. Under this eternal light walks the namesake of this star, a man of power and purity. A living beacon of hope, destined to bring light into the darkness. He is a feared man, spoken of in hushed tones. A legendary fighter, able to call on secret powers. Violence is met with worse violence as Ken destroys the forces of his evil half-brother. Heads roll, bodies fall, and the earth runs red as Ken draws ever nearer to Shin's stronghold in the city of the Southern Cross. The scene is set for an epic struggle between good and evil. What Shin started cannot be stopped. Many will die trying. Many will run. But there is only one Fist of the North Star.